finally lost. He obediently took out an old Huawei mobile phone and a canvas bag from the drawer and handed them to Zhu Hui. "Now, I want someone. Lead the way." The next moment, before Zhu Hui could speak, Liu Zuking beside him took a step forward coldly. Several young men at the front desk did not dare to go against Zhu Hui's wishes and obediently lead the way. When she walked into the internet cafe, many people who were surfing the internet around her cast curious glances at Liu Zuking, but Liu Zuking remained calm. Until the leading young man pointed somewhere, 5 young men wearing blue vocational high school uniforms appeared. Liu Zuking finally reacted. "That lady was really funny. She was holding the thermos and kept telling us not to touch it. I thought there was something hidden inside, but it turned out to be just some ordinary chicken soup. I'm drunk too. There are so many weirdos these days. If it weren't for her age, I would have wanted to slap her in the face for nagging me all the time. She's so annoying. We all came out to rob money, so our lives must be very difficult. What does it matter if we have hands and feet? It's clear that we don't want to work. So what can we do with hands and feet?" The voices of a few gangsters chatting also fell into Zhu Hui's ears. As soon as these words came out, Zhu Hui was so angry that veins on his forehead popped out. At this moment, one of the young men who were surfing the internet noticed the person coming and subconsciously looked up at Liu Zuking first. "Oh, beauty, who are you?" Liu Zuking didn't say anything, but just moved her wrist. Bang! The next moment, a figure was thrown out. "The one who wants you dead." Chapter 63, Buying a car for Aunt Lee. "That's enough. That's enough. If you continue fighting, someone will die." Half an hour later, in the corridor of the black internet cafe, Zhu Hui tried his best to hold Liu Zuking. Less than half an hour had passed since the woman made her move, and the 5 thugs were lying on the ground one after another, beaten half to death. Zhu Hui was afraid that someone might get killed, so he quickly came over and grabbed Liu Zuking. Even so, the woman seemed unsatisfied and did not stop her movements. I don't know where the broomstick was picked up from, but he hit several thugs one after another. There was wailing everywhere. "That's enough. If you keep fighting, someone will die. Such scum. I will take you all in today for the sake of justice." Liu Zuking was furious, and a light blue fluorescence was jumping on her palm. Zhu Hui coughed. "Stop fighting. Let the law punish them. We can just beat them a few times to vent our anger. The agent Senkage is already on his way here that day." Hearing this, Liu Zuking glared at Zhu Hui fiercely. It seemed that she was dissatisfied with him making the decision for her. "Don't worry, highway robbery is a serious crime. They will probably be sentenced to several years in prison. Plus, my mother is injured. They will definitely not be released easily." Liu Zuking then snorted coldly and walked downstairs in a depressed mood. Since Zhu Hui called the agent, Liu Zuking is still an illegal resident, so it is naturally not appropriate for her to show up and she must avoid it. You can't use Zhu Qianqian's pseudonym for everything. Otherwise, if one day the testimony accidentally doesn't match and Zhu Qianqian's crime is exposed, Liu Zuking will be in big trouble. "You have your keys. I brought it. I'm not going back. I'm going to see Aunt Lee." Liu Zuking waved her hand and disappeared gracefully at the escalator on the second floor of the black internet cafe. Zhu Hui was stunned for a moment, then he said to himself, "She's not going to rely on her extraordinary sense of smell to find me again, is she? Even a dog's nose is not as sharp as hers." Soon, Senkage also arrived at the scene. This illegal internet cafe was not difficult to find. But the appearance of the agents still frightened the network administrators so much that they shrank their heads. It was obvious that their internet cafe could not withstand the inspection. If someone wants to check for minors, Zhu Hui can guarantee that at least half of the people surfing the internet today will be asked to be taken home by their parents. Fortunately, Senkage did not meddle in other people's business. He came here only after receiving a private call from Zhu Hui. "These little bastards robbed my mom and pushed an old lady, causing her ankle to be sprained. They were caught red-handed. Look, this is the stolen phone. And this is my mother's wallet. There should be about 10,000 or 20,000 yuan in it. I can't remember the exact amount, but the money is gone. If the amount of robbery reaches a certain level, you can be sentenced." Although Zhu Hui couldn't bear to watch Liu Zuking beat those hooligans to death, he wasn't so kind-hearted as to let them go so easily. Of course, 10 or 20,000 is just a random guess. It's pure nonsense. However, Senkage naturally believed what Zhu Hui said. After all, he is a relative of the victim. "No, officer, when we got the wallet, it was empty. There was no money in it. You have to believe us. We didn't rob 10,000 or 20,000 yuan. There wouldn't be much cash in the wallet." Several gangsters quickly denied it. But their denial lacks much persuasiveness. This is why the words of both parties have different weights due to their different positions. Take him back and interrogate him slowly. Senkage greeted several of his men, then glanced at Zhu Hui. Today, Senkage was wearing casual clothes. Well, even a criminal policeman should be off work at this time. "Excuse me, Agent Zhang." Zhu Hui greeted politely. Zenkage immediately waved his hands. It's part of my job, so why should I bother with it? But you, I didn't expect Mr. Zuhue to be quite skilled. He was able to subdue 5 people in one go. If it was an ordinary police academy intern, it would probably take a lot of effort to deal with these 5 guys. Are you not hurt? Oh, well, I usually like to exercise. It's okay. After coughing twice, Zuhue found an excuse to cover it up. No one can subdue people by themselves. If a fight really breaks out, although Zuhue may not be inferior to the 5 thugs, it may not be easy for him to crush them as easily as Liu King. Mother is old, so you don't usually let her run around it. That's not safe outside now. For example, last time you encountered a bank robbery, and today your mother ran into a few desperate thugs. This is already considered good. What should I do if I encounter some vicious criminals again? If I am not busy at work, I can drive more often to pick up the elders at home. Hearing this, Zuhue immediately lowered his head in shame. He hasn't bought a car yet. Zenkage did not notice Zuhue's embarrassment. Hearing you mention your mother reminded me of my own mother back home. It's embarrassing to say that we haven't been able to find a place for our elderly parents to live in the city at this age. The housing prices have risen so fast in the past 2 years. I remember when I was in college. I had just come to Zhangcheng. It was only a few thousand yuan per square meter then, but now it has risen to tens of thousands, and some old houses are facing demolition. Even if you have money, the landlord is still unwilling to sell to you. We young people are under a lot of pressure, but while we are busy making a living, we also have to take good care of our families. Perhaps it was because Zuhue mentioned his mother Liu Zhen when he reported the case, so the scene brought back some memories for Agent Zheng. He couldn't help but say a few more words about family matters. Before leaving, Zenkage patted Zuhue on the shoulder. Oh, by the way, Agent Zheng, can you keep it a secret and not tell anyone that I was the one who subdued these guys? Why? Hearing this, Zenkage was stunned. Zuhue doesn't really want to be famous in this regard after all. As the old saying goes, people are afraid of being famous just as pigs are afraid of pretending. He is not a messenger of justice, so who wouldn't worry about being retaliated against afterwards? Besides, even if Zuhue is young, strong and daring, he is not afraid of being taken revenge by those gangsters later. But my mother Liu Zhen, my grandfather, and my father will all live in Zhangcheng in the future. Zuhue has to consider them. So if you can avoid revealing your name, it's best to keep it secret. And how do I explain this to my superiors? Let's say you happen to witness a robbery while you were having dinner. And in order to catch the criminals at once, you didn't arrest them at the crime scene right away. After we tracked them to the internet cafe and determined the number of people in the gang, we developed a plan to capture them. Hearing this, Zenkage's mouth twitched violently. You must have watched a lot of legal education dramas, right? Agent Zheng, thank you for the compliment. It's none of my business. I'll go back first. After saying goodbye to Zenkage, Zuhue called Liu King. Ever since the last misunderstanding, Zuhue saved a note specifically for Liu King's mobile phone number. But he didn't dare let others see this note, for fear of being misunderstood. However, if Lin Hao knew what Zuhue was thinking, he would definitely jump out with disdain to clarify that it was not a misunderstanding. Zuhue was really afraid of his wife. The note he gave to Liu King consisted of only 5 words. Syrian shrew. Hello, where are you? On my way home. So soon? You saw my mom? Yes, my aunt is with me. Forehead. Zuhue was stunned for a moment. The next moment, Liu King on the other end of the phone asked in a deep voice into the microphone. Let me ask you a question. Where do you usually catch the monster called car that runs around on the road? I also want to catch one for Aunt Lee. Forehead? That's not caught, that's bought. How much? Zuhue was stunned again. Could it be that Liu King felt sorry for his mother and wanted to buy her a car? But a car is not cheap. Even a slightly entry-level domestic brand will cost at least 100,000 yuan if it is a joint venture brand, such as Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Audi. A slightly entry-level model will cost around 200,000 yuan. Zuhue thought about it and replied, at least 100,000. Chapter 64. If you don't take advantage of an opportunity, you are a bastard. Aunt Lee must have been frightened and fell asleep while waiting for the bus on the roadside. When I passed by, I happened to see her leaning on the recliner, holding the pot she usually used to make soup for me. Let Aunt Lee stay at your place tonight. Before you come back, ask Kian. She went out this afternoon. I don't know why she hasn't come back yet. I'm afraid she was kidnapped by a fox bad guy. I some food before you come up, so you don't have to cook tonight. After making some arrangements, Liu King hung up the phone. Zuhue on the other end of the phone stared at the gradually dimming phone screen in astonishment, and it took him a long while to come back to his senses. Damn, you can actually say so many words in one breath. This was indeed the first time that Zuhue heard Liu King talking so much to him. I glanced at the time and realized that it was already 10 minutes before 10 o'clock. Zhu Qian hasn't returned home yet? Hello? Hey, what's up bro? Where are you? Zhu Hui asked angrily to the person on the other end of the phone. Don't you see what time it is now? Don't you know how to go home? Believe it or not, I will call your mother and tell your aunt tomorrow. You don't come back to my place tonight, I can't control you anymore. I'll ask my aunt to come and pick you up tomorrow. Staying out all night is nothing for a boy, but Zhu Hui has often stayed out all night since he was 14. But I didn't do anything out of the ordinary, except staying up all night in the internet cafe and celebrating a classmate's birthday. Often at times like this, Liu Zhen would receive a call in advance and go to bed early. On the contrary, old Zhu, who has always trusted his son, would feel extremely uneasy. Zhu Hui never knew that his father would worry about him. It was not until I suddenly returned home at 2 or 3 in the morning one day that I found my father sitting in the living room, pretending to watch TV and soak his feet. At that time, Lao Zhu didn't say anything, just said to go to bed early. Zhu Hui originally wanted to ask his father if he was waiting for him, but when he noticed that the water in the basin under his father's feet had lost all its heat, he swallowed all the words he wanted to say back into his stomach. From then on, Zhu Hui never stayed out overnight again. Is it Zhu Hui? Let me tell him. To Zhu Hui's surprise, a familiar and charming voice came from the other end of the phone the next moment. When Zhu Hui first heard it, he thought he was hallucinating. Hello? Zhu Hui, I'm Ba Zumo, Zhu Qian. Mr. Ba. How come Zhu Qian is with Mr. Ba? Could it be that Zhu Qian is in your hands? At this moment, the plot of Mission Impossible had already emerged in Zhu Hui's mind. The person is in my hands. Either you exchange yourself for her, or you will never see your sister again in your life. Thinking of this, Zhu Hui suddenly felt that it was not worth giving up his freedom for Zhu Qian. Boss Ba, if she provokes you, you can deal with her as you wish. I will just pretend that I don't have this sister. Forehead. The two women on the other end of the phone fell into silence for a moment. Zhu Qian was the first to react and cursed angrily. Fuck, Zhu Hui? You bastard, you big pig hoof. How dare you say that to me? Am I someone you can just throw away at will? Do I have no status in your eyes? I'm sorry, no. Zhu Hui was silent for a moment, then replied calmly. It seemed that the brother and sister were about to start quarreling. Bei Zumo quickly jumped out to stop it. Zhu Hui, you misunderstood. I went out with your sister to have 2 cups of coffee. The main reason was that Zhu Qian and I got along well, and we just happened to meet today, so we went shopping together for a while. We are at Guangqian International Shopping Plaza. If it is convenient for you, you can come and pick up Zhu Qian. If it is not convenient, I can pick you up on the way and take you back. Hearing this, Zhu Hui's expression changed a lot. No wonder Liu Zuking was reluctant to mention what Zhu Qian did in the afternoon and was vague about it. He didn't believe that Zhu Qian and Ba Zumo met on the road. Besides, even if the two women met on the road, Zhu Qian should have been accompanied by her sister-in-law Liu Zuking. How could she have had the chance to meet Ba Zumo alone? I'll go over there and pick up Zhu Qian. Sorry to bother you, Mr. Ba. Don't be polite, we are all families sooner or later. What family? Who are family to whom? Zhu Hui didn't dare to respond and quickly hung up the phone. I hailed a taxi and headed towards Guangqian International Shopping Center. On the way, Zhu Hui was thinking frantically in his mind, why would Zhu Qian get involved with Ba Zumo? Could it be that the Liu party has become the White party? Has Zhu Qian decided to betray Liu Zuking? With doubts in mind, about 15 minutes later Zhu Hui finally saw Ba Zumo's silver grey Panamera. Ba Zumo is wearing a pair of LV sunglasses, which perfectly complements her fair, rich and beautiful temperament. Get in the car, I'll take you to back. Oh, no need, my mother is also at home. She sprained her ankle today and is in a bad mood. She specifically asked me to buy the mung bean cakes from the old street. I have to buy her something to eat. Mr. Ba. Please go first. Zhu Hui was afraid that writing in Mr. Ba. Ask her back would cause some misunderstanding, so he made up a lie. Auntie sprained her ankle? When did it happen? How come I didn't know about it? Zhu Qian immediately looked surprised. Zhu Hui glanced at her. What can you know? Okay, since you guys still have things to do, I'll leave first. Bye, Zhu Qian, and see you another day. Zhu Hui. Goodbye, sister-in-law. With the roar of the engine, Pad slowly left the underground garage. Only then did Zhu Hui turn his head stiffly and look at Zhu Qian. What did you call her? Zhu Qian said inferently, sister-in-law. Fuck, you little traitor. Didn't you hate Shaoxin the most? Didn't you hate Bei Zumo the most? Damn it, who told me to talk things over with Mr. Bei last time, to make it clear and draw a clear line? Zhu Hui gave Zhu Qian a vicious look. The next moment, I suddenly noticed the brand new iPhone 14 Pro Max in Zhu Qian's hand, as well as the large and small bag she was carrying. Zhu Hua's heart suddenly made a noise. Wait. Who bought you your phone? Second sister-in-law. Look, these are all bought for me by my second sister-in-law. This Gucci windbreaker and these Burberry sandals my second sister-in-law also ordered a new Louis Vuitton hoodie for me, but it's autumn wear, and I have to wait 2 months to get it. Computers, watches, cell phones, anyway. It seems that my second sister-in-law takes care of all my food, clothing and daily expenses. As she spoke, Zhu Qian posed leisurely. It feels so good to be kept by a rich man. As soon as these words were spoken, Zhu Hua's face turned red and he was so angry that he couldn't utter a word for a long time. Depend on. An honest man will not accept food given out of pity. How can you take Mr. Ba's things? Don't you know the truth that if you eat from someone else, you will be grateful? If you take from someone else, you will be grateful. I know you still need Mr. Ba's things. Give them to me, give them all to me. I will return them all to Mr. B tomorrow. Why? My second sister-in-law bought this for me, not for you. Zhu Qian immediately took a step back, avoiding Zhu Hua's palm, and stared at her brother with a vigilant look. Second sister-in-law's target is you, although I am the one who took her things. You are the one who is short-handed, and I have no psychological burden. You'd be a bastard if you don't take advantage of an opportunity. Slightly. Chapter 65, Is there any humanity? Oh, my God. Are you still trying to change the concept like this? This girl should not stay for long. Zhu Hui was so angry that he almost had a cerebral congestion. At this moment, Zhu Qian suddenly leaned over mysteriously. Don't you want to hear what I, Mr. Qian, the double agent, have learned? What? Zhu Hui had a black question mark on his face. What double agent? DSK. The second sister-in-law should have gone far away, right? Zhu Qian did not give a direct answer, but just patted Zhu with a smile and said slyly. I am in Kao's camp but my heart is with Han. I pretended to betray and join the second sister-in-law's camp for the sake of my eldest sister-in-law. What are you talking about? It's all nonsense. What are you talking about? Zhu Hua frowned. Zhu Qian coughed. This matter is very complicated. I will explain it to you slowly later otherwise. With your IQ, it will be difficult for you to understand. So, what's going on with your aunt? Why did she suddenly sprain her ankle? My mother was delivering soup to Li Zuqing in the afternoon, and she ran into a few thugs who were trying to rob her on the way, but everything is fine now. I got her stolen things back, but during the argument, my mother was pushed and sprained her ankle. Your sister-in-law, Liu Zuqing, just took my mother back. Originally, Zhu Hua subconsciously wanted to say, your sister-in-law, but recalling that Zhu Qian, a fence-sitter, had just called Ba's Umo sister-in-law, Zhu Hua was at a loss for a moment as to who was her sister-in-law in the eyes of this little girl, so he changed his words. I see. And I will go back and comfort my aunt, she must be terrified. After Zhu Qian said this in a pretentious manner, she was about to take a taxi and leave. Zhu Hua sneered and grabbed the girl by the back of her neck. You want to run away before you even finish talking? Explain to me why you stayed with Mr. Bi for the entire afternoon. What's there to explain? We just happened to meet and have a cup of coffee together, right? Zhu Qian avoided Zhu Hua's gaze guiltily. Hearing this, Zhu Hua snorted again. So what do you mean by a double agent? Please tell me about it. Zhu Qian then coughed and said, I'm just trying to find out. If it weren't for me, you probably wouldn't know that Mr. Bi was planning to keep you after get off work tomorrow afternoon, right? What are you going to do then, the day before the Chinese Valentine's Day? Second sister-in-law didn't intend to let you go. Besides, today's incident can't be blamed entirely on me if I don't obey her. Sister Ba will send my transcript to my mother truthfully. You probably don't want your cute, youthful, beautiful, well-behaved, sensible and obedient sister to be beaten up by a mixed doubles team when she gets home, right? Hearing this, a black line appeared on Zhu Hua's forehead. If Zhu Qian had not lied, given Ba Zumo's personality, it was indeed possible for her to do such a thing. Besides, Ba Zumo is the president of a company after all, and has extensive network of contacts. It would not be difficult for her to investigate Zhu Qian's transcript if she really wanted to. Considering that the two women were in the same frame, it was most likely impossible that Zhu Qian took the initiative to fight Ba Zumo. In this way, Zhu Qian's words are very credible. Mr. Ba, are you planning to keep me here the day before Chinese Valentine's Day? Do you have any good ideas? You have to ask yourself, on Chinese Valentine's Day, do you want to spend it with the person you like, or with the person you like, or with the person who likes you? Zhu Qian rarely put away her playful smile and stared at Zhu Hua seriously. This trip today has not been without results for this spy. Mr. Qian, at least I have confirmed one thing. Sister Ba really likes you. Can you please stop calling me Sister BA Sister BA? It makes me uncomfortable. Oh, then it's my second sister-in-law. Kian changed her words nonchalantly and glanced at Zhu Hui again. Speak up, the point is not how I address people, but who you are going to choose to spend the holiday with you. Like me and what I like. Zhu Hui pursed his lips, feeling a little melancholy. You also think that Liu Zuking has no interest in me? Kian shook her head, but the girl didn't say anything more. Why are you shaking your head? Do you also think she doesn't like me? Zhu Hui sighed when he saw this. She really doesn't seem to like me very much after this meeting. We rarely show any affection, and she rarely looks me in the eye. After a moment, Zhu Hui suddenly spoke to himself again. But she gives me a very strange feeling if she doesn't like me at all. I don't think that's the case. If she doesn't like me, why would she go to the bank to save me? She risked her own life for justice. She obviously had a chance to survive, but she still chose to live and die with me. In the end, this gave me the illusion that she seemed to like me again. Zhu Hui looked at his cousin again. Kian has been accompanying him quietly. At this moment, she became quiet and no longer as noisy as usual. A peaceful little face. I don't know where to look anymore. Brother, don't you think it's stupid to ask a third person about things in a relationship? No matter what you have been through or what is happening, I have not participated in it. I don't understand how you get along with each other. How can I be qualified to judge your relationship based on just one or two things? As soon as these words came out, Zhu Hui was stunned. This was the first time he heard such profound philosophical words from Kian. Are you being possessed by some old monster? In fact, this is what the old people often say. Those who are involved are confused, while those who are on the sidelines can see clearly. Right? Haven't you noticed? Sister-in-law Yu Zuking likes you very much. Kian glanced at Zhu Hui. Even an outsider like me can clearly feel that it is rare for a guy like you who has been smart since childhood to be confused in this regard. What? Zhu Hui was stunned. You said Liu Zuking likes me? What else? Kian rolled her eyes at Zhu Hui. Why do you think my sister-in-law and I go shopping every day, and she comes home around 6 o'clock? She went back because she wanted to wait for my mom. Hearing this, Kian cursed him inwardly as an idiot. My aunt usually leaves around 7 o'clock, so why haven't I seen my sister-in-law drag me out shopping to help digest the food after 7 o'clock? If you've ever been shopping with my sister-in-law, you should know that her physical strength is totally different from that of ordinary people. She doesn't seem to feel tired at all. But when have you ever seen your sister-in-law go out after you came home? After these words were spoken, Zhu Hui was completely stunned. Kian chirped again. If it wasn't for waiting for you or spending more time with you, sister-in-law could have gone out after finishing her porridge. Why did she have to stay at home? Even if you didn't talk much and didn't have much communication, didn't she always stay in the living room and feel your presence? Yes, Liu Zuking felt so unfamiliar and confused about this world. She even used her spare time to read books to catch up on all aspects of the world. If she had free time, she would definitely prefer to go out more. But after I came back every day, I never saw the woman go out. At first Zhu Hui thought that Liu Zuking and Kian had no other activities. But now that I think about it, it seems as if Liu Zuking has really been waiting for me at home all this time. Now you know how awesome I am as a double agent, Mr. Kian, right? At this moment, Kian next to her spoke with a grin. Hearing this, Zhu Hui was silent for a moment and then nodded slowly. Since you're so smart, why don't you just sleep on the sofa tonight? What? Is there any necessary connection between my intelligence and sleeping on the sofa? Kian was stunned for a moment. Zhu Hui had a matter-of-fact expression. Because my mother sprained her ankle, your sister-in-law will have to take care of her tonight. They will sleep in one room and I will sleep in another naturally. I will have no place to stay. A smart person should learn to find a place to stay by himself. So I'll have to put up with you tonight, Disney's runaway princess? Hearing this, Kian opened her mouth in anger and her face turned red. I just did you a favor and you treated me like this. You, destroying my bridges after crossing them. Is there any humanity at all? Damn it. Chapter 66, I always feel that person looks familiar. Of course Zhu Hui couldn't really let his sister sleep on the sofa. He was just annoyed that the little girl had been talking to him for a long time like an elder. Although he knew that what Kian said was right, Zhu Hui was still his brother after all, so he had to give him some face. If they don't find a way to save face, the relationship between the brother and sister will be sour in the future. At night Zhu Hui gave up his room, and went up to the 4th floor to squeeze into a room with Lin Hao. This is where the benefits of Lin Hao's move are reflected. When there are no vacant rooms, Zhu Hui himself can come up and stay for a night. It's just that Lin Hao is really annoying. Zhu Hui fell into a state of half-sleep and half-wakefulness several times, and was awakened by Lin Hao's words each time. By the way, are you sure you don't want to tell me how you hooked up with that beautiful, rich girl? Brother, why don't you check the time? What time is it? Oh, sorry. Often less than 2 minutes after this kind of conversation ended, another sentence would suddenly come from Lin Hao's side. But to be honest, who do you think is prettier, your girlfriend or Mr. BA? If you're talking about appearance, they're both pretty. If you're talking about me personally, my girlfriend is prettier. Oh, are you done asking questions? Can we go to bed now? Okay. Another 2 or 3 minutes. Did you do that with Saba? Didn't she say something about scallops spitting water that day? Do you remember? Zuhue. By the way, how are you going to spend the Chinese Valentine's Day tomorrow? Are you fucking done yet? Bro, can you please shut up? You have to go to work tomorrow. Oh, sorry. It's just that Lin Hao is the type of person who only cares about food and not about being beaten. So no matter how angry Zuhue got, it was useless. Before long, he would probably say something else, and it would go on like this until after 3 in the morning. Until Lin Hao felt sleepy, he closed his eyes and fell asleep without knowing when. Only then did Zuhue feel at ease. So much so that when they woke up the next day, both of them had black eyes, and people who didn't know them would have thought they had fought each other the night before. What did you two do last night? Zuhue. I understand, after all, tomorrow is Chinese Valentine's Day, and he probably has a date. So he's too excited to sleep. Lin Hao, what's wrong with you? Even if you sleep late, the person you like won't look for you. Why are you staying up late? When the department manager saw the two of them, he asked in confusion. Hearing this, Lin Hao's eyes widened in an indignation. Fuck, what are you talking about, boss? Why does Zuhue stay up late to have a date on Valentine's Day, but I stay up late to not wait for the person I like? Look at your ugly appearance. You have been in the company for so long. But do you get the same treatment as Zuhue? The department head is older and has more experience, and he often jokes with these younger colleagues. Everyone got along very well. And Lin Hao was not really angry. However, when he looked in the direction of the department head's gaze, Lin Hao fell silent for a moment. I saw that there was a cup of steaming soy milk and a hand-pulled pancake placed on Zuhue's workstation. Lin Hao's desk not far away was still lowly and empty. The difference is obvious. Although Zuhue is not particularly handsome, he is indeed one of the few good-looking comrades among our company's young colleagues in their 20s. It's normal for people to have goals on Chinese Valentine's Day. Haven, you've seen girls from the sales department come to chat with Zuhue occasionally. Hearing this, Zuhue quickly coughed twice. Leader, you are such a joker. As he said this, he quickly cleaned up the table. Lin Hao was stimulated, and this time he walked back to his office area without saying a word. Do you still remember the girl that Mr. BA brought back from outside a few days ago? Which one? Yes, that's her. What happened to that girl? Damn, you guys didn't know that? As soon as Zuhue sat down, he could hear his colleagues whispering to each other. He also poked his head over out of curiosity. I remember now, you are talking about Lin Qingdelin, right? She didn't lose her memory. The doctor said she had post-traumatic stress disorder, which seemed to be caused by the car accident. Besides, wasn't it because Mr. BI almost hit her by accident that the girl fainted in the first place? So Mr. BA naturally took responsibility for this girl. This is normal. Several colleagues were talking and sharing their own news. What car accident? What post-traumatic stress disorder? Zuhue raised his eyebrows in confusion. Pulled a colleague over and asked suspiciously. He had also been in a car accident half a year ago, and it was that car accident that became a turning point in Zuhue's life. Therefore, I am instinctively very sensitive to the word car accident. After hearing this, someone took the initiative to explain it to him. It was last weekend. Mr. BA seemed to be in a hurry to go out to do something, and he almost hit someone, although it didn't cause a car accident. A pedestrian was almost hit and fell into a coma. After waking up, the passerby had completely forgotten who he was and where he was. I heard that the woman only remembered her own name. Mr. BA contacted the police but could not find any files or details about her. In addition, the girl was dressed simply. Mr. BA guessed that she was most likely a country girl who came to the city to work in a remote mountainous area. Under this circumstance, Mr. BA had no choice but to take her in. But not being able to find her family is not a solution. Boss BI finally decided to push her to debut. As long as this girl becomes a star under the spotlight, people all over the country will know her. Then her family will definitely come to her because of her fame. Clam? Hearing this, Zuhue was shocked. I went home to worship my ancestors last week, and so many things happened. Isn't it a bit too hasty to package someone to debut, just because her family can't be contacted? Zuhue's mouth twitched as he asked the question. That's right. There are many ways to help someone find their relatives. You can put an ad in the newspaper, or you can publicize it everywhere. With BA Izumo's social resources and connections, there are probably countless ways. Why did she choose the one that sounded the most stupid? In fact, I had this confusion before I met Lin Qingdelin, but after meeting her, I suddenly understood Mr. BA's intention. You'll know in a moment Lin Qingling will come to the company to record an album for the first time. So you'll be able to see her soon. After hearing this, Zhu Hua finally calmed down his confusion. Ba Zumo's recent actions are becoming more and more confusing. What on earth is it like to let someone debut just because of a disagreement? Is it true that these days, being an idol doesn't require 2.5 years of practice? At about 4:30 in the afternoon, Ba Zumo held another pre-holiday meeting. Fortunately, no one forced Su Hui and other grassroots workers to attend the meeting. However, when the department head came back to announce the meeting, Su Hui couldn't help but tense up all his muscles. This scene also surprised several colleagues nearby. "Brother Hui, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? I see you're sweating." No, maybe I didn't get enough rest last night." Lin Hao knew some inside information. He gave a wicked smile and looked in the direction of Zhu Hua. But the response he got was naturally a roll of the eyes. Lin Hao didn't care. He took his things and ran to the meeting with a smile. Zhu Hui coughed. "Wait, Lin Hao. Please ask for leave from your boss for me. Tell him that I'm feeling a little unwell and plan to leave today." "Brother Lin Hao, is my brother off work?" Before he could finish his words, a lively and petite figure suddenly appeared in the office, jumping and skipping. The design department is mostly made up of men. And even when studying this major, it is very likely that the entire class is filled with men. So the sudden sound of a clear female voice immediately attracted the attention of many colleagues. I saw Zhu Qian standing in front of me, wearing a pink floral dress. Lin Hao was stunned for a moment, and Zhu Hui, who was not far away, was the first to speak in confusion. "Why are you here? Not only am I here, but my sister-in-law is here too." After saying this, Zhu Qian suddenly waved behind her. Zhu Hui's heart skipped a beat. The next moment, another graceful figure in a pink floral dress slowly emerged. The woman had a cool and pure temperament. Like a lily blooming in a valley, she had a pair of beautiful starry eyes with a hint of coldness under her slender, willow leaf eyebrows, and she had a graceful figure. The bright red floral dress created a sharp contrast on her. It was so dazzling that all the men in the audience couldn't take their eyes off it. All the male compatriots in the audience stared with their eyes wide open. Zhu Qian winked at Zhu Hua smugly. "Brother Lin Hao, has my brother finished get off work? My sister-in-law has a date with him, and she can't wait, so I brought her here to pick up my brother in advance." "What do you mean by impatient? Stop talking nonsense." The second figure wearing a pink floral dress was naturally Yu Zuqing. Hearing Zhu Qian's nonsense, Liu Zuqing pouted her face and pretended to hit her. But Zhu Qian just laughed and ran away. "Sister-in-law, you were the one who wanted to come here in the first place. You even asked me several times whether it looked good or not. You didn't wear it for me to see, so there's no point asking me. Why not just bring you here to see the person involved? Look at me. My brother can't take his eyes away. Are you not satisfied with this reaction?" "You." Liu Zuqing's pretty face turned completely red. After all, this was her first date with Zhu Hua. Because Zhu Hua's words about holidays that day touched Liu Zuqing, she suddenly felt that she should be more serious about this day that was worth looking forward to. So Liu Zuqing changed her clothes specially. Obviously, the stunning effect made the whole audience almost drool. Just then, Lin Hao coughed. "It's almost time to get off work anyway, and there's nothing else to do right now since the family members are here. Zhu Hua should go back early. It just so happens that I don't have anything to do here either. If anyone else has family members to pick them up, or if anyone has family members waiting outside, they can go too. Is there anyone else?" After hearing this, the rest of the colleagues in the office were brought back to their senses. Many people looked at Zhu Hui with an expression that said, "You are so lucky." Obviously, Yu Zuqing's beauty not only amazed the time, but also conquered all the men present. "Okay then, Zhu Hui can leave work early. You can pack up and leave." Amid the envious gazes of his colleagues, Zhu Hui enjoyed the admiration of his male compatriots for the first time. He had a smile on his face after packing up his things. He walked briskly towards Liu Zuqing. Wow! Just then, a large group of people squeezed into the office. I saw the department head clapped his hands and shouted to everyone. "Come on everyone, stop what you are doing and let me introduce you to a newly signed artist of our company, Ms. Lin. This person is also the core figure of the company's new projects in the coming period. Let us get to know him briefly." In the center of the moon surrounded by stars, there seems to be a tall human figure surrounded by it. However, several colleagues were crowded around, and they were more interested in Lin Qingling, who was labeled as the amnesiac girl. So everyone raised their heads one after another to join in the fun, and the impact brought by Liu Zuqing was quickly eliminated. Zhu Qian hummed in dissatisfaction. "Who is this? Why is he stealing my sister-in-law's limelight?" Zhu Hua laughed and remembered what several colleagues had told him in the morning. This is a brief description of Lin Qingling's situation. It should be the company's newly signed artist. Let's go eat first. The next moment, Zhu Hui turned his head and looked at Li Zuqing beside him. However, Li Zuqing did not answer. She kept staring at the direction of the crowd, with doubt in her eyes. What's wrong? Nothing, I just feel like I've seen that girl in the crowd somewhere before. Unfortunately, the crowd of people blocked Li Zuqing's view. Although she was confused, she just looked at him twice and followed Zhu Hui downstairs. Chapter 67, her name is Lin Qingling. At night, many employees in the company were even discussing Zhu Hui's beautiful girlfriend. Of course, at the same time, the new star of Shengxi Entertainment, Lin Qingling, who was labeled as the amnesiac girl, also became the hot topic in the company's gossip group. Is Zhu Qian not coming? When Zhu Hui booked a high-end restaurant and took Li Zuqing in, the woman couldn't help but ask a question subconsciously. Zhu Qian left halfway through the journey, saying that she had something to do. Tomorrow is Chinese Valentine's Day, and today is the eve of Chinese Valentine's Day. Although my brother and sister-in-law cannot do strenuous exercise for the time being, we must still leave them enough space to spend time together. Zhu Qian usually sticks with her sister-in-law all day long. It would be a bit unreasonable to continue to act as a light bulb along with the two of them at a time like this. Oh, maybe she has something going on at school. Let's go in and eat first. I'm hungry after being busy all afternoon. After saying that, Zhu Hui sent a text message to my mother. Anyway, my foot has been injured these 2 days, so I don't have to run back and forth to bring soup to Li Zuqing. Li Zuqing was not worried that Aunt Li would come back empty-handed. While eating, Zhu Hui kept picking up food for Li Zuqing, until there were several bowls of food piled up in front of the woman. Li Zuqing moved her red lips helplessly. You're clapping so fast. Are you deliberately blocking me from looking at me? No. Upon hearing this, Zhu Hui immediately stopped what he was doing. Whenever he was with Li Zuqing, he would always feel inexplicably nervous, especially today when the woman seemed to have dressed up deliberately, with a pink floral dress that highlighted her unique beauty. Why don't you look at me? I'm shy. Aren't you usually very eloquent when you're talking? Now you can't even talk when you're alone with me? Hearing this, Zhu Hui took several deep breaths, controlled his emotions, and glanced at Li Zuqing. Actually, I have something I want to ask you. The next moment, Li Zuqing suddenly took the initiative to help Zhu Hui serve a bowl of soup, which made Zhu Hui a little flattered. However, Li Zuqing calmly waved her hand and placed the bowl in front of Zhu Hui herself. Then she asked, holding her cheek with her delicate hand, "Does the relationship between me and Zhu Qian count as the same as the relationship between you and Lin Hao?" When Zhu Hui first heard that Li Zuqing had questions to ask him, he couldn't help feeling a little nervous. I was afraid that I might say something wrong by accident. Today is the day before Chinese Valentine's Day after all, so Li Zuqing might be asking questions about their relationship. As a result, at this moment, Li Zuqing actually asked such a question. This really made Zhu Hui a little confused. Seeing that Zhu Hui didn't speak for a long time, Li Zuqing blinked her eyes suspiciously. What's wrong? Is this question difficult to answer? What I'm asking is, are Zhu Qian and I now considered to be like you and Lin Hao, best friends? Calculate. But they are not called best friends. Girls are called best friends. Best friend? Li Zuqing nodded, not quite understanding. You mean best friend? Right? When Lin Hao was mentioned, Zhu Hui suddenly seemed to open up. But to be precise, you and Zhu Qian seem to be a little far from being best friends. How should I describe it? Take Lin Hao and I as an example. We grew up wearing the same pair of crotchless pants. Which one of you has such a hard life? You even have to share your open crotch pants with others? Li Zuqing's eyebrows were slightly furrowed. Forehead. It's not what you think. Growing up in the same pair of crotchless pants is just a habitual way of describing to people who have been close since childhood. Oh, go on. Only then did Li Zuqing nod her head. Although Lin Hao didn't grow up in Daily and GSHN. We went to school together because we were elementary school classmates. However, we didn't really play together at the beginning of elementary school. It was because one time I had to relieve myself but couldn't find a toilet. I just opened the floodgates on the roadside to release water, but who knew there was a guy lying on the ground who had skipped class to take a nap. As soon as these words came out, Li Zuqing's expression became strange. Obviously, images of the exam began to form in my mind. Water, a friend. Yeah, that's how it is. We got to know each other vaguely, and then when I was in junior high school, he transferred to another school and we lost contact, but maybe it was fate. This idiot was grouped with me again in high school. In the end, I accidentally ended up in the same dormitory with him in college. How should I put it? I know most of Lin Hao's details, including his past. All kinds of embarrassing moments, and some memories and little secrets that he doesn't want to talk about. After Zhu Hui said this, he realized that there was a hint of longing in Li Zuqing's eyes. What's wrong? Don't you have a friend like this who you have been playing with since childhood? Li Zuqing's eyes moved. A playmate who has been with me since childhood? I don't think so. If I have to say, there seems to be one person who has always been by my side. However, she probably doesn't know much about many of my affairs. When saying this, Liu King couldn't help but think of someone. A woman with a cold temperament and decisiveness in killing. This person had been by his side all year round when he was in the profound Yantian continent. She does things that the Ice Lotus Empress is unwilling to do, and she kills people that the Ice Lotus Empress is not convenient to kill. Many people said that the man was like a knife in Liu King's hand, but Liu King never thought about it that way. But even so, there were still many things she didn't tell the other party. So Liu King was very surprised why the so-called best friend relationship between Zuhu and Lin helped make the two of them completely open their hearts and talk about everything. You know, Liu King has a lot of past that she has buried deep in her heart. She wants to talk but doesn't know who to talk to. If the powerful ones of the demon clan knew about it, it might become a kind of weakness of Liu King in the eyes of the outside world. In fact, childhood friends are the easiest to develop into best friends or close friends. Because this kind of person and I grew up together, we know each other very well. We met each other at the purest time, and there is no interest involved, so this kind of relationship is quite pure. Don't think that I usually dislike Lin Hao. But once something happens to him, I will basically be the first person to stand up for him. Zhu Hua looked at Liu King and noticed that the woman was slightly silent. He smiled again and said, "In fact, we can also become a relationship where we can talk about anything. Everyone grows up in a different environment, so the relationships around them may also be different. Here, this is for you, your Chinese Valentine's Day gift." The next moment, Zhu Hua directly changed the subject without giving Liu King a chance to answer. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if you were accidentally rejected by a woman? Gift? Liu King glanced at the box in Zhu Hua's hand. Zhu Hua slowly opened the box, inside which lay a light blue lotus. He coughed. "This is the snow lotus root you gave me before. You said it contained the words you wanted to say to me before you left. But I haven't even read it. If you have anything to say to me, I want to hear it from you in person, not in this farewell-like way. And giving this back to you, I hope you'll never give it to me again in this lifetime. I hope you'll always be." I heard Zhu Hua suddenly become serious. Liu King pursed her red lips, and a hint of struggle flashed across her beautiful starry eyes. She was a little dazed, as if there was a voice in her heart urging her to agree. However, when she thought of the consequences of staying, Liu King couldn't help but tremble at her heart. "This seat. I came here in the beginning just to have someone take care of my child. At first, I had thought that once the child was born, I would leave him to his father and then leave. When did my thinking begin to change? Was it when you first realized that people without identity couldn't live a stable life here? No, I had already decided to leave at that time. But for some reason, she felt an inexplicable palpitation in her chest as if she would never see the man in front of her again, so she gave up the idea of leaving again and returned to Zhu Hua's home. But at that time, Liu King still wanted to leave after the child was born. Even though I went out on a date with him today, it was mostly out of spite with Bae Zhu Mo. Besides, it's a holiday after all, and Zhu Hu invited me. I don't have anything to do, so why are you refusing?" The next moment, Liu King looked at Zhu Hu in confusion. There was 3 parts of anxiety and 7 parts of anticipation in the young man's eyes. Liu King moved her red lips, and for a moment she was afraid to speak. How could I possibly fall in love with a human male? Could it be that I really want to stay? It's okay, there's no rush for the answer. Just then Zhu Hu suddenly smiled. He glanced at the dimples on Liu King's cheeks that were gradually disappearing, and a hint of pity flashed across his eyes. "I can wait for you." As soon as these words came out, Liu King breathed a sigh of relief. "Good. By the way, what's the name of that childhood friend you mentioned?" After that, Zhu Hu changed the subject and did not ask Liu King whether she was willing to live with him forever. The woman was very sharp-minded, and both of them were trying to ignore the brief unpleasantness that had just occurred. "Her name is Lin Kingle and G." Bang! This was the sound of the knife and fork in Zhu Hua's hand suddenly falling to the ground. He slowly raised his head with a look of surprise. The impact of this name was far more exaggerated than the fact that Liu King did not deny it or answer whether she was willing to live with him. Chapter 68. Is she in your company? What's wrong? Liu King frowned in confusion. The service in this restaurant is quite good. Zhu Hua's knife and fork fell to the ground. Soon the waiter came over this way. "Sir, I'll help you get a new set of tableware." Okay, thank you." The next moment, Zhu Hua's Adam's apple rolled. He looked at Liu King and asked tentatively, "The childhood friend you were talking about should not be from our world, right?" "Of course not. How could someone who grew up with me be a human from your world?" Liu King raised her eyebrows in confusion. "What exactly do you want to say?" "No, it's okay." Seeing that Liu King seemed a little doubtful, Zhu Hua quickly controlled his emotions. "I'm just curious about your relationship with that childhood friend. The name happens to sound familiar." If it's convenient, how about telling me about the two of you? There's nothing you can't say. Liu King nodded slightly, a glimmer of reminiscence flashing through her eyes. When Lin Qingling met me, she was being chased by several people. She was covered in wounds and accidentally stumbled into my territory. I originally planned to kill her and get rid of her quickly. For the next half hour, Zhu Hu was immersed in the story described by Liu King, with his mouth wide open in an expression of disbelief. When he came to his senses, half of the guests in the restaurant had left. The waiter then came over and urged, "Sir, our closing time today is 9:30. We will close in an hour. The chef will go off duty at this time if you don't add more dishes. We will let the chef go off duty." Hearing this, Zhu Hu let out a long sigh of relief. Damn it. It looks like those people in the company are in danger. Sir. Oh, it's alright, we won't order anything. The waiter urged him a few words, which finally brought Zhu Hu back to his senses. He swallowed. If that's the case, Lin Qingling is still an uneasy time bomb. Wow, Mr. Ba has brought back an ancestor according to Liu King's description. To put it bluntly, Lin Qingling is like Liu King's white glove. She will kill those whom Liu King disdains to kill, and she will do the things that Liu King disdains to do. If anyone dares to insult Liu King, she will definitely be the first person to appear in front of the Ice Lotus Empress. If anyone dares to provoke Liu King, she will definitely take lightning strike at the first opportunity. He looks just like Liu King's bodyguard. Gurgle. Why are you staring at me like that? It's okay, I just thought that since we've had enough to eat and drink, why don't we go home now? We still have to go out and play tomorrow, so we should save some energy. Liu King had no doubts. And the two of them walked out of the restaurant and headed towards Qingwu Street. Zhu Hu's forehead was covered with cold sweat all the way. Liu King had noticed this a long time ago but was too lazy to point it out. It seemed that after hearing the three words, Lin Qingling, Zhu Hu's reaction began to become abnormal. Oh, I suddenly remembered that I left something in the restaurant, or we just had dinner. Why don't you go back first and I'll go get it? Halfway through the journey, Zhu Hui coughed and told a lie. Hearing this, Liu King didn't say much, but just glanced at Zhu Hui meaningfully. Then go quickly and come back soon. No, by the way, you don't have to go upstairs and squeeze in with Lin Hao tonight. I will sleep with you tonight otherwise, and Li will get curious after a while. We are already in this relationship. How come I am not even willing to sleep in the same bed with you? What? If you don't speak louder than words, you won't kill anyone. Zhu Hu's steps as he left suddenly stopped. If Liu King had said this yesterday, he would probably have cheered with joy. However, I just learned from Liu King today that Lin Qingling is a dangerous person. Zhu Hu was also preparing to rush to notify Bae Zumo and quickly find a way to get rid of the time bomb. If Zhu Hu sleeps at Lin Hao's house tonight, he can find an excuse to come home late later. Now that Liu King said this, Zhu Hu's retreat was completely blocked. What's wrong? You don't want to? You weren't so timid when you were touching me in Mulberry Village. Oh no, I do. Of course I do. Oh, I thought you were afraid to sleep with me. Afraid? It's impossible to be afraid. I will never be afraid of it in my life. Can you suffocate me with facial cleanser? Zhu Hu puffed out his chest and said something pretentiously that Liu King couldn't understand at all. You little brat. Your doesn't contain explosives, why should I be afraid? Lin Hao, are you in the company now? Just one street away from Liu King. Zhu Hu immediately called his best friend Lin Hao. Fortunately, Lin Hao answered the phone quickly and didn't make Zhu Hu wait for long. Otherwise Zhu Hu might have rushed back to the company by now. Fuck. Why are you calling me at this time? Aren't you supposed to be with your girlfriend? It sounded a bit noisy from Lin Hao's side. Zhu Hu suddenly coughed. Are you ready to talk? It's okay today. Our new colleague Lin Qingling invited us to dinner, and all the single colleagues in our department came out to eat. What's wrong with you? You're acting weird. If you have something to say, just tell me. Oh my god, is it Lin Qingling who is treating you to dinner? Zhu Hu's heart couldn't help but make a thumping sound. Well, Lin Qingling is not a good person. I suggest you stay away from her. By the way, is Mr. Ba here? I want to talk to him alone. Mr. Ba is not here. After saying this, Lin Hao on the other end of the phone suddenly became dissatisfied. What's wrong? Are you talking about your new colleague behind his back? You and Lin Qingling have never even met each other, right? Let me tell you, Miss Lin is a very nice person. She is shy and timid, and has a very sweet voice. I felt relief the moment I saw her. No wonder President Bi wanted her to be a star. This is simply a pillar dropped by God. As the administrative director, Lin Hao is responsible for more than just Zhu Hu's design department. He also has a certain area of responsibility in the field of cultural media, so Lin Hao prides himself on his good judgment of people. The first time he saw Lin Qingling, he knew that if nothing unexpected happened, This girl would definitely have a chance to become a popular actress in the future. Oh, by the way, you said that Mr. BA himself took the lead in harassing male subordinates. I guess our company should not prohibit colleagues from dating, right? I want to pursue Lin Kingle and G. Can you help me with some advice later? Forehead. Pursuing Lin Kingle and G? The corners of Zhu Hua's mouth twitched for a moment. Lin Hao, you are really something. You are getting more and more aggressive. If I tell you that Lin Kingle and Ji and Li Ziqing are both from another world, or to put it bluntly, they are aliens, I wonder if you can still laugh now. Our Li Ziqing is a snow lotus. Lin Kingle and Ji is probably also a plant type, right? Okay, I'm not going to talk nonsense with you anymore. I'm going to go drink with Miss Lin. If you have anything else, we can talk when I get to work. I'm hanging up. On the other end of the phone, Lin Hao hung up the call in a flash. Zhu Hua's eyelids twitched wildly as he listened to the busy tone in the receiver. At this moment, Zhu Hua suddenly felt that someone was watching him from behind. He turned his head and saw Li Ziqing, who was wearing a pink floral dress, with her arms folded across her chest, staring at him calmly. Baden. Zhu Hua's heart suddenly shrank uncontrollably. The next moment, Li Ziqing opened her red lips slightly. You just said Lin Kingle and Ji is in your company. Chapter 16 Scene. I will break his legs. There are only two ways for people from our place to come to your world. One is to be like me, after getting pregnant. Rely on blood to find it, and the other is to experience the mortal world. Li Ziqing and Zhu Hua sat side by side on a bench by the roadside. The day is the eve of Chinese Valentine's Day. People coming and going on the street are all college student couples. Many of them are holding hands with happy looks on their faces. Zhu Hua's Adam's apple rolled unconsciously and he glanced at the beautiful woman next to him. So, when we met in my dream, you were, well, at that time, I was training in the mortal world. Li Ziqing glanced at Zhu Hua. If the Lin Kingle and Ji you are talking about is my friend, then it is very likely that she also appeared here because of her experience in the mortal world. As for why she was so sure, Li Ziqing knew it herself. Even the Ice Lotus Empress, who was the most powerful demon clan member, had to work very hard and even lost half of her cultivation in order to break through the void and find Zhu Hua. Lin Kingle and Ji's strength is far inferior to hers. If Lin Kingle and Ji used the same method, she would probably have died in the space crack before she reached Country Z. The next moment, Li Ziqing said in a deep voice, no matter what, I have to make sure she completes the training successfully at the very least. Something like what happened to you and me cannot happen a second time. Hearing this, Zhu Hua's old face turned red. Of course he knew that Li Ziqing was referring to the shameless cohabitation life in the dream. But what happened between us also happened in a dream. I became a vegetable and had a spring dream for half a year. Who would have thought that he could actually get such a beautiful wife for free? You said Lin Hao was planning to pursue Lin Kingle and Ji. The next moment, Li Ziqing glanced at Zhu Hua. Well, Lin Hao seems to have a good impression of Lin Kingle and Ji. He's dreaming. Before he could finish his words, Li Ziqing sneered. Come on, take me to find them even if my people are trash. If I don't agree, no one else has the right to get involved. Hearing this, Zhu Hua suddenly felt better. Li Ziqing also said this the last time she was jealous of Bae Zumo. Now it seems that in Li Ziqing's heart, not only am I trash, but even Lin Kingle and Ji, who grew up with her, is trash. Thinking of this way, Zhu Hua felt much more comfortable. But after walking a few steps, Li Ziqing suddenly added, what's more, Lin Kingle and Ji is the most important person to me, and I cannot allow her to encounter any accidents during her training in the mortal world. If Lin Hao dares to have such random thoughts, I will break his legs. Zhu Hui. Lin Hao and his team's address is not difficult to find. They are most likely near the company. Zhu Hui just called a few acquaintances and found out their whereabouts. In addition to Lin Hao, a pretentious young man like him who acts like a male dog in heat, their department naturally also has many introverted and coquetous to deodatus. So there were also many people who did not attend the party. In addition to Lin Hao, there is another colleague sitting next to him in the department, Wang Shunqian, who has a very good relationship with Zhu Hua. Wang Shunqian is a fat, fair-skinned man with a chubby face full of tenderness. A pair of small eyes are hidden in the flesh. Fat people are not ugly. They can even be described as handsome. When he smiles, he looks like the Leshan giant Buddha, which makes it easy to win people's favor. This is also one of the few colleagues in the company who has a good relationship with Zhu Hua. Father Hui, Manager Lin and the new colleagues were at the Magic Cube KEB across from the company. They had a dinner party at first. But I went back after dinner. You know, I'm not used to this kind of occasion. Hearing this, Zhu Hua nodded with relief. Han Shunchuan is a stay-at-home guy, so it's normal that he is not used to attending gatherings with colleagues. After hanging up the phone, Zhu Hua led Li Ziqing towards Magic Cube KTV. The place where he and Li Ziqing had a date was about 3 blocks away from the company, and they didn't take a taxi but just walked all the way there. But are you sure Lin Kingle and Ji is not dangerous? Zhu Hua stole a glance at Liu Zuking. Just now in the restaurant, after hearing Liu Ziking's description of Lin Qingdalinji, even Zhu Hua was scared to death. If this woman is really as dangerous as Liu Zuking described, Bai Zumo would be inviting a wolf into the house by keeping her in the company. However, when he said this, he was naturally responded with a roll of the eyes. Liu Zuking asked back calmly, "Is this lord dangerous in your dream?" No, she was so cute back then. As docile and well behaved as a kitten's he, as nothing like now, fierce and has a bad temper. Liu Zuking. I noticed that the woman's face started to look strange. The next moment Zhu Hua quickly changed his words. I mean, it's good for you to be yourself now with such a cool personality. I don't have to worry about you being approached by others when you go out. Indeed, although Zhu Hua had a stunningly beautiful wife that countless people dreamed of, he had never worried that Liu Zuqing and Zhu Qian would be approached when they went out alone. After all, when Liu Zuqing first appeared in reality, that time in Starbucks, she left a deep impression on Zhu Hua. There were many couples coming and going along the way, and Zhu Hua saw that they were all holding hands. His heart moved and he inadvertently moved his hand towards Liu Zuqing. Snap! Are you pulling my skirt? Of course Liu Zuqing saw his little action. While she found it very funny, she also felt a little bit of anticipation. However, when Zhu Hua's hand was about to grab himself, the Ice Lotus Queen slapped him in the face for some unknown reason. No, there was a mosquito on your arm just now, and I helped you swat it away. Zhu Hua chuckled twice. And the atmosphere between the two became weird again. It seemed like Liu Zuqing was allergic to romance. Whenever Zhu Hua mustered up the courage and had some unbridled thoughts in his mind, Liu Zuqing would always pour a bucket of cold water on him. However, when passing a corner, Liu Zuqing suddenly glanced at Zhu Hua. Under the young man's surprised gaze, the slender arm gently placed on Zhu Hua's hand. I'm just tired from walking. Can you let me lean on you for a while? Okay. It's not like Zhu Hua had not gone out with Liu Zuqing before, so he knew that women had amazing physical strength. The so-called needing to lean on someone because she was tired was just a proud excuse. Of course, the person who was enjoying the soft and fragrant jade did not expose it. After walking for a while, Liu Zuqing suddenly pointed at the private car on the side of the road. So cars as a means of transportation really can't be captured. This topic change is too abrupt. What? I want to catch one for Aunt Li. Zhu Hua gave a helpless smile. I told you this is something you can only buy. Where did you catch the car dealer? It's not caught, it's produced. Liu Zuqing frowned. Who gave birth to her? Factory. Who is the factory? When I was with Liu Zuqing, Zhu Hua couldn't help but laugh. The two of them always had some weird but cute conversations. Chapter 70. Do you want to have one more mortal enemy, or one less mortal friend? On the other hand, Ba Zumo's situation was not so warm. After get off work, she came to the design department, but Zhu Hua left work early and had already gone on a date with Liu Zuqing. Obviously, Zhu Qian stood up her second sister-in-law. Ba Zumo found it very funny, but was also a little surprised at the courage of this little girl Zhu Qian. As expected of Zhu Hua's sister, she took the benefits but did nothing. Her work style is exactly the same as her brother's. Bai Zumo didn't seem very angry. There is no need to care so much about a cute girl like Zhu Qian. Since she couldn't take some time off, she decided to work overtime for a while. Bai Zumo was busy from 5:32 after 800. I just took a break from my busy schedule to eat something. After taking a look at the night view of Zhangcheng outside through the expensive floor-to-ceiling windows, Bai Zumo felt much better and called Zhu Qian. Although she didn't care about the girl, she still wanted to hear how Zhu Qian would argue with her. Hello? Soon, Zhu Qian's voice came from the other end of the phone. You little traitor, you still dare to answer my call. Who are you? When Bai Zumo heard the words who are you, she could no longer hold back. But God, she thought Zhu Qian had planned and thought of an excuse to deal with her. But who knew that this little traitor didn't even have her second sister-in-law's phone number saved? Bai Zumo was now extremely angry. Who do you say I am? Little traitor, believe it or not. I will ask your school's dean to come out and talk about the students' grades right now. Hey, sister-in-law, don't be angry. Of course I know it's your call. I was just joking with you. In fact, if you didn't look for me, I would have called you right now. Bai Zumo crossed her arms and snorted coldly. And I want to see how you can make excuses for me. I saw from the surveillance today that it was you who brought people to pick up Zhu Hua, right? Why? Are you afraid that I'll take your brother over as soon as I get off work and break up him and your sister-in-law? Hearing this, Zhu Qian said with a smile. How can that be possible? I am firmly on the side of my second sister-in-law. But some unexpected things happened today. Mainly, my sister-in-law started packing at around 3 o'clock. Changed her clothes and kept hesitating to go out. My aunt sprained her ankle and has been staying at my brother's place for the past 2 days. When she saw the situation, she urged me to take my sister-in-law to pick up my brother. Although I wanted to do something to delay, I didn't have much time. It's really not my fault, so we can't carry out our plan today. Besides, my sister-in-law and I have always been together. Even if I want to pretend to find an excuse to hold her back, I have to find a decent reason. I don't even have props prepared, so it's not convenient to perform." Upon hearing this, Biawa snorted to indicate that she heard it. "What about tomorrow? Aren't you going to help me delay that woman tomorrow?" "Tomorrow? There will definitely be a chance tomorrow." As Kian spoke, she pretended to. "I will pretend to have a high fever and be hospitalized tonight, and my sister-in-law will have to stay with me tomorrow. Then you can come directly to my brother's house. Isn't that a successful home invasion? Maybe your office romance can be transferred to your home and become a secret romance. All about it. Isn't it exciting just to think about it?" Bizumo's pretty face turned red and she spat softly. I secretly cursed Zuhua for being such a careless and unruly girl. Are these siblings really not biological? You big head ghost. You little traitor. If that's the case, then it depends on your performance tomorrow. Don't forget. I still have the handle on you. After saying this, Bizumo hung up the phone, and her thoughts were disrupted by Kian's call. Bizumo seemed to no longer be able to get angry. But she always felt that the background noise from Kian's phone call just now was a bit noisy. I wonder what this little girl is doing. Are you dating too? Staring at the couples walking downstairs, Bizumo sighed sadly again. If only I had been braver before. On the other side, Bizumo never dreamed that Kian had already appeared at Chongqing High-Speed Railway Station. After saying goodbye to Li Zuking and Zuhua today, she took a taxi straight to the high-speed rail station. She wanted to escape back to her hometown as soon as possible and start giving her mother a vaccination according to the method taught by Zuhua. Oh yes, and by the way, you also have to use your parents' mobile number to block calls from unknown numbers. To avoid revenge from my second sister-in-law Bizumo later. Kian glanced at the high-speed rail ticket in her hand and said to herself complacently, "If you want to accuse me of something bad, forget it. I'll just solve the problem from the root." How could Bizumo have imagined that Kian was so cruel? In order to avoid being exploited by her, she actually fled back to her hometown overnight. By this time tomorrow, when Bizumo realizes what has happened and wants to ask for culpability, Kian's parents will probably have blocked her on the phone. "Second sister-in-law, although you are very good to me, I am sorry the child cannot be without a father, so I can't watch you snatch my brother away." After saying this, Kian wrapped the Chanel backpack in her hand and shook her long hair, as if she was shaking off the last bit of guilt she felt towards Bizumo. Boarded the train home. On the other hand, Wang Chunqian did not lie when Zuhua and Li Zuking found the magic cube KTV. Manager Lin and his colleagues were still howling in the box. However, this time was not like the last time, when he went to KTV with Zuhua's family last time, because Zuhua brought 2 family members with him. Lin Hao couldn't let go and no one ordered any drinks. Today was different. Manager Lin had taken a liking to the company's new star, Lin Qingling, so he was very generous when he made his move. Not only did each of them have a hostess for drinking, they even ordered more than a dozen bottles of beer, looking like they would not leave until they were drunk. When Zuhua and Liu Zuking walked to the door of the box, Zuhua just took a quick look inside and couldn't help but break into a cold sweat for Lin Hao. He quickly blocked Liu Zuking's sight. "What's wrong? Why don't you go in?" Forehead. Zuhua coughed. "Lin Hao is my best friend after all, so why don't I tell him about this?" Before he could finish his words, the door of the box was suddenly opened. A colleague with a big belly came out and seemed quite surprised to see Zuhua. "Hey, brother Hue, are you here to have some fun too?" "Yes." Now no matter how Zuhua blocked it, Liu Zuking could still see the scene in the box. Lin Hao was seen holding a microphone in one hand and a beer in the other, but the hand holding the beer was also resting on a pretty girl. You can tell at a glance that the girl is different from the other hostesses in the box. In terms of temperament and appearance alone, the girl in Lin Hao's arms is far superior to those hostesses. What's more, Lin Hao kept calling her Miss Lin, and she had a drink every time, as Miss Lin had a good alcohol tolerance. If Zuhua couldn't recognize that the girl in Lin Hao's arms was Lin Qingling, he would have lived in vain. After seeing Lin Qingling's appearance, Zuhua couldn't help but sigh. No wonder Bizumo was so determined to let this amnesiac girl with unknown origins make her debut. If packaged properly, Lin Qingling will obviously be the next one of the 4 little flowers. Thus the scene in the room fell into Liu Zuking's eyes, and Zuhua's forehead was instantly covered in cold sweat. "Oh, by the way, why don't you call Lin Hao for me and tell him that I want to talk to him?" Zuhua pulled the fat colleague out. As a result, I don't know if that guy was drunk and his mind was still confused, or he thought that Lin Hao and Zuhua had such a good relationship that he could say anything. He actually blurted out a sentence. "Brother Hui, Manager Lin just assigned me a task. I have to help Manager Lin get a room. You know that Manager Lin has a bad temper. He will definitely be unhappy if the task is not completed. Why don't you just go in and find him? As he spoke, the colleague showed an embarrassed expression. What? Open a room? Zhu Hui's body trembled. He was obviously shocked by these two words. Oh shit. How dare this bastard Lin Hao get so bold? You've only known each other for a day, and you're already planning on taking Lin Kingle and Ji out to get a room? Liu Ziking's eyebrows revealed a hint of coldness that was barely noticeable. Very good, you dare to disrespect me. Zhu Hui, do you want to have one more mortal enemy, or one less mortal friend? Chapter 71, What a Sin. One more mortal enemy or one less mortal friend. This is a bit harsh. It was obvious that Liu Ziking was really angry. The meaning is very clear, almost like speaking directly. Either let me kill Lin Hao, or we will become enemies. Zhu Hui's Adam's apple rolled unconsciously. Damn it, this bastard is really going to cause me trouble. I have diabetes, let me give him something sweet to try. Having said that, Zhu Hui pushed his colleague aside and took the lead in walking into the KTV box. As soon as you enter the door, you can smell the pungent smell of cigarettes. It seems that these colleagues have really let themselves go today. The place was filled with smoke, which did not dissipate for a long time. Even with the door open at first glance, it looked like a fairyland. Lin Hao, who was sitting in the main seat, was a little surprised to see Zhu Hui. Hey, why are you here? It's the night before Chinese Valentine's Day. Why are you here instead of going to get a room? Fuck, you're poisonous. As he spoke, Zhu Hui slapped away Lin Hao's hand that was on Lin Kingle and Ji's shoulder. What do you think? Lin Hao was a little unhappy when Zhu Hui ruined his fun of picking up girls. What do I think? I'm communicating with my new colleagues. And it was Miss Lin who took the initiative to invite colleagues from our department to come out for team building today. I saw that everyone was in high spirits, so we opened a KTV. President BA also knows about this. Are you here to cause trouble? Zhu Hui glanced at Lin Kingle and Ji, who was acting stiffly in Lin Hao's arms, and coughed. Let's talk for a moment. What are you doing? Seeing that he was being pulled and forced, Lin Hao looked reluctant. Zhu Hui could clearly feel that Liu Ziking's gaze outside the box was becoming increasingly hostile. Misfortunes sent by heaven can be forgiven, but misfortunes brought upon oneself cannot be forgiven. I am just a clay Buddha crossing the river, and I can't help you in this situation. The next moment, Zhu Hui pointed outside. My girlfriend wants to see you. Lin Hao widened his eyes and noticed Liu Ziking outside. He even greeted her politely, and turned to look at Zhu Hui. What does your girlfriend want to see me for? Oh, maybe I want to talk to you about life. Clam? Lin Hao had a strange expression on his face. What does your girlfriend tell me about life? Lin Hao, come out for a moment. I want to talk to you. At this moment, Liu Ziking outside couldn't help herself anymore and waved at Lin Hao. Only then did Lin Hao walk out with doubt in his mind. Zhu Hui glanced at Lin Kingle and Ji, who was sitting on the sofa feeling a little uneasy. Is this the girl who came from another world like Liu Ziking? While Zhu Hui looked Lin Kingle and Ji up and down. Lin Kingle and Ji also looked at Zhu Hui curiously with a red face. Zhu Hui could not see in her the decisive and murderous look that Liu Ziking described. It seems that just as Liu Ziking said, Lin Kingle and Ji also blocked her memory and started some worldly experience. That's why she became an amnesiac girl who knows nothing when asked, right? And I don't know if it's fate that Lin Kingle and Ji was picked up by Mr. BA. Where do you live now? When Lin Kingle and Ji heard Zhu Hui chime in, she whispered shyly. Upstairs in the company. Upstairs in the company. Zhu Hui was stunned for a moment, then he remembered that there seemed to be a rest area for artists upstairs in Shengxi Entertainment. Because the company's business includes not only various types of designs, Biaoi also undertakes the business of artist packaging and media. So there are internet celebrities and small stars in other departments of Shengxi Entertainment. Although there are no top stars among these people, they are still public figures after all. From time to time, there will inevitably be one or two fans who will dig out their homes and launch a fanatical pursuit. If it's a boy, it's okay. So when the company was founded, Biazumo set aside several rooms upstairs for the artists to rest in to prevent harassment from paparazzi and fanatical fans. Is that so? How about I take you home now? It's very late. Zhu Hui looked outside and saw that Liu Ziking and Lin Hao were nowhere to be seen. He mourned for Lin Hao for a moment in his heart. Liu Ziking's methods are obvious to all. She can strike with lightning speed in front of vicious criminals, and it would only take her a matter of minutes to deal with a mere Lin Hao. Aren't we waiting for Manager Lin to come back? Manager Lin said he would tell me a story tonight to get me to sleep. And he also said this was a task assigned by CEO BA. I don't know why I often suffer from insomnia these past few days, and some strange memories keep popping up in my mind. So Manager Lin said that General BA cared about my health and asked Manager Lin to accompany me. Lin Kingle and Ji glanced at Zhu Hui timidly. He farted. Hearing this, Zhu Hui couldn't help but curse in his heart. Beast. Lin Hao made up stories without even thinking about it, which was because Lin Qingling had no memory of her original world and was as clean as a blank sheet of paper, so she believed Lin Hao's lies. If another woman heard this, she would not only not send him in, but would at least slap him twice and scold him as a hooligan. Zhu Hui glanced at Lin Qingling and suddenly muttered to himself. But the so-called strange images should refer to Lin Qingling's blocked memories, right? Oh. At this moment, Lin Qingling looked up at Zhu Hui in confusion. Nothing, don't listen to Lin Hao's nonsense, he is not a good person. Stay away from him in the future. Stay away from him, it will be better for both of you. Zhu Hui thought silently in his heart. Oh, okay. I am also Mr. Bai's employee. We are colleagues. My name is Zhu Hui. I watched Zhu Hui introduce himself. Lin Qingling moved her hands nervously again. My name is Lin Qingling. Do you want to shake hands? Zhu Hui couldn't help but smile when seeing this scene. Isn't this girl too naive? Zhu Hui waved his hand. No, that's enough. Tell your assistant and I'll take you back. After saying this, Zhu Hui clapped his hands to attract the attention of everyone in the box. Everyone, let's stop here for today. MRLN will go to pay the bill later. If you want to continue playing, I will take Mr. Lin and Lin Qingling away in a while. Okay, brother Hui. Doctors slowly. Help us thank MRLN for his generosity. Today Mr. Lin is YYDS. MRLN is generous. Zhu Hui nodded with a smile, and then led Lin Qingling out of the smoke-filled box. Zhu Hui himself does not smoke. He may only smoke a cigarette when he is in a bad mood or when someone offers him a cigarette. So he really couldn't stand the choking environment in there for even a minute. After coming out, the first person I saw was Liu Zuqing wearing a pink floral dress. Lin Hao's whereabouts are unknown. Zhu Hui's Adam's apple moved, and he asked nervously, "Where's Lin Hao? You won't give him too?" As he spoke, Zhu Hui made a motion of cutting his neck with a knife, and his whole body trembled. What are you thinking? In the corridor over there. But this kid probably won't be able to do anything bad for 10 days or half a month. You have made him childless? No, I just used my energy to freeze one of his legs, but he hasn't noticed it yet. Forehead. Zhu Hui thought about it. Freeze that thing. Dan, it's want crushed ice. After saying this, Liu Zuqing's gaze fell on Lin Qingling, who was moving awkwardly. The moment the two women looked at each other, a rare trace of emotion appeared in Liu Zuqing's eyes. Haven't seen you for a long time. You. Who are you? Do we know each other? Lin Qingling's reaction was not unexpected. She glanced at Liu Zuqing with some fear. The aura of a superior person on the woman was very oppressive. Lin Qingling is now like a blank sheet of paper, and without any memory to support her, she is very timid. Maybe. Liu Zuqing smiled, but didn't dwell on the topics. He just glanced at Zhu Hui a few more times. Let Lin Hao send her back. Don't worry, he should have lost the ability to do bad things for at least a long time. After saying this, Liu Zuqing went downstairs first. As soon as Zhu Hui turned his head, he met a sad face. It turned out that it was Lin Hao who was limping towards this side. Why didn't you tell me earlier that Lin Qingling is your girlfriend's childhood friend? If you had said no earlier, there wouldn't be any misunderstandings. Zhu Hui felt like laughing when he saw his funny move of walking with his legs tucked inwards, but he still managed to laugh back. I warned you over the phone. Who told you not to listen to me? If you had kept your distance from Lin Qingling, wouldn't these things have happened? Damn it. Several people went downstairs one after another, but when Lin Hao was about to go out, he was stopped by several staff members. Zhu Hui and Liu Zuqing looked at each other, and both of them smiled tacitly. From not far away, it was not difficult to tell from the lip movements that the meaning was probably to ask him to pay the bill. The expression on Lin Hao's face began to become subtle. How to describe it? Mixed with physical pain, grief and indignation, there is also an indescribable sadness. This kid really lost both his wife and his army today. Not only did he fail to capture Lin Qingling, but he was also severely beaten. Not only did he get beaten, he also had to spend money to treat everyone in the company who came out for team building today to have drinks. Maybe some of them will go to a hotel with girls later. As a result, Lin Hao, as the financial sponsor, can only sleep alone tonight. Zhu Hui looked inside the KTV again. It is not difficult to read through lip reading the 3 words that Lin Hao uttered in grief and anger when he held the invoice. What a sin. Chapter 72. I will sleep in the second bedroom with you. What are your plans for Lin Qingling in the future? Since Liu Zuqing was confident in letting Lin Hao send Lin Qingling home, Zhu Hui felt relieved. The two walked towards Kinjwu Street. Tonight there is no little light bulb Zuqian, no annoying ghost Lin Hao, and no nagging middle-aged woman Liu Zhen. Zhu Hui enjoyed this rare opportunity to be alone with Liu Zuqing. The woman has a pleasant fragrance like that of an orchid in a valley. The smell came with the wind from time to time, and Zhu Hua was quite intoxicated by it. I don't know, let's just leave it like this for now. It can be seen that she has just started her earthly training. If I interfere recklessly, it will not only do her no good, but it may also affect the results of her training. Zhu Hua nodded silently, and the next moment he suddenly hesitated to speak. Tell me, could she be someone from your world, coming to see you? Hearing this, Liu Zuqing paused. The summer evening breeze blew on their faces, and the atmosphere between Zhu Hua and Liu Zuqing suddenly became subtle. I can only say that it is possible. Zhu Hua glanced at Liu Zuqing and suddenly wanted to slap himself in the face. I have such a bad mouth. Why do I bring up things that are not related to the topic? During the rest of the journey, the atmosphere between the two of them became weird. Zhu Hua hesitated several times, trying to find a suitable topic. But Liu Zuqing seemed to be uninterested and kept her head down, not knowing what she was thinking. In fact, Liu Zuqing had also thought that Lin Qingling might be here to find her. But when she thought about returning to Tianquan continent, Liu Zuqing felt as if a stone was blocking her heart. Zhu Hui originally thought that he would spend the eve of Chinese Valentine's Day like this, but after returning home, Liu Zuqing turned around and went into the bathroom. But after walking only 2 steps, she turned back and called Zhu Hui. Wait a moment. I just remembered that I also prepared a gift for you. After hearing these words, Zhu Hui was stunned. Liu Zuqing also prepared a gift for me. Li Yuzhen went to bed early. My mother sprained her ankle these 2 days and couldn't go to the hospital to bring meals to Grandpa, so Li Yuzhen was happy to have some free time. During the day, he would occupy the TV in the living room to watch My Fair Princess and The Legend of Zhenhuan, and at night he would make soup for Liu Zuqing. She goes to bed at a certain time and calls Lao Zhu when she misses her husband. Her life is quite leisurely and enjoyable. I broke your phone before, so this is my apology. It's not very valuable, but you can't refuse me. The next moment, Liu Zuqing went into the bedroom and walked out. She was holding a small box in her hand. The packaging was not particularly exquisite, but the bow was tied very awkwardly, and it was probably made by Liu Zuqing. Obviously the woman also put her heart into it. Zhu Hua's heart suddenly felt warm. Had he buy me a mobile phone? Here, your gift. Whether you like it or not, you have to accept this. Okay, I've given you the things. I'm going to take a shower. After saying this, Liu Zuqing threw the small box into Zhu Hua's arms. He snorted and turned to walk towards the bathroom, seemingly not caring at all about Zhu Hua's reaction. But in fact, Liu Zuqing felt uneasy. This was the first time in her life that she gave a gift to the opposite sex. For the first time, she felt an emotion called anticipation, and she was afraid to see Zhu Hua's dissatisfied expression. Although the arrogant Ice Lotus Empress said that she didn't care about Zhu Hua's reaction. But who made her have such a hypocritical personality? When I entered the bathroom, I didn't hear the gurgling sound of running water as I had imagined. Liu Zuqing leaned behind the door and quietly observed Zhu Hua's reaction. Hey, didn't you take a shower? Why are you out again? Oh, I didn't take a towel. As a result, just as Zhu Hui opened the box, Liu Zuqing came out again, glanced at the young man, and asked in a pretentious manner, how is it? What's going on? I was surprised to see Zhu Hua had this reaction. Liu Zuqing groaned in dissatisfaction. This is something I gave you. I haven't opened it yet. This is the first time a girl has given me a gift, and I want to keep it well. Then whatever you want. Hearing this, Liu Zuqing seemed a little unhappy. Only then did Zhu Hui obediently take out the things from the box. I saw square cloth inside with the Apple logo printed on it. How to describe it? It looks like the fabric is from a street stall. But Zhu Hui was still confused. Why did Liu Zuqing give me a rag for no reason? Liu Zuqing met Zhu Hui's puzzled gaze and snorted. I noticed that you seem to like things with this logo, so I bought you one. Well, if you dare to say you don't like it, you're dead. Forehead. That's it. The next moment, Zhu Hui coughed. Thank you for the rag, I like it very much. Now it was Liu Zuqing's turn to be stunned. After a long while, the woman spoke angrily. What rag? This is the towel I bought for you. Forehead. So it's a towel. I can't blame myself for my poor eyesight. It's mainly because this towel looks too much like a rag. Zhu Hui coughed twice. Hearing this, Liu Zuqing almost hit him twice out of anger. Do you want it? Don't give it back to me. Want? Seeing a hint of anger flash across Liu Zuqing's brows, Zhu Hui didn't dare to say anything more. He nodded obediently, put the towel into the box carefully, and then gave Liu Zuqing a sly look. No other gifts? Tomorrow is Chinese Valentine's Day. Do you remember the story I told you? The cowherd and the weaver girl. As he spoke, Zhu Hui rubbed his hands, looking nervous. Seems like he's expecting something special. You should know that today, my cousin Zuqian Qian, the 40W super light bulb, left my sister-in-law Yu Zuqing to herself. Zhu Hui felt that he would be letting himself down if he didn't cherish this time. Liu Zuqing narrowed her eyes. What is this idiot trying to say? Is there anything else he wants? Seeing Liu Zuking's reaction, Zhu Hua simply stopped pretending and pointed at his face. In my dream, when I was in Mulberry Village, you would kiss me every time I cooked for you. Tomorrow is Chinese Valentine's Day. On tea, you have any special gifts? Hearing this, Liu Zuking's pretty face first blushed. The next moment his expression turned cold and stern. This guy actually dared to mention what happened in Sang Village in front of me. Zhu Hua, I think you are really brave. No kisses, do you want a punch as big as a sandbag? Well, so everyone else is celebrating a festival today, but I'm experiencing a tribulation. Zhu Hua waved his hands with tears in his eyes. Liu Zuking then went into the bathroom to wash up, but when Zhu Hua packed up his things and was about to go upstairs to find Lin Hao, Liu Zuking's voice slowly floated out from the bathroom. No need to look for Lin Hao. Aunt Li has fallen asleep, let her have a good rest. Aunt Li knows our relationship well done. Go upstairs tonight. I will sleep in the second bedroom with you. Chapter 73, Evil Thoughts. If happiness comes too suddenly, a person may easily become complacent. It is very likely that Zhu Hua is in such a state now. He never dreamed that Liu Zuking would take the initiative to live with him. He originally thought that Liu Zuking was joking during the date. To describe it in one sentence, the sky cleared up. The rain stopped, and he felt he was fine again. Liu Zuking took an exceptionally long time to take a bath today. Zhu Hui was like a maggot on the bed, twisting back and forth restlessly, just unable to wait for Liu Zuking to come out. He no longer had the heart to play with his phone. His thoughts had long since flown away to who knows where. His mind was filled with random thoughts, and Liu Zuking's delicate face kept flashing through it. Just then, Zhu Hui's cell phone suddenly rang. At a quick glance, it turned out to be my father Zhu Mingyuan. Lao Zhu called to express his concern for his son. Zhu Mingyuan was scared to death after seeing a bank robbery on the news a few days ago. Fortunately, Biamo called him immediately and calmed him down. However, Lao Zhu had originally expected his son to report to him that he was safe as soon as he had time. But after waiting for such a long time, Lao Zhu was the first to call him. You little brat, you didn't even bother to tell your dad about this serious incident. When Zhu Hui heard his father's voice on the other end of the phone, he was stunned at first. What? Because Liu Zuking had just agreed to sleep in the same room with him. His mind was completely occupied by this matter. He could hardly wait to hold Liu Zuking's soft, fragrant, and delicate body in his arms. When Zhu Hui heard his father's voice, he almost thought that his father was talking about this matter. Dad, did you install surveillance cameras in my house? Otherwise, how would you know something big was going to happen? Zhu Mingyuan. What bullshit are you talking about? Weren't you held hostage in the bank opposite Songda International 2 days ago? I was scared to death when I saw the news. If your company's CEO Xiao Bi hadn't informed me, I would have taken the high-speed train to rush back to see you in the middle of the night. Forehead. Only then did Zhu Hui realize that this was what his father was talking about. I didn't expect that my dad knew about the robbery. He coughed and said, Oh, I was thinking you were out on a business trip anyway. The final result was good, I was fine. And everyone was happy. I was afraid that you would worry if you knew, so I didn't tell you. In fact, Zhu Hui really thought so. After escaping death from the bank, he thought about sharing the bizarre incident with his father, but then he changed his mind and was afraid of scaring old Zhu to death. So I just put this matter behind me. In addition, after the robbery, Bai Zumo came to provoke Liu Zuking. Zhu Hui's attention was diverted at once, and he completely forgot about the robbery. How's your mother's rest these past 2 days? Old Zhu was speechless about this heartless son. Since Zhu Hu was safe and sound, old Zhu didn't intend to dwell too much on the robbery. Actively changed the subject. It's okay. He's been much more obedient since he sprained his ankle. In fact, Grandpa doesn't need to have meals delivered to him every day. The nurses in the advanced inpatient department of the hospital can help with the meals. Besides, Grandpa is in the hospital for pre-surgery and conditioning, not post-surgery, and he hasn't lost his ability to take care of himself. It's unnecessary for my mother to run around and take care of him every day. Hearing this, Lao Zhu nodded in agreement, but still refuted. After all, your mother has nothing to do at home after retirement. Rather than saying it's a waste of time, it's more like she can't sit still and wants to find something to do. Click. The next moment, Lao Zhu on the other end of the phone lit a cigarette. He knew that his son had grown up and had his own ideas. Under normal circumstances, Lao Zhu would not be so sentimental, but he was out of town these 2 days and his son had experienced something as dangerous as a robbery. Old Zhu couldn't help but have some secrets to say. Zhu Hui also quietly accompanied his father and chatted with him casually. Zhu Mingyuan was very measured in his words, and he would not talk much about topics that Zhu Hui was unwilling to talk about, such as academic advancement or job title evaluation in the company. Seeing that Zhu Hui's tone was wrong, Lao Zhu would quickly change it. Therefore, a father like Lao Zhu will not be like the parents in most Chinese families, who always bring up irrelevant issues in chat as if they are deliberately trying to have an argument. and end up falling out with each other in the middle of a conversation. However, more than 80% of parents in ordinary families are like this. If you don't agree with your children, there's no point in talking too much, and the conversation will easily end. They chatted for about 20 minutes, and in the middle 10 minutes, Liu Ziqing had finished taking a shower and lay down next to Zhu Hua. However, she has an extraordinary hearing system before Zhu Hua could even open his mouth to explain who was on the other end of the phone. Liu Ziqing nodded, indicating that he should not say anything more and just concentrate on chatting with his father. By the way, your aunt and her family are going to Zhongcheng in a couple of days. Go back and find someone to borrow a car to pick them up. You know the nature of your aunt's family. If you don't arrange for them properly, they will go to your grandfather and whisper in his ear when they return. The old man is going to have surgery soon, so we can't get angry. Just bear with it for a bit, otherwise you can rent a car. Do you have any money left? If not, Dad can transfer some to you. When Zhu Hui heard that his aunt-in-law and her family were coming to Zhongcheng, a look of helplessness appeared on his face. My aunt is my father's younger sister. There was no family planning in that era, and Zhu Hui's grandparents could afford to raise 2 or 3 children. So Zhu Mingyuan also had 2 younger sisters. However, the relationship between my aunt's family and Zhu Hui's family of 3 is quite average. Plus, they had already moved to the capital. Except for the holidays, we only see each other a few times a year. The most important thing is that although the relationship is average, Zhu Hui's aunt is a talkative person, and if you make her uncomfortable with some minor details, she would rely on her status as the 3rd child in the family to run to her grandparents to complain. Grandma Zhu Hui has passed away, but Grandpa is still alive. The old man would probably be very angry if his little daughter, who is no longer young, comes to complain all the time. So in order to prevent his grandfather from getting angry, Zhu Mingyuan endured it as much as he could over the years. No need, Dad. I've been working for so long. I may not have the money to rent a luxury car, I can still get the money to rent a family car to pick up relatives. After saying this, the father and son fell into silence. This was a signal that they had nothing to talk about and that they were going to end the call. But at this moment, Lao Zhu couldn't help but say something more. By the way, if you have time recently, why don't you go to the hospital for a physical checkup? Zhu Hui was stunned. I'm only in my early 20s, why is my dad suddenly concerned about my health? As a son, shouldn't I be the one concerned about my father's health? Zhu Hui had no idea that he had been holding it in his heart because of Lao Zhu's misunderstanding last time. At one point, Lao Zhu wondered if there was something wrong with his son. And this became a knot in his heart. What? Don't neglect your health, just because you are young. If there is a problem in that area, it will be troublesome to treat it when you are old. After saying this, Lao Zhu hung up the phone. Zhu Hu was stunned for a long while before he reacted. Is Lao Zhu talking about the problem with my water gun? It seems so. At this moment, Liu Ziqing, who had been leaning against the head of the bed, suddenly spoke. Did you hear everything that happened between me and Lao Zhu on the phone? Fuck. Why do you like to eavesdrop on other people's privacy for no reason? Zhu Hu's old face turned red, and he turned his head to look at her. At this moment, the two looked at each other. Zhu Hu's eyes suddenly lit up. Liu Ziqing usually wears that antique ice blue dress, except today when she changed into the same pink floral dress as Zhu Qian for a date. Normally, when they rest at night, they sleep into separate bedrooms. So Zhu Hui rarely had the opportunity to feast his eyes on Liu Ziqing's pajamas. When Liu Ziqing came in just now, Zhu Hui was on the phone and didn't look carefully. Unexpectedly, Liu Ziqing had changed into a bright red low-cut pajamas at this moment. The lace embellishes the white skin, perfectly setting off Liu Ziking's beautiful figure. The central skylight is like a whirlpool, which makes people unable to extricate themselves from it at first sight. The red color is so gorgeous that Zhu Hui couldn't help swallowing his saliva. Have you been wearing this to bed at night recently? What else? If you don't want to make calls, lend me your phone. What? Buy something? Online shopping? Zhu was stunned. Liu Ziqing actually learned how to shop online? What do you want to buy? Will you give it to me? Take it. Zhu Hui clicked his lips and watched Liu Ziqing open the shopping app with ease. Zhu Qian, this little putty is quite quick. I didn't expect that in just a few days. I had already taught Liu Ziqing how to shop online. He turned his body to the side and stared at Liu Ziqing's charming profile. The woman was really beautiful. If he could get close to her, countless men would probably be willing to fall at her feet. Gaiden. Just at this moment, suddenly the whole building went dark, and screams were heard from the neighbor's room downstairs. At this moment, Zhu Hui widened his eyes in disbelief. Damn, this is simply God helping me. The power is out? In the darkness, Zhu Hui's Adam's apple moved and he spoke slowly. And go to sleep. Oh. 5 minutes later, Liu Ziqing's cold voice sounded with a hint of panic. Zhu Hui, keep your hands off. Hey, how did it get to your place? That's weird. 5 minutes pass. What is it again? Stop pinching, it hurts. You shameless bastard. Get out of here. Bang. Damn it, did I misunderstand that Liu Zuking wanted to sleep with me? The corridor at 12 o'clock in the morning is particularly desolate, but fortunately in summer, apart from the more mosquitoes, people won't be frozen to death. Otherwise, someone running naked in just a pair of shorts would probably freeze to death in the corridor. At this moment, Mr. Zhu was holding a diary and writing in the light of his mobile phone, with snot and tears. To sum up in classical Chinese, the content is as follows. On the 7th day of the 7th month in 2022, Zhu King invited Zhu to sleep with her, without any evil intentions. Zhu became lustful and started to touch her. You tolerated her and warned her in vain, but Zhu wanted to do something badly. You wanted to kill her, but spared Zhu's life because of the baby in her womb. Chapter 74, all depends on acting skills. Zhu King was annoyed by Zhu Hui's presumptuous behavior, although she did not let him spend the whole night outside. She waited until after 6 in the morning and opened the door in the late night. Even in summer, the air is still quite humid during the late night before dawn. Zhu Hui was standing in the corridor, shivering with cold. Seeing Liu Zuking open the door, Zhu Hui almost cried out loud and wiped away bitter tears. You finally remembered me. I knew you wouldn't have the heart to leave me out here freezing alone. Bullshit. Stop being so self-indulgent here. Liu Zuking's pretty face turned red, as if she was thinking about what happened last night again. If it weren't for Aunt Li still being in the house, I wouldn't care if she saw this in the morning and misunderstood that I was abusing her son. Come in. Zhu Hui grinned and watched him without moving. Liu Zuking frowned again and urged. What's wrong? Have you developed feelings for the corridor after spending a whole night outside? Then why don't you continue to rest here? I won't care about you anymore. As soon as these words came out, Zhu Hui quickly smiled bitterly. No, my legs are frozen. The voice was filled with helplessness. Liu Zuking's pretty face blushed again. After all, she was the one who kicked Zhu Hui out in bed, who would sleep fully armed. So Zhu Hui was only wearing a pair of cool shorts. The air is humid at this time, and it is easy to catch a cold if you go shirtless. Just look at Zhu Hui shivering at this moment and you can tell how cold this guy is. You deserve it. After saying that, Liu Zuking hesitated for a moment, but still stepped forward to support Zhu Hui, and helped him walk slowly into the living room. Zhu Hui stayed in the corridor all night, so naturally he didn't get any rest. He originally planned to go back to bed and take a nap. No, this shouldn't be considered a nap, right? But soon there was a knock on the door of the room. Who is it? Zhu Hui and Liu Zuking looked at each other. Zhu Hui was still a little confused. Who would come to see him so early in the morning on Chinese Valentine's Day? He didn't have many friends in Zhongcheng. After graduation, he joined B.A. Zumo's company and became a hard-working office worker. Starting in 996 working life, he lost contact with most of his college classmates. The only friend of his in Zhongcheng who knew where he lived was Lin Hao. But it be Lin Hao? Zhu Hui, wrapped in a quilt, glanced at Liu Zuking, who was reading quietly beside him. Why are you looking at me? Do you think I'm going to open the door? Yes, I knew I couldn't count on this ancestor. Zhu Hui changed his clothes, trembling and ran to open the door. The next moment, the door opened and Zhu Hui was stunned. The person outside the door was neither the imagined Lin Hao nor his cousin Zhu Qian. It was a courier boy in a red work suit. Hello? Are you Mr. Zhu Hui? I am, you are. Oh, it's like this. Miss Zhu Qian has booked the tickets for a one-day hot spring tour for her brother and sister-in-law. Please sign for them. Zhu Qian booked a one-day hot spring trip for you, Zhu King and me. Zhu Hui was stunned for a moment, but he saw that the courier did have Zhu Qian's personal information as proof of identity. Zhu Hui nodded and signed for the 2 tickets. Why is this little girl Zhu Qian doing this? Ding-ling-ling. At this moment, Zhu Hui's cell phone rang. My blind guess is that my cousin Zhu Qian received the reminder to sign for it and called me. Hello? Father, how is it? Did you receive the gifts I sent to you and sister-in-law? I received it. Zhu Hui coughed. But why did you take a plane? Why did you suddenly arrange a one-day hot spring trip for us? Isn't this to make the two of you have an unforgettable Chinese Valentine's Day? Zhu Qian said with a smile on the other end of the phone. Zhu Hui knew the truth about why the girl ran back to her hometown. I guess since Liu Zuking didn't ask all night, Zhu Qian should have explained it to the woman alone. I just don't know if my sister-in-law and brother know the same version. In fact, Zhu Qian didn't want to make arrangements for her sister-in-law and brother. It wasn't like she had so much money that she had no place to spend it. But it was she who caused the trouble with second sister-in-law B.A. Zumo. If B.A. Zumo really came to find Zhu Hui today, Liu Zuking and B.A. Zumo would inevitably have a head-on confrontation. At that time, the first person to sacrifice will definitely be the fence-sitter Zhu Qian. So in order to prevent B.A. Zumo from making an appointment with Zhu Hui today, Kian could only take the initiative to lure the tiger away from the mountain. Okay, oh, by the way, have you shown your transcript to Auntie? Not yet, the delivery is a bit slow. I guess my mom won't receive the transcript with my classmate's name on it until today. Maybe I'll call you to verify it later. So remember to cover for me. Hearing this, Zhu Hui groaned. I'll only help you this time. If you fail again next year, I'll really have to have a good talk with my aunt about your grades. You failed for subjects in 1 year, and you're still taking the postgraduate entrance exam. What the hell? Lan Xian won't even watch you. I know. Zhu Qian didn't want to be nagged by her brother, so she responded with a few words and hung up the phone. She patted her chest with a guilty look and glanced at the latest Gucci bag on her body. Second sister-in-law, I'm sorry, I have to manipulate you again. Around 9 o'clock in the morning, Bai Zumo arrived at Kinjwu Street as expected. However, when she was about to ask Zhu Hui out, the latter was already on the bus with Liu Zuqing for a day trip to the hot springs. Bai Zumo was not stupid when she realized something was wrong. She immediately asked Lin Hao to knock on Zhu Hui's door. Is Zhu Qian is a double agent and a fence-sitter, then Lin Hao is the loyal and steadfast Bai Zumo. It's not that he supports the couple of Bai Zumo and Zhu Hui. All I can say is that when you live under someone's roof, you have to bow your head. Mr. Ba has given an order. Does Lin Hao dare to disobey? Boss Ba, I just asked, and Li is the only one at home. Zhu Hu and his girlfriend. Both are not at home. It seems they went on a day trip to some hot springs. Zhu Qian is not here either. I heard she went back to her hometown. Hearing this, the corners of Ba Izumo's mouth twitched violently. Going back to your hometown? Is this little girl Zhu Qian trying to play tricks on me? The next moment, Bai Zumo called Zhu Qian directly, and the first thing she said was to accuse her of something. Explain it to me. Zhu Qian certainly knew the purpose of Bai Zumo's call. But who was she? Stanislas driver Kiana. When it comes to acting skills, Zhu Qian has never been better than anyone else. What? Sister-in-law, shouldn't you be with my brother? Why did you call me suddenly? Zhu Hu and that girl went on a one-day trip to some hot spring. What? They're not home. Zhu Qian pretended to scream. That shouldn't be the case. But it be that they are planning to go out and have a romantic Chinese Valentine's Day? Sister-in-law, let me check it out. Wait. Now I'm more curious about where you are. Bai Zumo narrowed her eyes. Zhu Qian's acting skills were so superb. Even Bai Zumo had to admit that for a moment she almost thought Zhu Qian was completely unaware of the situation. But where is this little girl? I'm in my hometown. The school sent my transcript back, and my mom told me to go back overnight. I was even beaten up by the mixed doubles team yesterday. Hometown? Transcript? Mixed doubles? Bai Zumo frowned slightly, as if analyzing the truthfulness of Zhu Qian's words. Lin Hao, who was standing next to him, slapped his head and remembered. Zhu Qian's phone number was still at the bottom of her transcript. According to Zhu Hui's plan, he will have to play the role of the dean of Zhu Qian's school. No one called her. How could this little girl Zhu Qian get beat? Lin Hao rolled his eyes. Damn. Life is really like a play. It all depends on your acting skills. The Zhu family no longer has to worry about having no successors. Just relying on the acting skills of Zhu Qian. A young talent, she was able to fool Bai Zumo, the beautiful CEO worth tens of millions. Really? Sister-in-law, if you don't believe me, I'll take a photo of you later. As she spoke, Zhu Qian pretended to cry twice. The aggrieved voice instantly made Bai Zumo lose her temper. So there is an old saying in country Z that goes well. The soft are afraid of the hard are afraid of the tough are afraid of the desperate. Of course, here it becomes shameless. Facts have proved that as long as you are thick-skinned, lying is something you can do easily. The key point is that Zhu Qian, who cheated Bai Zumo, didn't even feel much guilt. Okay. If you need a makeup exam later, I'll ask a friend to help you review. After saying that, Bai Zumo hung up the phone helplessly. The woman tapped her long fingers on the steering wheel. Well, there's really nothing we can do about this little girl. Although I don't know how much Zhu Qian was involved in the whole thing. But the perceptive Bai Zumo had already noticed that something was wrong. It's just that one shouldn't hit someone who smiles at her. She really can't afford to bother with a cute little cousin like Zhu Qian. Lin Hao, who was standing next to him, noticed that Bai Zumo's mood had changed a little and he coughed. Boss Ba, how about I accompany you on the Chinese Valentine's Day? No, Manager Lin is too polite. I suddenly feel a little tired recently, so I want to go to the hot springs. After saying this, Bai Zumo gave Lin Hao a charming smile. The next moment, the car sped away with the accelerator pressed. Lin Hao stood there in a daze for a long while before he swallowed hard. Fuck, is Mr. Bai going to take the initiative to attack? Zhu Hui? Something terrible has happened. Mr. Ba is coming to look for you. Chapter 75. Embarrassment. While Zhu Qian was deliberately trying to get favors from Bie she also didn't want to destroy the love between her brother Zhu Hui and sister-in-law Liu Zuqing. Zhu Hui and Liu Zuqing, who were still in the dark, had already gotten off the bus. Zhu Qian has limited living expenses, so it is naturally impossible for her to arrange for two people to leave the province. A hot spring trip is at a resort near Zhangcheng. But the scenery here is very beautiful, far away from the high altitude and coldness of Dalianji Mountain. However, although Zhu Qian did not cause Zhu Hu any trouble for the time being, when Zhu Hu was about to pay for the hot spring hotel box, he still encountered an embarrassing incident. Please book at a luxe king-size bedroom. Sorry sir, your balance is insufficient. The receptionist gave Zboy a polite smile and pointed at the POS machine in her hand. But when these words came out, Zhu Hu was stunned. Insufficient balance? This shouldn't be the case. After dividing the spoils with Lin Hao some time ago, Zhu Hu still has at least a few thousand yuan in his hands. In addition, there has not been much consumption expenditure during this period. After all, Zhu Hu is an office worker who has worked for a year, and as a stay-at-home guy, he still has some savings. What's more, I haven't even paid the rent. How can I be out of money? Is this a mistake? Zhu Hu widened his eyes and changed another bank card. Sorry sir, there is still insufficient balance. Damn, with such a beautiful girlfriend, you don't have money to open a hotel? DSK. This beautiful lady is really blind. I guess they just graduated from college. This guy doesn't even have 400 yuan to rent a room. Only students can be in such a difficult situation. Wu Dalang's story tells us that if you don't have money, don't play with high-end, maybe you will be kicked out in 2 days. Several people queuing behind started talking immediately. People's hearts are unpredictable. There are many jealous people these days seeing Zhu Hu with such a stunning beauty like Liu Zuqing. Many passers-by will naturally feel uncomfortable. Hearing these words, Zhu Hu's old face turned red. He was naturally not a student, so he was also wondering why he couldn't even pay for a hotel with 2 bank cards. But now was not the time to think about this. I gritted my teeth and swiped my credit card, and finally managed to book a sophisticated twin room at the resort. Originally, Zhu Hu studied the price list and planned to book at a luxe king-size room. After all, we're out having fun, so there's no point in saving money at this time. Besides, although the double bedroom is on opposite sides of the street from Liu Zuqing, sleeping on the same bed can at least help warm up our relationship. In the embarrassing end, we had to change to a regular twin room. Where the hell did my money go? At this moment, Zhu Hui received more than a dozen text messages in a row. He stared at the phone screen in astonishment. It turned out to be a courier message. Go, why don't you leave? Liu Zuqing took the room card and the bathrobe that needed to be changed. Seeing that Zhu Hui didn't move, she glanced at the young man in confusion. My Taobao account seems to have been hacked. When did I buy so many things? A doll pillow? A 1.6 meter tall bear? Very silk pajamas? A 3-piece set of La Mer skincare products? A Yves Saint Laurent lipstick gift box? Little carrot cubes? Ladies' pillow? Cosmetics? How could this be something Zhu Hu bought himself? But as soon as these words came out, Liu Zuqing beside him was silent for a moment, then said slowly, I bought this. What? I bought it with your phone last night. Hearing this, Zhu Hu felt a chill running from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. He originally thought that Liu Zuqing was just buying some daily necessities online last night, but he didn't expect that the woman would even buy luxury goods. The speed of the action is outrageous. I'm screwed now. I can't even afford the rent for this month. The two entered the twin room. Zhu Hu changed clothes in the room while Liu Zuqing went into the bathroom. Zhu Hu was frowning all the way, and when he entered the room, he smiled bitterly and fell on the bed, his face full of melancholy. He is sick. Poverty disease. Liu Zuqing obviously had no idea about money in this world. Because of the woman's excessive spending last night, she spent all of Zhu Hu's few savings in one go, which instantly made the already poor family even worse off. Hey, I've already changed my clothes. What are you doing dawdling around here? Liu Zuqing noticed that Zhu Hu was in a bad mood on her way upstairs. But she was also surprised. It is a woman's nature to love beauty, and Ice Lotus Empress Liu Zuqing is no exception. No matter in which world, rouge and lipstick are inevitable products. As long as there are women, as long as they are good-looking, they can obtain some extraordinary social status and treatment in the social system, and cosmetics and skincare products will definitely exist. It is exactly the same in Tianjuan continent. Liu Zuqing herself also has a lot of potions that were tributed by the Nine-Tailed Demon clan. Zhu Qian said that women in this world all have skincare products, so I bought a few to use. Did you buy too much? Liu Zuqing glanced at Zhu Hu twice, and her voice suddenly became softer as she spoke. It is highly likely that the Ice Lotus Queen herself has also realized Zhu Hu's embarrassing situation and why it happened. Hearing this, Zhu Hui smiled bitterly and said nothing. Is it difficult to make money? How should I put it? As a corporate slave, it should. Maybe, probably, be difficult. Then, what about Mr. B.A.? In front of Liu Zhu King. Zhu Hu instinctively avoided mentioning B.I. Zumo's name. These two women were like the positive and negative poles of two magnets, as if from the very beginning after B.I. Zumo's first phone call. Every time she had anything to do with B.I. Zumo, Liu Zhu King would either turn hostile or sneer at her. This has left Zhu Hui with some psychological trauma. What happened to Mr. B.A.? She seems to be very rich. Where does her money come from? Zhu Hui often said, Mr. B.A. is indeed rich. A young multimillionaire. And this is just the personal assets that B.I. Zumo has earned in the years since she graduated from university. If we take into account the celebrity family behind her, Tiao's net worth would probably be measured in billions. Where does the money come from? Of course I earned it. Could it be that I picked it up? Zhu Hui gave a bitter grin. They are entrepreneurs who have their own companies and their companies. There are many office workers like me. If you don't understand the term office worker, just think of them as the lackeys in the movies. Anyway, their subordinates work for them since there are people working to generate income. It is easy for these bosses to make money. Then why aren't you the boss? Liu Zhu King hit the nail on the head and asked a soul-searching question. The corner of Zhu Hui's mouth twitched suddenly. If it were that easy to be a boss, there would be young entrepreneurs everywhere. Generally, bosses have to have some outstanding qualities, such as holding a patent or an invention, or an exaggerated network of contacts. Anyway, it's a bit complicated and tedious to explain to you. You just need to understand that being a boss is not that easy. Most bosses have to have something that others don't have. After hearing this, Liu Zhu King nodded, not quite understanding. Zhu Hui did not continue to dwell on this topic. He adjusted his mood and went to change his clothes. It's really not Liu Zhu King's fault for buying some things. It's normal for women to spend some money. Being expensive is not a disadvantage of cosmetics, but a disadvantage of Zhu Hui himself. But when the two of them went downstairs, Liu Zhu King suddenly said, "Can the skincare products in your world restore youth to those with gray hair and youthful looks? What? Isn't this a bit too much? Big sister, do you think you have taken a magic pill? Can you make a person with white hair and youthful face regain youth? Can you turn back to youth?" Zhu Hui chuckled, thinking that Liu Zhu King was telling a joke. If there really is such a thing, not to mention ordinary people, even the richest people would flock to it. Is that so? Liu Zhu King narrowed her eyes, as if I suddenly thought of something. And go and start a company. I will provide you with exclusive technology. Are you kidding me? No, just consider it as compensation for you. After saying this, Liu Zhu King shook her long hair gracefully. In order to take a hot spring bath, the woman tied her long hair into a high ponytail. The ponytail swinging behind her actually made her look more youthful and beautiful. Zhu Hui stared at Liu Zhu King's back for a long while before muttering to himself, "She must be joking, right? What a rubbish place this is. Didn't they say that the hot springs here have the effect of beautifying the skin? You are a liar, a complete liar. I will expose you when I get back. You liars." As soon as he came down from the lobby on the first floor, Zhu Hui saw a group of people gathered together in the center. A middle-aged man surrounded by people was cursing with anger on his face. The receptionist in front of me trembled. "Sir, our hot springs do contain a lot of minerals, and long-term soaking will be good for your body. But your burns are too severe." "Bullshit, my daughter only had first-degree burns." "What do you mean? Do you think my daughter will be like this for the rest of her life?" The middle-aged man was obviously angry. If several of his men hadn't stopped him, he might have rushed up in anger and slapped the receptionist twice. The presence of their group also affected the business of the hot spring resort. Many guests around saw the conflict breaking out here, and just as they walked to the door, they hesitated for a moment and then left. "Dad, forget it. I'm already in this state. I know it myself. I have severe burns and fire poison. Although the doctor said there is a 1 in 10,000 chance of recovery, I have long given up hope." A girl wearing a mask and sitting in a wheelchair followed the team and suddenly said sadly. Her voice was clear, although her face could not be seen. But judging by her voice and figure alone, she must be a beautiful woman with extraordinary temperament. Hearing this, Zhu Hui's heart skipped a beat. Burn? Is he disfigured? It's a pity to think that such a beautiful girl in her prime was burned and disfigured. At this moment, for some unknown reason, Zhu Hui suddenly recalled what Liu Zhu King had just said. If rejuvenation is possible, can burns also be treated? When you feel sleepy, someone will give you a pillow? It's just a joke, don't take it seriously. Zhu Hui shook his head to get rid of the random thoughts in his mind. The next moment, he turned his head and was shocked. Liu Zhu King had disappeared. No one knew when the woman had run to the side where the conflict had broken out. The familiar cold and arrogant voice slowly sounded in the lobby of the hot spring hotel. "How much will you give me if you cure her?" Chapter 76. I didn't say it would come in person. How much will you give me if you cure her? The cold voice landed loudly. Zhu Hua's eyelids twitched violently. Why does the Yuzu King have to join in the fun? The mask on the face of the girl who was the center of the crowd was taken off, revealing a face covered with various scars caused by burns. Because of these scars, the face looked extremely hideous. This is too scary. How could someone look like this? Oh my god. What's wrong with her face? She looks like the devil. Damn it, it's not your fault that you're ugly. But it's your fault that you come out to scare people. When I heard your voice, I thought that even if you weren't a beauty, you'd at least be pretty. Several passers-by around saw the girl's face clearly and exclaimed in surprise. The voices were filled with fear for the scarred face, but no one cared about the girl's emotional changes. Hearing these words, a hint of sadness flashed across the girl's eyes. This is why she has to wear a mask before going out. Who are you? Who told you to move? The middle-aged man who had initially scolded the waiter was instantly enraged. Are you guys good for nothings? I told you to keep an eye on the young lady, so what are you doing? How can you let anyone get close to the young lady? And you, if you don't want to die, shut up. I'm Shen Sinjin. And everyone in Zhongcheng should know me, right? Shen Sanjin? Upon hearing this name, the people who were originally talking around suddenly shut up. Zhu Hua's expression also changed. Obviously he had heard of this name. No wonder he was so imposing when he spoke just now. Even though he looked old, he still scared the waiters. It turned out to be this big boss. That was the real bloody butcher of Zhongcheng. Rumor has it that Shen Sinjin started his business on a construction site and eventually ranked among the top 10 richest people in Zhongcheng as one of the earliest sin pit operators. Few of those who went into business in the 1990s were clean people. No one would believe that Shen Sinjin's hands were not stained with blood. Faced with this ruthless person, the surroundings gradually became quiet. Shen Sinjin also focused all his attention on Liu King. I'm asking you a question. Who the hell are you? Who told you to touch my daughter? Are you looking for death? Dad, don't be angry. The girl in the wheelchair quickly dissuaded him. She seemed to have gotten used to the fearful looks on other people's faces when they saw her appearance, but the words of passers-by were still like sharp knives piercing her chest. I actually don't have much hope for the hot springs here. Let's go back, I'm tired. After saying this, the girl looked at Liu King with envy in her eyes. This sister is so beautiful. Give me back the mask, I don't want to scare anyone. After these words came out, Shen Sinjin snorted coldly. Liu King's rude behavior almost caused psychological trauma to her daughter, but seeing his daughter speak, Shen Sinjin stopped several of his men who wanted to teach Liu King a lesson. That's strange. Can't you hear other people talking? At this moment, Liu King turned her head and glanced at Shen Sinjin. Didn't you hear what I just said? Let me ask you. How much would you be willing to spend to cure her? Completely cured. Can you heal my daughter's face? Shen Sanjin looked at Liu King suspiciously. It was not until this moment that he could truly see Liu King's appearance. Even though Shen Sinjin, a big boss at the construction site who had seen countless women, he couldn't help but be shocked by Liu King's stunning appearance. He remembered that his daughter was also so youthful and charming before she was disfigured. When she smiles, my daughter's cheeks have beautiful and charming dimples. The next moment, Liu King slowly stood up and said calmly, but whether it can be cured depends on how sincere you are. As long as my daughter can be cured, money is not a problem. Shen Sanjin's answer was neat and straightforward. However, there was a hint of confusion in his eyes. After all, he is a billionaire in Zhongcheng and has visited countless famous doctors. However, he had never heard of such a person who had a girl with such a stunning appearance. Sister, can you really cure me? Liu King had the aura of a superior, which made the disfigured girl instinctively convinced. There was a glimmer of hope in her eyes. It has been a long time since I have been able to walk on the street wearing beautiful clothes like my sister. Hearing this, a trace of pain flashed across Shen Sinjin's eyes. Several bodyguards also lowered their heads, seeming to be saddened by what happened to the young lady. It's okay. From today on, you can continue to stand in front of others with your head held high. After today? Noticing this key word, a trace of confusion flashed across Shen Sinjin's face, which had originally been convinced. Is this woman sure she can cure her daughter within one day? Out of caution towards strangers, Shen Sanjin still asked one more question. Where does Miss work? Who is her teacher? Liu King said calmly. No employment, no master. No job, no master? Are you fucking kidding me? What is Shen Sinjin's temper? He can turn hostile just by glaring at you. He took his daughter to visit countless famous doctors in Zhongcheng, all of whom were well-known miracle doctors, but in the end, none of them was sure that he could restore his daughter's appearance. The girl I met today, who looked to be in her early 20s, was absolutely certain that she could cure my daughter. However, this woman actually said she was unemployed. Zhu Hua, who was not far away, also had a skipped heartbeat. If Liu Zuking could successfully cure the daughter of the Shen family, it would become a well-known story when it gets out. But if you get it out of context, then in the blink of an eye, the story will turn into an accident. Are you sure you want to let her do whatever she wants? At this moment, a beautiful figure suddenly appeared in front of Zhu Hue. Boss BA? I have some friendship with Shen Jindo. You want me to go up and say a few words to dissuade him? Otherwise, your lover may be angered for teasing Boss Shen. Bai Zhu Mo, who came to this resort for some unknown reason, crossed her arms and looked in the direction of Liu Zuking with interest. In fact, Liu Zuking had noticed Bai Zhu Mo a long time ago. She was also very curious about why this annoying rival kept following her. But thanks to her extraordinary hearing, Liu Zuking heard every word Bai Zhu Mo said. At this moment, Liu Zuking glanced at Zhu Hue playfully. How arrogant is the Ice Lotus Empress? People all over the world may not believe in themselves, but Zhu Hue cannot. If Zhu Hue begged Bai Zhu Mo for a single word at this moment, Liu Zuking's guilt for spending all of Zhu Hue's living expenses would instantly disappear. By then, the little bit of goodwill that had been hard-earned between the two would disappear into thin air. At this moment, Zhu Hue hesitated and opened his mouth. He was also worried that Liu Zuking might get into trouble with someone like Shen Jin, but he met the woman's determined gaze. Zhu Hue finally breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay. I believe her. The other party is Shen Jin, who is one of the top 10 richest people in Zhongcheng. Are you sure you can trust your girlfriend? If you are not careful, you might get into trouble too. Bai Zhu Mo frowned and gave a reminder. Hearing this, Zhu Hue waved his hand. I believe her. At the same time, the girl sitting in the wheelchair on the other side also gritted her teeth and said in a deep voice to Shen Jin, who was about to go berserk. Dad, I want to trust this sister once. So let her try. This. Shen Jin hesitated immediately. If the other party studied under a famous doctor, he would have absolutely no worries. Even if he failed to cure his daughter in the end, he was not afraid that the other party would make her injuries worse. But Liu Zuking was an unknown stranger. Which inevitably made Shen Jin suspicious. Boss Shen, since Miss Shen has spoken, let her try. Their daughter's condition is already like this, it can't get any worse. Instead of being suspicious, it's better to give it a try and hope for a miracle to happen. Bai Zhu Mo's voice was the last straw that broke the camel's back. Boss Ba. Seeing that Bai Zhu Mo had shown up, Shen Jin gritted his teeth. Miss, if you can cure our Wen, I will not only owe you a favor but also give you all the shares of my Shen family pharmaceutical factory. I'll give you as much money as you want. But if you use my daughter's illness to tease me, I will never let you go. Since Liu Zuking said right away that she was 100 sure, Shen Jin naturally had to speak out the ugly truth first. After all, my daughter had originally had no hope, and it was only because of Liu Zuking's words that her confidence was rekindled. If Liu Zuking fails to cure her daughter successfully, it will probably cause trauma too, and one's heart again, as the saying goes, the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. Liu Zuking, come on. Zhu Hue couldn't help but wave his fist. Well, you guys made a mistake, didn't you? However, at this moment, Liu Zuking suddenly said lightly. I said I was sure I could cure her, but I didn't say it would come in person, right? Zhu Hue? You go ahead. Chapter 77, Why should I work so hard on a disabled person? Zhu Hue? You go ahead. What? Zhu Hue was immediately shocked. Who is coming? Are you kidding? How the hell do I know anything about medicine? At this moment, Zhu Hue's already nervous heart suddenly rose to his throat. Is this guy a doctor? The lobby of the hot spring resort was silent. Because of the conflict caused by Shen Jin, the number of tourists had been reduced by more than half, leaving only a few scattered staff members. As a result, when Liu Zuking stood up, everyone's attention was attracted to the woman again. Unexpectedly, before saying a few words, Liu Zuking put all the blame on Zhu Hue. Now hundreds of pairs of eyes in the hall fell on Zhu Hue again, including Bai Zhu Mo. Everyone's eyes were filled with doubt and uncertainty. Do you know medicine? Zhu Hue did not give a direct answer, but glanced at Liu Zuking and gave a dry laugh. Do I understand? As he spoke, Zhu Hue's Adam's apple rolled unconsciously. Nature. Boss Ba. Who are these two guys to you? Are you sure they are not wasting our time here, and draining my daughter's affection? Shen Jin felt a little dissatisfied with Bai Zhu Mo. Even Bai Zhu Mo wanted to say at this moment, I'm not very familiar with them. I originally thought it was Liu Zuking's performance, but in the end, Zhu Hue was pushed out to take the blame. Mr. Shen, I can give it a try. If I can get my girlfriend's help, I think I can almost cure Ling Qianjin's disfigurement. Zhu Hue had no choice but to bite the bullet. If I just abandon my job and leave now, I'm afraid Shen Jin will turn hostile in an instant. At that time, not only himself and Liu Zuking would suffer, but Mr. The who spoke up would also probably be hated. So he could only say something very official to smooth things over. What I meant was that if Liu Zuking really wanted me to do it alone, I think it would be difficult for me to cure your daughter. But if Liu Zuking could help, it wouldn't be a big problem. These words pulled the Ice Lotus Empress back, who was about to stay out of the matter. Hearing this, Liu Zuking, who was not far away, curled her lips. Oh, then I will reluctantly guide you. Arrange a quiet room for me, and find me some medicinal herbs. Find me everything I need. One afternoon is enough. This. Zhu Hui, who had finally breathed a sigh of relief, felt his heart rise to his throat again. Can it really be cured in one day? There's no room for me to maneuver. At Shenzhen, if the car overturns, it will really turn from a story into an accident. Are you too reliable? Zhu coughed, and seeing Zhu Hui's dilemma, she whispered. Gulu, it should be reliable. Soon, Zhu Hui and Liu Zuking were taken to a room. This should be the private room that Shenzhen booked in the resort. There were some luggage in the room. When he noticed the underwear hanging on the clothesline, only then did Zhu Hui react with a blush on his face. Damn, this is most likely Shen Wenwen's house. Zhu Hui rubbed his hands together like an ant on a hot pot. Shouldn't we prepare something? What are you preparing for? Just go ahead when the time comes. Are you serious? Hearing this, Zhu Hui's eyes widened and stared at Liu Zuking. Try to see the word deception in the woman's eyes. However, Liu Zuking's eyes were clear and she didn't look fake. Shenzhen's people have already prepared things according to Liu Zuking's request. Shenzhen took his daughter for a walk around. However, there was an extra row of bodyguards at the door of Zhu Hui and Liu Zuking's room, under the pretext of making it easier to contact them. In fact, Shenzhen was afraid that the two would run away after bragging. Although Bia Izumo also wanted to get involved, she was ruthlessly rejected by Shenzhen. After all, Bia Izumo is an outsider. In addition, although Mr. Bi and Shenzhen do have some friendship, in terms of status, a person who can get along with Shenzhen on an equal footing must probably be Bia Izumo's father. At this time, Mr. Bi's status is still a little insufficient. In other words, if Liu Zuking really played a trick on Shenzhen today, there is a high probability that Zhu Hui and she will be in trouble. It's actually very simple. Just boil the ingredients according to my prescription. But I'm not kidding you, I can't do this. The next moment, Liu Zuking sat on the bed, playing with the black hair on her forehead and said quietly. Hearing this, Zhu Hui was stunned. Why? Because I am a snow lotus and cannot touch fire, is this reason enough? As soon as these words came out, Zhu Hui's mouth twitched. And he had actually forgotten about it. During this period of time together, Liu Zuking never mentioned it specifically. But from some details, it is not difficult to see that women are indeed afraid of fire. Or it could be said that one instinctively stays away from places with high temperatures. But you don't intend for me to make an elixir. Like in fantasy novels, where I have to practice some kind of technique, fight, and then start the furnace. That doesn't exist. Just control the distribution and debugging of the components and you can make what you need. Liu Zuking rolled her eyes. In fact, Zhu Hui made a wrong judgment on one matter. Liu Zuking, whose true form is a snow lotus, is indeed instinctively afraid of fire. However, as the Ice Lotus Empress who has long passed the transformation period, Liu Zuking is not so afraid of open flames. What she was worried about was actually the fetus in her belly. The Snow Lotus clan is very afraid of fire when they are young, and she is not sure whether the baby in her womb is a human or a Snow Lotus. That's why Liu Zuking tried her best to avoid contact with open flames, so as to ensure the absolute safety of the fetus in her belly. Although it was her first time being a mother, Liu Zuking seemed to have awakened her maternal instinct. Subconscious actions to protect the fetus have already begun. About half an hour later, Shenzhen and his men came in carrying some things. Little brother, I hope you didn't lie to me. Upon hearing this, Chen Chuanwen shouted in some confusion. Dad. Okay, let's go out. In this way, in the following period of time, Zhu Hui began to prepare the medicine for the first time under the guidance of Liu Zuking. Why are you so stupid? I told you 3 ounces, 3 ounces, why did you grab a handful? Can you be more rigorous? If you delay any longer, the medicinal materials will become ineffective when they cool down. Can you please move faster? You are holding up the fusion potion ready at any time. Isn't there a principle called disproportionality reaction in your world? Do you want me to teach you chemistry? Why are you looking at me? Do you want me to help you get something? Liu Zuking's roar could be heard from time to time in the room. Zhu Hui is not a professional pharmacist, and his university research topic has nothing to do with the experiment. Therefore, it is understandable that mistakes are frequently made in the preparation of medicines. Liu Zuking perfectly embodies what it means that a strict teacher produces excellent students. In this way, the first qualified product was finally configured at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Of course, this qualification is not tested by national standards. Instead, it achieved what Li Zuking called qualified. Edit on her face, wrap it with something, and wait an hour. When the time comes, I will naturally return you a daughter who looks just like the first time. When Shen Shenjin came in, the room was still filled with smoke. It seemed that it was because Zhu Hua had failed too many times. And the smell was mixed with various strange medicinal herbs, and of course, there was a strong smell of paste. The quarters of Shen Shenjin's and several bodyguards' mouths twitched wildly, and they felt that the two men were more and more unreliable. 1 hour. Are you sure that after using your ointment, my daughter's appearance will be restored to its original state within 1 hour? It should be no problem to restore it to its original state. At worst, it will be 80 of its original appearance. It's mainly because this idiot's method is too clumsy. Otherwise, I am sure that I can make it look even more radiant. Li Zuking glanced at Zhu Hu and seemed a little dissatisfied with Zhu Hu's performance. Gigi didn't look at him. Anyway, the worst case scenario is that those ugly scars and wounds will be completely eliminated. After hearing this, Shen Shenjin decided to go all out today. He secretly swore that if the two people in front of him dared to play tricks on him, he would make them pay a heavy price. A hot ointment was rubbed on her daughter's face, causing Shen Wenwen to groan. As the application of the medicine was completed, everyone in the room except Liu Zuking became nervous. Even Zhu Hua glanced in the direction of Shen Wenwen from time to time. No one spoke, and the atmosphere became eerie and frozen. Only Liu Zuking would chat with Shen Wenwen from time to time. Just like that, an hour passed slowly. But as time went by, everyone fell silent. Shen Sanjin did not wait to remove the veil from his daughter's face, because he knew how much hope his daughter had because of Liu Zuking's confidence. But he still instinctively felt that the result would be more disappointing than expected. For the first time, a self-made entrepreneur felt fear. Shen Sanjin was afraid that if he failed, Shen Wenwen, who had invested the greatest hope in him, would never recover. What are you doing? After wasting so much time, no one is looking forward to the results. Instead, it was Liu Zuking who finally broke the silence with her impatient and calm words. Shen Wenwen in the wheelchair said silently, "Sister, I'm a little scared." Liu Zuking sneered when she heard this. "You shouldn't be afraid at this time, because you are about to transform from an ugly duckling into a white swan. You are a flower, and you should bloom in your most beautiful years. Actually, this kind of transformation is the most interesting. Didn't you say that your engagement was broken off because of your severe burns? If this is your scar, you have to uncover it yourself, otherwise you will never get over this hurdle." Was Shen Wenwen's engagement broken off? Hearing this, Zhu Hua, who was standing by, felt a little sympathy for this ill-fated girl. If you step on the slander and malice that was once caused by your appearance, you can have a better life, right? At this moment, Liu Zuking looked so holy in Shen Wenwen's eyes. Even Shen Shenjin's eyes softened a lot. After my daughter was burned and disfigured, her engagement was indeed broken off. The other party is also a descendant of one of Zhongcheng's top entrepreneurs. So even Shen Shenjin could only be furious, but was unable to seek justice for his daughter. Over the years, Shen Wenwen has endured a lot of strange looks because of her disfigurement. Thinking of this, Shen Chinin, a tough guy, couldn't help but have tears in his eyes. After all, he is still my biological father. "Sister, can I trust you? Oh, I look like a liar?" Shen Wenwen smiled. And all the changes that had taken place in her life after her disfigurement emerged in her mind. Friends began to drift apart, and my former engagement partner even disliked me to the core. I don't want to experience that look of disgust and disdain a second time in my life. Walking on the street, the elderly are terrified and the children are scared. There was a time when she was so depressed that she didn't dare to go out. Doesn't Shen Wenwen want to be proud of herself? Of course I do. Unfortunately, her pride was gradually eroded by repeated blows. However, today it was Liu Zuking who brought him hope again. Shen Wenwen met Liu Zuking's encouraging gaze, slowly raised her hand and began to remove the gauze. At this moment, everyone's expectant eyes fell on Shen Wenwen. Even Zhu Hua's heart was in his throat. It's not that he doesn't trust Liu Zuking, but he was afraid that the results would be unsatisfactory and that this hopeful girl would become devastated again. At this moment, the door was suddenly pushed open. Two figures, one old and one young, walked in hurriedly. "My dear relatives, our Jinao said that he is willing to put aside the past grudges and rekindle his relationship with your Wenwen regardless of her current appearance. Don, do you think this is a good thing that comes in pairs? Since the child had this idea, I brought him to you as soon as possible. I also heard from the bodyguard at the door that you found a charlatans to treat when here is no need for treatment. Our Jinao does not despise when let the two children get married like this." The people who came in were unexpected. Old Master Jin and Jinao. At this time both the grandfather and grandson were lying in wheelchairs. Chen Sanjin's face changed. The biggest blow to his daughter's life was the cancellation of the engagement by this relative. How dare this bastard appear in front of me? When you are of equal status and good looking, you can talk about marriage. My daughter was disfigured and you broke off the engagement immediately. Now your Jin-ao has become disabled. And you are thinking of an alliance for the sake of profit. How come all the benefits are monopolized by your Jin family? I'm sorry, but he is no longer worthy of Miss Shen. At this moment, Liu Zuking suddenly said coldly. After saying that, he pointed at Shen Wen in front of the mirror. When the gauze was removed, a young girl appeared in front of everyone. The woman had fair skin, and all the scars and wrinkles on her face had disappeared. Her delicate facial features are no longer covered by ugly scars, and they bloom with dazzling brilliance. In terms of appearance, she is not inferior to many second and third tier celebrities. The next moment, Shen Wen slowly turned her wheelchair and looked at the dumbfounded Jin family father and son. MRJN, I will return to you everything you said when you broke off the engagement. There are a lot of men in this world, why should I put so much effort into a cripple? Chapter 78, Are you sure this is illegal detention? Why should I put so much effort into a cripple? The voice was filled with 3 parts of sorrow and 7 parts of genuine pride. The whole place fell silent instantly. I don't know who was the first to cry out in shock. But the atmosphere gradually became warmer. Wasn't Miss Shen disfigured? Why is she now? Shen Wen? Are you really Shen Wen? It's you and you? Why are you two here? At this moment, the extremely shocked Jin-a also recognized Liu Zuking and Zhu Hua. The Shen family bodyguards were not paying attention to the Jin family's father and son. They all had faces full of surprise, and their eyes looking at Shen Jin were filled with excitement. Master Mrs. Appearance has recovered. Congratulations, sir, and congratulations, miss, on having your dream come true. You have finally gotten rid of a worry, and everything will go well for you this year. Shen Jin, the self-made billionaire, was also trembling all over. The expression on his face at this moment was so excited that it was hard to describe. He swallowed, pretended to be calm, and scolded the bodyguards. I am not blind, I can see. The next moment, Shen Jin bowed respectfully in the direction of Li Zuking. If the other top bosses in Zhongcheng saw this scene, I wonder how many people would be scared to drop their jaws. That is the unruly Shen Jin. My dear miss, I have no means of repaying your kindness. It was I, Shen, who was short-sighted before. Shen Jin actually bowed deeply to a young girl who looked to be in her early 20s. I will agree to all your conditions. Here is a check for 1 million. Consider it as my reward for your generosity today. This is my Shen family VIP card. I can withdraw 2 million unconditionally from any of my Shen family's assets. I didn't do anything. Don't forget that he made the ointment. Liu Zuking did not take all the credit for herself, but glanced inferently in the direction of Zhu Hua. After hearing this, Shen Jin remembered that the biggest contributor was actually that of Prampersing's young man. It seemed that he was about to bow to Zhu Hua in gratitude again. Zhu Hua quickly supported Shen Jin and said with a wry smile, Mr. Shen, you are too polite. Aren't you embarrassing me? How can this be embarrassing for you? From today on, this little brother is my younger brother. You all watch carefully from today on. This little brother is my Shen Jin's brother. If anyone in Zhongcheng dares to offend my brothers in the future, don't blame me, Shen Jin, for being ruthless. The next moment, the chivalrous Shen Jin put his arm around Zhu Hua's shoulders. He shouted at the bodyguards, and they all clasped their fists towards Zhu Hua. Hello, Mr. Zhu, hold. Why is it still like the Black Society? A cold sweat broke out on Zhu Hua's forehead. It was at this time that the old man of the Jin family and the grandfather and grandson Jin finally reacted. Shen Wen, are you really Shen Wen? Grandpa Jin. When you were a kid, Shen Jin often brought you to our house to play. At that time, Grandpa said that you would definitely be a stunningly beautiful woman in the future, so he made an engagement with your father. I knew that your appearance would be restored sooner or later. When the old man of the Jin family saw how gorgeous Shen Wen looked after she took off the gauze, his heart became excited again. He even changed his tone. Hearing this, Shen Wen sneered. Grandpa Jin. Of course I remember you. My father originally wanted me to marry into your Jin family. If I remember correctly, it was you who disliked my disfigurement from the fire and secretly supported Jin Ao to break off the engagement. Hearing this, MRJN coughed twice unwillingly. When I was bewildered at the beginning and agreed to Jin Ao's request. However, considering the friendship between our two families for so many years, this engagement can actually be continued. Lao Jin. Let's forget about the engagement. At this moment, Shen Jin, the backbone, suddenly spoke coldly. As soon as these words came out, MRJN's body trembled. Sanjin, the friendship between our two families over the years and the engagement can continue perfectly. We can even cooperate further and help each other in the future. TSK, Zhu Hua was watching with great interest from the side. It looked like another face-glassing drama was about to happen. It is obvious that the Jin family originally disliked Shen Wenwen's disfigured appearance, so they chose to break off the engagement. But the good times didn't last long. Who would have thought that it would really live up to that saying? 30 years in the east, 30 years in the west, now it is Jin Ao's turn to be despised. But at this moment, Liu Zuking on the side pulled Zhu Hui. What? Now these things have nothing to do with us. I want to go to the hot spring. You really aren't gossipy at all? Hearing this, Zhu Hui could only smack his lips and greet Shen Jin regretfully. After MRJN came in, his attention was focused on Shen Jin. Although he noticed Liu Zuking and Zhu Hui, he automatically filtered them out as passersby and didn't think much about them. Instead, Jin Ayo kept his eyes on Liu Zuking and Zhu Hui. Stop right there, you two. Is it up to you to decide whether someone is worthy of you or not? I'm in a bad mood today. No, to be more precise, I haven't been in a good mood since the day of the bank robbery. If it weren't for you, can I take so many bullets? The next moment, Jin Aoling shouted. Apparently, Chen Chuangwen's stubborn attitude made his grandfather feel frustrated, which once again aroused the anger of this rich young master. In order to vent his anger, he directly brought up what happened on the day of the bank robbery. Snap. But in the next moment, Shen Jin suddenly slapped Jin Ao in the face. Who told you to yell at my brother Shen Jin? What do you think you are, a third-generation descendant who failed to inherit the power of the Jin family? Insulting Brother Zhu is the same as insulting me. If it happens again next time, I will never give MRJ in any face and will just hang you up and beat you up. What? Hearing this, not only Jin Ao was stunned, but even old Master Jin was shocked. But the hell? Brother Zhu? How could Shen Jin, who started from scratch and is so arrogant, easily recognize brothers? The grandfather and grandson had not come back to their senses at all, and were still immersed in the shock of Shen Wenwen's restored appearance, so they didn't notice what Shen Jin said to Zhu Hui at all. Well, Brother Shen, we have something to do right now, why don't we leave first? Zhu Hui coughed. Shen Jin quickly ordered several of his men to clear the way for Zhu Hui and the other man, and forcibly stuffed a VIP card and a check into Zhu Hui's hands. You guys, escort Brother Zhu and his wife to the hot spring. Remember, arrange the best emperor pool. I'll call you later to handle the handover procedures, and the Shen's pharmaceutical factory will be yours from now on. Oh my god, you really want to give me a business? Zhu Hui's Adam's apple rolled unconsciously, until he was surrounded by several bodyguards and left the chaotic scene. He had a feeling it wasn't real. What are you looking at me for? Is making money that easy? I think so. Liu Zuking curled her red lips. Why is the piece of paper he gave you called 1 million? Can that buy a car for Aunt Li? Sure enough, Liu Zuking is still the same. Many times it is hindsight. But she was also smart and never raised questions in front of others to avoid arousing suspicion. Next, Zhu Hui spent another 10 minutes explaining the concept of checks to Liu Zuking. In fact, checks are not very popular in country Z. After bank cards came out, supporting facilities such as POS machines have been well established in many places. Cash is used for small payments, while bank cards are preferred for large amounts. Later, we had passbooks and checks. However, due to poor promotion and the impact of the arrival of online payment, therefore, checks are a relatively rare item in country Z. It was the first time for Zhu Hui to see someone use a check in real life. Can this thing be exchanged for 1 million yuan at the bank? After hearing Zhu Hui's explanation, Liu Zuking looked at the small piece of paper in Zhu Hui's hand with a little surprise. Hey, I have another question. You say, why are banks so rich? How can they store 1 million in cash? Also, if banks are so rich, why don't you rob a bank instead of working so hard to make money? To be honest, it should be more than 1 million, right? The cash reserves of any branch may be tens of millions. As for Liu Zuking's second question, Zhu Hui grinned. That's a matter of losing your head. I will explain all this to you later. Let's go take a hot spring bath first, so as not to keep those people outside waiting anxiously. After changing his clothes, Zhu Hui was the first to open the door. I saw several Shen family bodyguards following the two of them loyally. Mr. Zhu, Master Shen told us to say hello to the boss here and leave the imperial bath for you. Do you want to go there now? The emperor's bath. Seeing Zhu Hui's surprised expression, the bodyguards explained, this is the best bathing pool in this hot spring resort, and it uses spring water completely from the mountain behind. Under the odd gaze of the front desk receptionist, Zhu Hui also enjoyed an experience like a wealthy man. Once he entered the imperial bath, there were 3 special receptionists serving him. And when he was taking a hot spring bath, someone fed him fruit. It was so delicious that Zhu Hui almost fell into it. Damn, is this how rich people are treated? However, the moment he went out and saw the consumption at the Emperor Bathish, Zhu Hui was completely relieved. No wonder the service is so good. Does taking a hot spring bath cost 8,888? It's a pity that Liu Zuking and Zhu Hua were not in the same pool. There is more than one imperial bath. Although Liu Zuking had physical intimacy with Zhu Hua, after recovering the memories of the Ice Lotus Queen, she has not been able to open her heart to accept the man in front of her. At 8:30 in the afternoon, Zhu Hua got up comfortably and wiped himself clean with the help of 3 female receptionists. Okay, you guys go out, I need to change my clothes. It's not convenient for you to stay here. He waved his hand to send away a few waiters and then took off all his clothes. There was a sudden noise outside the imperial bath. Zhu Hua, are you okay? What are you doing? I warn you, your behavior constitutes illegal detention. I am Bai Zumo, chairman of Shengxi Entertainment, and a member of the Bai family in Shanghai. Zhu Hua is my employee. I order you to release him immediately. Only when he heard the noisy sound outside did Zhu Hua react. Oh boy. I forgot to say hello to Bai Zumo. I think the woman still thought that Liu Zuking and Zhu Hua offended Shensen Jin because of their outrageous remarks. When he thought of this, Zhu Hua was about to speak. A panicked figure rushed in. Their eyes met, and they were both stunned. The corners of Zhu Hua's mouth twitched as he was naked. Mr. Ba, how did you get in? I'm here to save you. The next moment, another figure with a strange look on his face walked in. Shen Shanjin wiped the sweat from his forehead. Miss Ba, have you ever seen anyone throw someone into the imperial baths to take a hot spring bath in order to illegally detain them? Chapter 79, Ignorant Ants. Bai Zumo saw that Shensen Jin's expression did not seem fake after he rushed in. Her eyelids twitched. So, your lives are not in danger? This is a misunderstanding? Yes. The corner of Zhu Hua's mouth twitched. This hot spring resort has 2 imperial baths. These are the 2 most upscale hot spring areas in the entire resort, and they are open to only 1 person each day. In order to keep the bath clean, the water must be refilled every time a new group of guests arrives. Here we can also see the extraordinary nature of the imperial bath. Liu Zuking's side was quite quiet, but Zhu Hua's side was much more lively. Originally, Zhu Hua drove away the 3 waitresses in order to take off his bathrobe and change into clean clothes before going out. As a result, Bai Zumo rushed in recklessly first. Following closely behind him was his elder brother Shensen Jin, who had just sworn brotherhood with him. Then, the Shen family bodyguard pushed Shen Wenwen and others into the bathing room. Fortunately, after Shen Wenwen came in, she quickly covered her eyes with her fingers as soon as she saw a butt. Zhu Hui opened his mouth. You guys, what are you doing? Are you guys trying to appreciate my naked body together? As soon as these words came out, Shensen Jin, who was a gangster in his early years, smiled heroically. He glanced at Zhu Hua teasingly, then took the lead in pushing his daughter's wheelchair out. Bai Zumo realized it later and also screamed, turned around and walked out with a red face. Only Zhu Hua and a few bodyguards were left looking at each other in bewilderment. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a naked man? A bodyguard gave a thumbs up with a grin. After being scolded, a few people walked outside with a grin on their faces. But their voices could be heard from far away. Mr. Zhu is a real man. As expected of Mr. Zhu, I'm afraid it can be used as a belt around his waist? No wonder my girlfriend is so beautiful. It turns out she owns such a magical item as the Panlong stick. This thing is innate, don't envy it, brothers. Hearing the voices of several bodyguards, Zhu Hua's face turned red again. Who the hell wants to get approval from their own sex about something like this? I'm not gay, but a group of people are watching me with great interest. The conversation between the bodyguards was very similar to when Zhu Hua and Lin Hao ran into a G-cup beauty on the street before. Fuck, look, that's too exaggerated. Right? A little white rabbit is so white, with its 2 ears standing up. What are you thinking about? Id, do you want to be suffocated by facial cleanser? Zhu Hua probably never dreamed that one day he would become the target of ridicule in such a topic. When he changed his clothes and came out, Liu Zuking was already waiting at the door. But there was another Bai Zumo next to her. As for Zhu Hua's elder brother Shensen Jin, whom he just met today, he had disappeared without a trace. Don't you think your behavior today was too rash? What if Zhu Hua doesn't cooperate with you? Or accidentally says something wrong? Do you know who the other person is? Do you know what the price will be if you play a trick on that person? Although I don't know how you managed to get away with it. I hope you can try to consider the issue from Zhu Hua's perspective. Bai Zumo was muttering to the side with a sullen face. Liu Zuking's expression remained calm throughout from time to time. She glanced at Bai Zumo, with a hint of disdain and contempt in her eyes. It's like watching monkeys at a zoo. You don't need to ask to know what she is thinking. How can an ant like being have the qualifications to teach me a lesson? Let's go once we get out. The next moment, seeing Zhu Hua walking out, Liu Zuking said something inferently. After saying this, the woman took the lead and walked outside. ignoring Zhu Hua behind her. She won't tell me the details when I ask for them. Be careful that you get sold out by someone else and end up counting the money for them. Forehead. Zhu Hua smiled bitterly. He didn't expect Bai Zumo to have such an impression of Liu Zuking. Mr. Ba, it's okay, I've gotten a good deal today. I'll tell you in detail when I have time. Can I borrow your car in a couple of days? After walking a few steps, Zhu Hua suddenly remembered the phone call from his father last night. After hesitating for a moment, he asked Bai Zumo again. My aunt-in-law and her family will come to Zhangcheng in a few days. At that time, Zhu Hua would definitely have to go to pick them up. Otherwise, if Zhu Hua's family made them unhappy in any way, the ones who would suffer would be Zhu Mingyuan's father and Zhu Hua's grandfather lying on the hospital bed. Which car do you want to borrow? Bai Zumo stared at Liu Zuking's departing back and was so angry that she couldn't contain herself. Fortunately, Mr. Ba has a very good self-control and is able to control his emotions. It doesn't matter. As long as it can be driven, I'll fill it up with gas and send it back when the time comes. Although he has an extra check of 1 million in his hand, Zhu Hua has no plans to buy a car for the time being. Cars and houses are big things. It's not something you can decide as casually as buying a belt or a hairpin. Okay. I'll ask Lin how to send it to you tomorrow. That's it for now, Mr. Ba. I have something else to do later, so I'll leave first. After saying this, Zhu Hui already felt an unfriendly gaze falling on him outside the hot spring resort. He coughed twice and chased in the direction Liu Zuking left. Bai Zumo frowned when she saw this. I guess it's just a blind cat catching a dead mouse, but it's really mysterious. Shenzhen Jinjin took his daughter to see so many famous doctors in and outside the province. But her hidden disease couldn't be cured, but it can be easily cured with an ointment. Is there really a panacea in this world? Or is this woman really not simple? You ignorant ant, stop speculating about me. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly lingered in Bai Zumo's ears. Bai Zumo widened her beautiful eyes in surprise, and shook her head the next moment. Are you hallucinating? At the same time, not far away, Liu Zuking outside the door rolled her eyes. How ignorant. Go ahead and tell that stupid woman that I want to redeem Lin Qingdelin. I don't feel comfortable letting her follow such a fool. As soon as Zhu Hua walked up to Liu Zuking, the woman spoke coldly. Qiu Hui came back to his senses and realized that Liu Zuking was venting her dissatisfaction with Bai Zumo. But at this moment, Zhu Hua felt very amused. If you have any dissatisfaction, just tell me in person. The leader of Snow Lotus from another world actually gossips about others behind their backs. The next moment, Liu Zuking seemed to see through Zhu Hua's thoughts and her pretty face turned red. But he still spoke in a firm tone. And just too lazy to talk nonsense with her. And he was so arrogant. Zhu Hua clicked his tongue. The two of them planned to stay at the resort tonight. Although Bai Zumo's pursuit was a small episode, Zhu Hui also tried his best to keep a certain distance between himself and President Ba. Don't be fooled by Liu Zuking's carefree movements when she walked out of the Emperor's bath just now. But in fact, half of her attention was on Zhu Hua. If she and Mr. Ba had done anything presumptuous just now, the Ice Lotus Empress would have turned hostile in an instant. Zhu Hua laughed dryly and changed the subject. Even if you want to redeem yourself, it requires an equal exchange. What can I use to exchange Lin Qingdelin freedom with Mr. Ba? After all, Mr. Ba is Lin Qingdelin savior. You have seen her current state before. If it weren't for Mr. Ba, Lin Qingdelin might have met a bad guy, and who knows where she would have been sold to be a slave. We can't just take people away casually. After hearing this, Liu Zuking held her delicate chin in silence for a while. What you said makes sense, although I don't like that stupid woman. I'm not the kind of person who won't repay a favor since she helped my people. I'll give her a chance. But fortune. But it be some martial arts secret book, like the 18 Ragan subduing pawns? Zhu Hua widened his eyes. But the next moment, Liu Zuking asked for a piece of white paper from the front desk of the resort and quickly wrote down a prescription. Your world definitely doesn't have this thing. Give it to her and use it as a bargaining chip for me to redeem Lin Qingdelin. Beauty pills that can shame the moon and the flowers? Zhu Hua took one look at the white paper and was immediately shocked. This can't be the ointment formula you just instructed me to use to treat Shen Wenwen. Chapter 80. Grandson, I am your grandfather. Although Zhu Hua had no selfish motives, he thought that since Shen was planning to give him a pharmaceutical company, wasn't this just like someone giving him a pillow when he was sleepy? At that time, Liu Zuking's ointment will be directly promoted to the market. The immediate effect of repairing facial blemishes will definitely make all women excited. No, not just women, I'm afraid everyone would be moved. No. But the next moment, Liu Zuking shook her head. The effect is only about 10 of the ointment I asked you to prepare. But it can also achieve the same effect of beautifying and nourishing the skin. Since Shenzhen Jin said that even if he searched for famous doctors in Zhangcheng, he couldn't find any good medicine to treat her daughter's facial burns, I think your world is short on facial repair products. Okay. Zhu Hua nodded, which was considered as agreeing to this matter. Liu King has a changeable temperament and almost has a new idea every day. Yesterday he said that it would be like this for now and let Lin Kingle and Ji stay in the company. But in the blink of an eye, he changed his mind because of his disgust for Bae Zumo. Night falls slowly as time passes. The Chinese Valentine's Day is halfway through. Although he had a huge sum of money in his hands, Zhu Hua did not book a separate room. What a joke! Who the hell wants to sleep alone when they can be alone with the opposite sex? Even if you do nothing, just breathing in the intoxicating fragrance of Liu King is a pleasure. At around 10 o'clock, Li Zhen called Liu King. Li Zhen must have been bored staying at home alone and missed the arrogant and cold Liu King, so she called to chat. Zhu Hua was bored and scrolling through jokes on his phone. However, halfway through the call, Liu King glanced at Zhu Hua. What are you looking at? What's wrong with you? Zhu Hua didn't dare to ask back. Try looking at another one. Otherwise you will probably get beat. Well, it's nothing. Just asking casually. And Li asked me, are you honest? If you are not honest, I will ask you to get out and don't live in the same house with me. Day, is it true that I have no status at all? Zhu Hua walked aside angrily without saying anything. Listening to Liu King and her mother chatting happily, he suddenly felt like he was redundant. Just then, Zhu Qian called. Zhu Hua raised his eyebrows and answered the call immediately. What's wrong? My mother also told you to get out? What the hell, brother, have you lost your memory? I'm at my hometown. Oh, if you have to fart, let it out quickly. Zhu Qian didn't know what was wrong with her brother. However, the situation on her side seemed more complicated, so Zhu Qian did not laugh and joke with her brother as usual. Instead, she remained silent for a long while before speaking quietly. Brother, why are you trying to hurt me? Zhu Hua, your plan didn't work at all. I just got beaten up badly. In a mixed doubles match it was terrible. Forehead. When Zhu Hua mentioned his plan, he raised his eyebrows. Shouldn't. Given my aunt's educational background, would she still be suspicious? Good man. Are you trying to insult me or enlighten me with this sentence? Zhu Qian was silent for a moment, and then spoke again in a low voice. I don't care, I want you to compensate me. Compensation what? I'm already annoyed now, and it's good enough that I don't add fuel to the fire, believe it or not. I can send a text message to my aunt and tell her that you failed more than 6 courses and you won't even get your diploma. Let's see how my aunt will react then. Hearing this, Zhu Qian sobbed twice. Her brother was holding her at a weak spot, so it was probably impossible for her to seek any comfort from him. Send me the transcript you made. I've already been beaten. What's the point in watching it now? Zhu Qian was stunned for a moment. I will summarize my experience next time if someone asks me for help with a similar matter. I will be able to learn from the lesson and see where you, a little girl, went wrong. Snort. As soon as these words came out, Zhu Qian hung up the phone without mercy, and angrily called her brother a bitch twice. However, after a while, Zhu Hua received a picture message from his sister Zhu Qian. I looked at it for 2 seconds and took a quick glance. Zhu Hua sneered and called his sister back. What, are you planning to apologize to me? You deserve to be beaten. You have a brain but you don't use it, you deserve this beating. If I were your father, I would beat you to death just for insulting my IQ. Faced with her brother's sarcastic remarks, Zhu Qian was dumbfounded on the other end of the phone. Brother, are you a human? It doesn't matter whether I am a human or not. But the answer to the question of whether you have a brain or not seems to be obvious. The next moment, Zhu Hua sneered and asked back. Zhu Qian, do you have a brain? Don't say your aunt doesn't believe the transcript you printed. Even if you look at it yourself, you won't believe it. I'll let you make a transcript that shows you didn't fail the course, change your name, and fool your aunt. But you are lucky. The score target is so high you are more than qualified to get a full scholarship with this grade. I'd bet your mother would believe it. After hearing this, Zhu Qian realized the point of failure. No wonder I just took out the electronic version of my transcript. A mother did not even check with the Dean of Education Lin Hao and directly stays to face the wind. She hesitated for a long time, but couldn't put the blame on her brother. I could only hang up the phone with a sad face. Zhu Hua was still cursing. How could a man with such great reputation have such a stupid sister? The next moment, as soon as he raised his head, he suddenly met Liu King's beautiful eyes. The woman opened her red lips slightly. Zhu Qian? Is failing a course a serious matter? There is no need to guess. Liu King must have heard the conversation between the two on the phone. The woman's hearing and vision are both beyond ordinary people, and Zhu Hua has long been accustomed to it. It's okay if it happened to someone else. It might not be so serious, but Zhu Qian is an only child after all. And my aunt has high hopes for her. So if I can't even get a degree certificate in the end, and I only get a diploma after 4 years of medical school, my aunt's family will definitely be furious. After all, these days it's difficult to find a good job without even a bachelor's degree. Hearing this, Liu Zuqing nodded slightly, as if she understood. What if you let her work in your company? What? Didn't that guy named Shen Sinjin give you a company today? Can you become a boss in the future? Hearing this, Zhu Hui suddenly remembered. Wow, in just one afternoon he went from being a wage earner to a singing slave. I haven't had enough time to adapt to this change in identity. To be honest, I don't understand anything about business operations. The thought of suddenly becoming the boss of a company is really nerve-wracking and exciting. After saying this, Zhu Hui glanced at Liu Zuqing, who had no expression on her face, and suddenly said with a smile, "In that case, you will be the boss's wife by then. I don't want to be your mother." Liu Zuqing frowned. Zhu Hui was stunned, then laughed twice. I carefully explained to her the meaning of the 3 words boss's wife, rather than boss's mother. At this moment, Zhu Hui received a friend request on his mobile phone. Flowers bloom and wealth comes. Who is this? After clicking on the add message button below, Zhu Hui's face darkened. Uakai Fugu, I requested to add friends. You bastard, I'm the grandpa. Damn, are all scammers so arrogant these days? The next moment, Zhu Hui waved the screen in his hand directly at Liu Zuqing. I plan to buy you a smartphone in a couple of days. Since you've even learned how to shop online, you'll definitely have no problem using a smartphone. But there is something I need to remind you, there are a lot of scammers on the internet now. Like this one, anyone who pretends to be a friend or relative and adds your contact information should be blocked. Oh, Liu Zuqing nodded. It seems that I don't have any relatives or friends in your world? Well, there seems to be some truth in this. As Zhu Hui was talking, he fiddled with his phone and replied to the request to add him. I am your father. He is not one to suffer losses, even if it is a stranger or an internet scammer who takes advantage of him. Zhu Hui will not suffer losses easily. But the message was sent out not long ago. Suddenly a call came from my mother, Li Zhen. What's wrong with you? Your grandpa said he missed you and wanted to add you on WeChat and have a video chat with you. Not only did you reject the request, you also scolded your grandpa. Are you itching for trouble? What? Zhu was stunned. Is he really my grandpa? Liu Zuqing beside her was laughing so hard that she was shaking. Zhu Hui's old face turned red. For a moment, I didn't know how to argue. Chapter 81, Helpless and Helpless Things. The next day, when the two of them had packed up, Baizu Mo was already waiting at the door. Why you again? When Liu Zuqing saw Baizu Mo, a barely noticeable frown appeared on her brows. Chen Qingjin asked me to say hello to you before he left here. This is the shareholding contract. When Zhu Hui signs all these things, he will go to Shenzhen Jin to submit the industrial and commercial changes in the future. The Shen family pharmaceutical factory will belong to Zhu Hui. Baizu Mo shrugged. She was actually happy to see Liu Zuqing looking like she was facing a formidable enemy. It seems that Shenzhen Jin is not just talking nonsense, he is really planning to give the company to me. Zhu Hui's Adam's apple rolled unconsciously. There are no buses nearby at this time. Let us go and take my car back. Need not. Liu Zuqing originally wanted to refuse immediately. However, on second thought, Baizu Mo and I are not competing on the same level. What qualifications does she have to make me afraid? They have already invited me, and if I refuse it would seem that I am petty. Thinking of this, Liu Zuqing took back what she was about to say. He opened the door first and sat in the back seat of the Porsche Panamera. The two of them took a ride on Baizu Mo's car. The group of 3 rushed back towards Zhongcheng. Zhu Qian probably never dreamed that her trick of luring the tiger away from the mountain would end up in such a mess. It was adjusted, but not completely adjusted. Oh, by the way, there is something I forgot to tell you. Your mother urged me to marry you last night, saying that even a fake marriage would be fine. Hold a banquet and collect the money that has been given out over the years. Some people have died. If we don't collect them now, it will be too late. For some unknown reason, Liu Zuqing suddenly blurted out these words in the quiet carriage. Baizu Mo, who was driving in the front seat, unconsciously tightened her grip on the steering wheel. The meaning of Liu Zuqing's words was very clear. She was asserting her sovereignty. Hearing this, Zhu was also stunned, but he coughed twice. For a moment I didn't know how to respond. In this age where even those who have entered each other's bodies can be separated because of a quarrel, no one really thinks that being pregnant can tie up a boy's most beautiful and innocent years, right? At this moment, Baizu Mo suddenly said lightly. As soon as these words were spoken, the temperature in the car rose infinitely. The atmosphere between the two women gradually began to become subtle and tense. Liu Zuqing looked a little unhappy. Whenever this happened, Zhu Hui would sit upright, fearing that he would accidentally anger the woman and bring bad luck to her. This is probably like those peerless masters in fantasy novels. Each of them has some unique aura. As long as Liu Zuking was a little unhappy, Zhu Hui could sense a strong sense of oppression. If it were put into a fantasy novel, it would usually be said that this was a kind of pressure from a strong person. In reality, to put it bluntly, it is the aura of those who had been in high positions of power and had been in a superior position for a long time. I am talking. What does it have to do with you? I'm not talking to you. I'm chatting with Zhu Hui. Hearing this, Liu Zuking's cold eyes narrowed again. You are really brave. There are not many people who dare to challenge me like this. Bai Zhu Mo snorted, not caring at all. I'm really sorry, because I said the wrong thing. Sister, please don't take your anger out on Zhu Hui. It's my fault now. What's wrong with you? Oh, what did I do wrong to make my sister angry? I don't want to talk to you. Zhu Hui, is your girlfriend angry? It turns out that this is what dating is like. It makes people afraid to date casually. Sister, please don't be angry. How about I treat you to a nice meal? I don't want to have dinner with you. Then I can go too. As long as my sister and Zhu Hui enjoy their meal. Zhu Hui's eyelids twitched wildly. Where did Mr. Ba learn this tea talking? Using green tea rhetoric is apparently the best weapon to defeat straight women. Liu Zuking was defeated in no time. She didn't want to say a word now, and even when Zhu Hui tried to coax her, she just rolled her eyes at the young man coldly. Zhu Hui could only complain in his heart with tears in his eyes. What sin have I committed? About an hour later, the car slowly drove into Kangwu Street. Liu Zuking pushed open the car door, shook her long hair, and walked upstairs without even looking at the two people behind her. Boss Ba, I'll go up first then. Bai Zhu Mo smiled charmingly, with a hint of a winner's amusement in her eyes. Good. That's how today's little episode ended. As soon as Liu Zuking went upstairs, she greeted Liu Zhen warmly and smiled as she told her plan to buy a car for Liu Zhen in the future. As for the unpleasantness in the car, it seemed as if the woman had long forgotten about it. After hearing Liu Zuking's suggestion, Liu Zhen was a little curious about how much savings Liu Zuking, a girl from the countryside, could have. However, just because of this filial piety, Liu Zhen was moved and laughed heartily. I immediately decided to make 2 more dishes tonight. After eating and drinking, time slowly came to evening. At about 9:30, when Zhu Hui had finished washing up and was lying on the bed, the phone suddenly rang urgently. It's Dad Zhu Mingyuan. What's wrong? Dad, are you free now? If you are, go pick up my aunt and her family. They are being detained at the airport. What? Hearing this, Zhu Hui's eyes widened instantly. Detained at the airport? Wait, aren't my aunt and her family arriving in Zhongcheng the day after tomorrow? Well, but for some reason, your cousin insisted on letting your aunt and uncle get on the plane today. As a result, they ran into trouble at Zhongcheng Airport. Now the airport security is stopping them from leaving. You should go and pick them up as soon as possible. Hearing this, Zhu Hui could only nod helplessly. Okay, I understand. After saying that, he immediately changed his clothes. And this action automatically alarmed Liu Zuking, who was standing next to him. The woman raised her eyebrows suspiciously. What's wrong? My aunt and her family encountered some problems at Zhongcheng Airport, and my dad asked me to go there right now. And I'll go with you. After saying this, Liu Zuking also changed her clothes. Since the night before the Chinese Valentine's Day, the two of them seemed to have some tacit understanding when they entered the bedroom. Zhu Hui did not actively ask to stay, but Liu Zuking would not drive Zhu Hui out. Plus last night at the hot spring resort. This was the 3rd time that the two of them slept in the same bed but had different dreams. So it was quite natural for the two of them to sleep together tonight. Hearing that Zhu Hui was going out, Liu Zuking, who couldn't sit still, naturally made a prompt decision and decided to go over and check out the situation as soon as possible. Okay, let's go together. After saying that, Zhu Hui greeted his mother Liu Zhen. Liu Zhen heard that it was because of her aunt's family affairs that her son and daughter-in-law had to bother her in the middle of the night. She even cursed a few times in dissatisfaction. There is not a single person in this family who is not good at dealing with others. I go to Hainan for vacation every Chinese New Year, and I haven't even given you a few red envelopes in these years. Whenever something happens, you think of our family again. Snort. After Liu Zhen finished speaking, she sneered. Don't let Xiaoyu deal with them. See what happened. If it has nothing to do with our family, bring Xiaoyu back immediately. Stop wandering around outside. Xiaoyu is pregnant. This was his biological mother's request, and Zhu Hui agreed obediently. Liu Zhen also knew that Liu Zuking would not sit idly by and watch Zhu Hui run around alone in the middle of the night. Not to mention whether I'm worried or not. What if this kid runs out and steals some fish? This is also a problem. So it was normal for Liu Zuking to follow, but her aunt's family was troublesome and a bit troublesome. They were just relatives, so Liu Zhen couldn't say much. You can't just call Zhu Mingyuan and order him to sever ties with his 2 biological sisters, right? This is unrealistic. After giving a few instructions, Zhu Hu and Liu Zuqing went downstairs, hailed a taxi and headed for Zhongcheng Airport. Along the way, Liu Zuqing was observing Zhu Hu's expression. Why are you looking at me? I'm wondering. Your whole family is obviously not a good person. Why do you still pretend to be so enthusiastic? You are not a pushover. Hearing this, Zhu Hu was stunned. The next moment, he said with a wry smile, perhaps. This is the helplessness of living in our society. How should I put it? There are always some helpless and unavoidable things in this world. Chapter 82. What if I don't give you face? Hearing this, Liu Zuqing nodded slightly, as if she understood. But I have also made up my mind about my attitude towards my aunt's family. Since he is someone that Aunt Li, Zhu Hu and Father Zhu don't like. Naturally, I don't need to be particularly nice to them just because we are relatives. If Zhu Hu knew that Liu Zuqing was thinking this, maybe you will even feel a little touched. After all, she would have this mentality now. In fact, it is in line with the old Chinese saying, if you marry a chicken, you follow the chicken, if you marry a dog, you follow the dog. As the saying goes, the husband sings and the wife follows. Soon, the taxi arrived near Zhongcheng Airport. Zhu Hu took out his cell phone and looked at it. He was so scared that he almost threw the phone away. 12 missed calls on the phone. 3 of them are cousins, and the rest are my aunts and uncles. However, because Zhu Hu was dozing off with his eyes closed the whole way, he didn't notice it at all. He couldn't help but sweat profusely on his forehead. Afraid that my aunt's family would disturb my grandfather who was resting in the hospital at this time, I quickly called my aunt back. Hello? Zhu Hu, we have been waiting for you here for more than half an hour. Where are you? There was a traffic jam on the road, so I arrived a little late. I heard my aunt's impolite voice. Liu Zuqing next to Zhu Hu frowned. Mom, they're over there. Who is following this kid Zhu Hu? I can't see clearly, it's probably Liu Zhen. At this moment, 3 figures were walking towards this side. Leading the group was a young man wearing a tweed windbreaker. It wasn't very cold this season, so he wore the windbreaker just to show off. Following them were 2 middle-aged people, a man and a woman. Both of them dress much more extravagantly than Zhu Mingyuan and Liu Zhen of the same age, giving people the feeling of nouveau rich. Without asking, everyone knew that they were Zhu Hu's aunt and uncle who came from Shanghai. The next moment, Wang Yang, the cousin of Zhu Hu who was in the lead, expressed his displeasure. Shit, are you too busy eating shit? You're taking so long. Hearing this, Zhu Hu frowned. You should be more polite. We are all family. That's why Dad called me and I came here for Grandpa's sake. I don't owe you anything. In front of such relatives, his unruly temperament was restrained a lot. The main concern is that the stubborn aunt will go to cause trouble for Grandpa in a fit of rage. And in the end the old man will be the one who gets hurt. Aunt, uncle, what happened? Our luggage was seized by someone because your aunt took the wrong luggage and took someone else's suitcase. As a result, the person came and kept accusing us of stealing his things. The security office is also investigating the surveillance right now. And our luggage has been detained. That basically means we have to wait here and not leave for the time being. My uncle-in-law took out a cigarette and lit it with a click. Seeing this, Zhu Hu pulled Liu Zuqing back unnoticeably. After all, Zhu Hu was aware of the common sense that pregnant women should avoid smoke, as it is bad for the fetus. It's just that the light was dim at the moment, and the street lights near the airport were not turned on yet. The aunt's family did not see the face of the girl next to Zhu Hu clearly, and of course their attention was not on Liu Zuqing. My aunt and cousin Wang Yang are still fussing about why Zhu Hu took so long to come. Neither of them had any intention of paying attention to the young man. Zhu Hu instantly became furious. Am I here to be bullied? Besides, can't this kind of thing be explained clearly over the phone? I had to call my father Zhu Mingyuan and get myself here as well. The key point is that Zhu Hu racked his brains but couldn't figure out how he could help in this situation. Should he help the security room check the surveillance? But that also requires other people's consent. Zhu Hu frowned and asked again. So what are your plans now? Your cousin and I are a little tired after the long journey. I plan to go back to the hotel to rest first. You just wait here and cooperate with the security room to handle it when the time comes. Just bring the luggage back to us. What? Zhu Hu was stunned. What the fuck does this mean? You called me over here in the middle of the night just to let me wait for you to get your luggage. When will their security room be able to check the surveillance clearly? Besides, it was my aunt who took the luggage by mistake. Even if she didn't take anyone else's things, doesn't she still have to verify and confirm it? What am I waiting for here for? Zhu Hu blurted out subconsciously. As soon as these words came out, my aunt frowned instantly. What's wrong? Didn't I just ask you to help wait for a bag? Why do you have so many excuses? Wang Yang next to him said impatiently. I shouldn't have contacted you poor relatives if I had known. Mom, I told you that our family is rich now, so we should cut off some of our relatives' ties. Look at Zhu Hu's attitude now. Zhu Hu, What the fuck? So in your impression, it is natural for me to come here to help you in the middle of the night without sleeping? Du Hui, I'll just trouble you this time. I don't think there will be any chance for our families to negotiate in the future. Do you know why Wang Yang rushed us to Zhongcheng? It's because the top wealthy family in Zhongcheng, Shin's pharmaceutical factory, plans to sign a contract with Wang Yang tomorrow. Ma, why are you telling these poor relatives all this? Wang Yang spoke again in displeasure. The young aunt next to her became more and more excited as she spoke, as if she was deliberately showing off. You've heard of the Shin family. The top wealthy family in Zhongcheng, who started out as an engineering family. Shen Sinjin, Mr. Shen. Tomorrow Mr. Shen is going to invest 6 million in our Wang Yang. Do you know what that means? So what? Zhu Hua didn't expect that Shen Sinjin was also related to Wang Yang. But Shenjia Pharmaceutical seems to be the company that Shen Sinjin gave to me, right? The aunt seemed not very satisfied with Zhu Hua's reaction and snorted coldly. So our family is going to be very successful soon if you behave well today. Maybe Wang Yang can arrange a good job for you in the future. But your attitude today. I'm sorry, it seems that no one will pay attention to you when you ask us for help in the future. Let me tell you. If the news gets out now, I don't know how many people will beg to work for our Wang Yang. That's why my eldest brother and Liu Zhen have no pattern. The son they raised is also a dead person like you. If you stay here tonight and help our family get our luggage, we may consider it when you need help in the future. Hearing this, Zhu Hua wanted to say idiot. But considering the snobby shoulder in front of him, she is still his aunt after all. He still didn't say it. But his lack of reaction doesn't mean Liu Zuqing didn't react. That's a pity. You should find someone else. Zhu Hua and I are going back to rest. What? My aunt was very surprised. I have been working so hard to pretend to be cool, just because I hope Zhu Hua can face the reality. Just stay here and wait for our luggage. How can you just leave like this? Wang Yang walked forward angrily with eyes wide open. How dare you not give me face? Snap. The next moment, a loud slap suddenly sounded. What's wrong with not giving you face? I have tolerated you for a long time. If I didn't give you face, I would have taken action the moment you called him a bastard. Chapter 83. I am here to make you proud, right? After giving this slap, Zhu Hua did not feel the sense of pride that the hero of a happy novel had imagined. Instead, a warm feeling flashed through my heart. He is a fearless and reckless person who can't be bothered by anyone. It was just that the aunt-in-law had a hold on him, so Zhu Hua gave her family some face. If I didn't know my aunt's personality, she would always like to run to grandpa and make a fuss, for fear that the old man would not be at peace. In the end, Zhu Hua indulged them for his grandfather's sake. He must have been slapped twice in his 8 lifetimes. How could what my aunt said sound like something that a relative would say? Bitch, you dare to hit me? Wang Yang also has a bad temper. And there is a saying that goes like this. Those who succeed at a young age rarely have good tempers. Especially now that Wang Yang is about to receive investment from Shenjia Pharmaceutical tomorrow. It also encouraged the boy's arrogant temper. If you curse again, I will slap you in the face. The word bitch is somewhat insulting. No matter how you look at it, Liu Zuqing is a woman who has physical contact with Zhu Hua. He rarely showed a cold and stern look in front of his aunt's family. Who is she? Zhu Hua, is this your girlfriend? Wang Yang stamped his feet angrily. However, when faced with his cousin Zhu Hua, who dared to smash other people's shops in high school, he was the first to back down. My aunt and uncle next to me looked livid. It seemed that he was somewhat annoyed by Liu Zuqing's action of taking action over a disagreement. Yes. Zhu Hua was calm at this time, and took a step forward to stand in front of Liu Zuqing. Aunt, uncle, we too have something else to do. Since you are in trouble, you asked me to come over to help with the luggage. Sorry, I don't have the time. Or going back. As soon as these words came out, the little sister-in-law became furious again. What kind of quality do you have? What kind of upbringing? My brother taught you to be like this? If you don't make it clear today, I won't leave. Zhu Hua rolled his eyes. You can go or not. But he was too lazy to talk nonsense, so he grabbed Liu Zuqing and walked out of the airport. Even though his aunt-in-law and Wang Yang and her son were furious, Zhu Hua did not even stop for a moment. Anyway, the person who did it was the pregnant woman Liu Zuqing, and I can explain to my father when I go back. The head of the family is my mother, Liu Zhen. Don't forget, Liu Zuqing is now the apple of Liu Zhen's eye. If someone scolded Liu Zhen, she might just smile and let it go. But if anyone dared to bully her daughter-in-law, Liu Zhen would be the first to disagree. This is also the reason why Liu Zuqing, who has such a cold and aloof personality, was able to become friends with Liu Zhen in such a short time and even wanted to buy a car for Liu Zhen. This shows that Liu Zhen has truly entered Liu Zuqing's heart and is treated as a family member by the Ice Lotus Empress. You are not allowed to leave. Who told you to leave? Stop. And that little bitch. Who dares to hit my son? Little bitch. As soon as these words came out, Zhu Hua stopped. Aunt, I treat you as a relative so I won't bother with you, but you scolded my wife. But I can't tolerate this is just this time. Next time I will really turn hostile. After saying this, Zhu Hui grinned and revealed a row of white teeth. He did not do anything special, but just this reckless attitude scared the unruly girl so much that she could not help but take 2 steps back. Wife? When did you get married? The young aunt was stunned for a moment. However, after Zhu Hui finished speaking, he pulled Li Zuqing into a taxi, and had no intention of paying any attention to his aunt's family of three. He finally understood it. My aunt-in-law and her family caused the trouble tonight, and they asked him to clean up the mess. However, although Zhu Hui did not know any so-called Zhongqing celebrities, and was just a small figure himself, he had zero tolerance for his aunt's family's behavior today. And today I have a legitimate reason to do so. I believe that grandpa will calm down for the sake of continuing the family line, and that Liu Zuqing is pregnant with the 4th generation of the Zhu family. While in the car, Liu Zuqing asked Zhu Hui a rare question. Today, is it because of the slap I gave you that you are in an awkward situation? It's a bit troublesome, but not embarrassing. Zhu Hui chuckled. In fact, Liu Zhen, my mother, has always had some opinions about my aunt's family. What's more, in ancient times, people used chicken feathers as tokens of authority. Zhu Hui now has Liu Zuqing, the family's most precious sword. If there is really a problem, it's not him. Lao Zhu is the one who has the most headache. The two of them returned to the house and stayed silent all night. When they returned, it was already around early morning, and my mother Liu Zhen had already fallen asleep. One night passed. The next day, when Zhu Hui got up, he found more than a dozen messages on his mobile phone. At a quick glance, I saw that they were all text messages from my father Zhu Mingyuan. The first message was probably about asking what happened later, perhaps because my aunt's family was so angry. I told Lao Zhu about it. So the second line becomes the father asking his son how he handled it. But maybe because Zhu Hui was still sleeping soundly, Mr. Zhu couldn't contact his son. I simply had a brief conversation with the retired Emperor Liu Zhen. Liu Zhen is a staunch supporter of the Liu party. Nothing in the world is more important than her daughter-in-law's pregnancy. Lao Zhu only knows limited information, but once Liu Zuqing is involved, in Liu Zhen's eyes, beauty is justice. And whatever his daughter-in-law does is right. So the content of the last few messages changed again. In addition to instructing Zhu Hui to take good care of Liu Zuqing and his mother Liu Zhen, Old Zhu also asked Zhu Hui to take good care of Liu Zuqing and his mother Liu Zhen. As for what happened last night, he completely kept silent. I think Lao Zhu was probably scolded by my mother. When Zhu Hui came out to have breakfast, sure enough, I heard the old lady complaining to Liu Zuqing in the living room. Zhu Hui's father is simply unbelievable. I feel that he should have severed ties with such relatives 10 years ago. Why did he use such nonsense to scare people last night? What are they? Zhu Mingyuan is too old and confused to distinguish between the primary and the secondary. His sister's son's surname is Wang, not Zhu Isn't it me who takes care of the old man's excrement and urine at the grave during festivals? Did Mr. Wang come to see the old man when he was in the hospital? I was the one who saw off Zhu Hui's grandmother during her final days on the hospital bed. Isn't it true that the person the old man cares about and loves the most is still his grandson Zhu Hui? In ancient times, the children of his two sisters would be illegitimate. Words like these kept coming out one after another, and Zhu Hui could hear them clearly in the bedroom. It seems that I have suffered a lot because of my aunt's family over the years. When Zhu Hui came out, Liu Zhen glanced at her son and calmed down a little. Wash your hands and eat. Taking a look at the breakfast on the table, Zhu Hui found that what his mother had prepared was quite rich. He was just about to go into the bathroom to wash up when his cell phone suddenly rang urgently. Who would call me so early in the morning? Hello? Hello, brother? I'm your brother Shen. Are you free today? Shen Sanjin? Zhu Hui was stunned. What's wrong? It's like this. Didn't I ask that little girl Bi Zumo to give you the documents yesterday? But there's one thing I forgot to tell you. Shenjia Pharmaceuticals is holding an investment promotion meeting today, and some young people are here to attract investment. But Shenjia Pharmaceuticals is now your industry, so all business activities must naturally be carried out with your permission. After saying this, Shenjin felt a little embarrassed. Today, I have to trouble you as the chairman to attend the event, but don't worry, I have sent a very professional business specialists to accompany you. As for you, you are just going through the motions. Investment involves cash flow after all. If you have plans for the next step of the company's decision, then of course it depends on your arrangements. Other company executives will have to discuss the matter of paying with you. After these words were spoken, Zhu Hui was stunned again. Although he guessed that Shen Sinjin was a man of his word, he estimated that it would not take long for Zhu Hui to transform himself from a poor worker into a senior executive of Shenjia Pharmaceutical. But he didn't expect the action to be so quick. The agreement was just signed last night. and today Shen Senjin asked him to go to the company and be the leader who makes the final decision. At this moment, Zhu Hui couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Brother Shen, isn't this a bit too hasty? After all, I have never. Don't worry, I've arranged a very professional salesman for you with them accompanying you. You don't have to worry at all. I'll arrange a car to pick you up right now, send me an address. After saying this, Shen Shenjin hung up the phone. It seems that someone has really been arranged to pick up Zhu Hua. The young man stood there in a daze for a long while, then he swallowed hard. What's wrong? Why are you standing there like an idiot? Why don't you wash your hands and come eat? Liu Zhen was in a bad mood because of her aunt's family affairs. So he was not polite when talking to his son at this time. If Zhu Hua hesitated, and Li, who held the financial power of the family, might go up and give him two big slaps. Zhu Hua slowly came back to his senses from his shock, and then coughed. Mom, if I say that I'm now the chairman of a large company with a market value of tens of millions and an estimated value of hundreds of millions, would you believe it? Why don't you go eat shit? You're still the chairman. The next moment, Li Zhen poured cold water on him mercilessly. He said with a sneer while serving food to his daughter-in-law Yuzu King. If you really are the chairman, I hope you can teach my aunt's family a lesson. What a bullshit investment. What's 6 million? You are looking down on others. If you were the chairman of a large company, you would have ruined their project. That way I can feel proud of myself. Hearing this, Zhu Hua pursed his lips and said nothing. If I had made this request 2 minutes ago, Zhu Hua might even smile bitterly and wave his hands, saying, we don't have that kind of strength. But after receiving Shen Sinjin's call, Zhu Hui understood. Now that I am the chairman of Shenjia Pharmaceutical, it seems that I really have this ability. It seems that it is not difficult to decide the investment of Wang Yang, the son of my aunt, with just one word and one action. And let's do as you say and let Wang Yang's family's investment go down the drain. At this moment, a sense of satisfaction suddenly ignited in Zhu Hui's chest. Liu Zhen ignored her son, who was going crazy and dreaming early in the morning. She was still urging Zhu Hui to brush his teeth, wash his face and then come over to eat, but it was not until she heard the big iron door slam shut that Liu Zhen realized that Zhu Hui had gone out. She froze for a moment. What's wrong with that brat today? Doesn't he want to eat breakfast? Liu King, who was sitting upright in a chair and sipping porridge, had already heard the content of the call, so I just smiled mysteriously. I guess he went there to make you proud, didn't he? Chapter 84. Why don't you get out of here right now? The communities on Kangwu Street are all old-style neighborhoods. Not even residential areas. The road is crowded and narrow at night, the roadside is filled with various private cars, and the traffic police are too lazy to issue tickets. Often when the cars meet, they have to move towards each other for a while before they can pass. This shows how narrow the road is. And today, an agate green luxury car stopped under a building on Kangwu Street. The latest model of Mercedes-Benz Maybach S480. Holy shit. This is worth $1 million, right? More than that, almost 200. Look, this car has a special matte paint, 21-inch wheels, and this. All these little extras alone are worth more than enough to buy your life. I don't know what kind of person can sit in such a luxurious car. Hey, Zhu Hua. The middle-aged man was bragging about the luxury car. Just then, I saw a neighbor passing by. The middle-aged man immediately greeted with a smile. Uncle Wang, good morning. When Zhu Hua saw Lao Wang next door, he greeted him perfunctorily. The people living on Kangwu Street are all retired employees. When they have nothing to do, they like to sit together and chat about gossip. Zhu Hui is still upset about the last time he went from being a robbery victim to a rapist. So when he saw Lao Wang, he just greeted him calmly. Hey, where are you going? A persimmons in my hometown are blooming. Your Aunt Wang even reminded me to send you 2 bags of persimmons in a couple of days. Hearing this, Zhu Hui didn't react much. If someone shows you kindness without any reason, he is either a traitor or a thief. What's more, he knew that this was the common way for middle-aged people to speak. To criticize first and then to praise. There must be a but behind this. As expected. But Brat has no time to come to Zhongcheng this year, as you know. He is working in another place and was appreciated by his boss, so he has a lot of things to do. How about you accompany Uncle Wang back to his hometown to pick persimmons in 2 days? While saying this, Uncle Wang from next door was smoking a cigarette with a smile on his face. It seemed as if he had Zhu Hui in his grasp. Then he even pretended to be cool while speaking. It means that his son is not without time, but is busy with work. The implication seems to be that you, Zhu Hui, are not doing well, so when you have free time you can come and help us. Look how round and smooth this thing is. And he also belittled me. After saying this, he did not forget to add one more sentence. I'll tell your mom this afternoon to neighbors should help each other. I'm sure old Li won't object. Hearing this, Zhu Hui rolled his eyes. Look how smooth this combo is. In the end, they even brought up their mother, Li Zhen, to pressure me. However, Zhu Hui has something to do today, and may not have time to deal with Lao Wang in the next 2 days. So he responded politely. Sorry, Uncle Wang, I've been working overtime at the company recently. Why are you working overtime in the middle of the year? Lao Wang was probably also surprised that Zhu Hui rejected him. Oh, I got a promotion. What position? Chairman. Hearing this, Uncle Wang was stunned at first. And he patted Zhu Hui's shoulders twice. You are such a joker, kid. If you were the chairman, I would eat. Hey, what are you doing? That's the latest model of Maybach, a luxury car. Don't touch it, you little brat. I see there's someone else in the car. Be careful not to offend the rich and get into trouble. I saw Zhu Hui suddenly open the door of the Maybach. Uncle Wang immediately acted like an elder and scolded him. At this moment, the driver's window of the car was lowered. Mr. Zhu, I'm the secretary that Mr. Shen arranged to pick you up. Can we set off now? What? As soon as these words were spoken, Uncle Wang, who was not far away, was petrified instantly. After getting in the car, Zhu Hui felt that the whole world was quiet in an instant. It's worthy of being a luxury car worth more than 2 million. The sound insulation is amazing. Uncle Wang outside was still asking noisy questions. But when looking out from inside the carriage, one could only see Uncle Wang next door staring with eyes wide open like a monkey, stammering with his mouth opening and closing. It seemed like he was talking, but no sound came through. At this moment, Zhu Hui felt much more comfortable. Damn it. If you don't act cool, we're still good friends, but if you do, sorry. I have to act cool too. Zhu Hui muttered inwardly and glanced at the two people in the front row. The driver was a middle-aged man who looked to be around 30 years old. The man has an average appearance, but he exudes a sense of calmness. The copilot was a petite girl. After questioning, Zhu Hui also learned the identities of the two. These are the two business specialists that Shen Jin arranged for himself. They can also be called consultants. The man's surname is Hu, and his name is Hu Zaiji. And the woman's name is Hirong. Hu Zaiji should have already started a family. Zhu Hui asked him indirectly on the way, except for Hirong's lively chattering. Hu Zaiji said almost nothing along the way. Hirong was the accompanying secretary arranged by Shen Jinjin to prevent Zhu Hui from being in a hurry, and it was also a reassurance to Zhu Hui. Mr. Zhu, have you had breakfast? When we arrived at the Science and Technology Park, we saw all buildings all around. Zhu Hui couldn't help but smack his lips in amazement. This is the world of the rich. He responded calmly. I didn't eat. The Science and Technology Park is a gathering place for the entire Zhongcheng high-tech industries. There are no traditional industries such as food, clothing, housing and transportation here. It is even difficult to find a restaurant within 3 kilometers. This place is relatively remote compared to Zhongcheng, but precisely because of this, all of Zhongcheng's cutting-edge technology industries related to science and technology are located here. After all, from another perspective, the fact that a place is sparsely populated means it has development potential. The municipal government allocated this land to high-tech enterprises in the hope that they would boost the surrounding economy. It was 9:30 in the morning when Zhu Hui arrived at the Science and Technology Park. Normally, most people would have had breakfast by this time. However, the secretary Hirong got off the car and soon got a bowl of spicy soup and fried dough sticks from the cafeteria. I've read your profile. Although you're originally from the south, you studied in the north since you were a child. You should like these things for breakfast. Hearing this, Zhu Hui couldn't help but give Hirong extra points. As expected of a secretary arranged by a big shot like Shen Jin, she is really professional. Thinking from another dimension, Zhu Hui felt scared again. He suddenly felt that the online novels he usually read were all nonsense. Because in novels there are often pretentious plots where no one in the company knows the chairman, but this kind of plot is unlikely to happen in reality. Because this is an era of information transparency. Anyone with a little bit of capital can get all the information about a person from birth to marriage through investigation. Even when facing the newly appointed chairman Zhu Hui, Secretary Hirong could easily find out that Zhu Hui's ancestral home was in the south, but he studied in the north. If a secretary knows this, can other company executives not know it? A cool story is really just a cool story. Zhu Hui sighed. However, similar things happened to him as well, like being sent to a company for no apparent reason. Of course, the turning point of all this seems to be attributed to the appearance of Li Zuqing. Thinking about my recent experiences, it seems a bit dreamy. So, Shuangwen should be the so-called inspiration for reality. But in a certain realm, it is even higher than reality. Finally, Zhu Hui added another sentence in his heart. Watching the new boss's expression change back and forth, Hirong called out tentatively. Mr. Zhu, why don't you eat a few bites of food before going in? The investment promotion conference hasn't started yet, so you don't need to go so early. Okay. Zhu Hui nodded and suppressed the random thoughts in his mind. He finished his breakfast standing next to the car in a down-to-earth manner before wiping his mouth with his sleeve and raising his chin towards the 12-story building with a green plaque hanging in front of him. Let's go. Shenjia Pharmaceutical is more of a scientific research group than a pharmaceutical company. They do not have the ability to produce pharmaceutical products themselves. The pharmaceutical industry is a money-burning market, especially the pharmaceutical manufacturing industry, which involves publicity, OEM, offline sales, and online feedback, and so on and so forth behind the launch of any product. There are hundreds of millions of dollars of investment. Even if you throw in 100 million, I'm afraid it won't even make a splash. Therefore, the identity of Shenjia Pharmaceutical is more like a research and development department. Thus, like many people who travel around the country know that the packaging of amoxicillin is different in different parts of the country, and even the color is very different, because the pharmaceutical factories they represent are different. But the licensors are the same, because that company is a research and development institution and owns the patent. The Shen family pharmaceutical factory is more like that R&D department. However, our pharmaceutical factory does not just conduct simple research and development, we also invest today. Investment promotion is to find a few good projects to follow up. Because there are various old-line pharmaceutical companies innovating in gastrointestinal diseases and neurological diseases. Plus there are emerging forces with serious internal competition. So our factory is also looking for the latest research projects. Irong secretly glanced at the boss, who was full and satisfied. This was Zhu Hui's first time to come to Shenjia Pharmaceutical. But Zhu Hui's demeanor made the secretary feel slightly relieved. If Zhu Hui looked like a country bumpkin coming to the city, I'm afraid it will become a joke if it gets to the ears of other board shareholders. The first impression is equally important for the new big boss. If I wasn't living in reality, I would really think I was still dreaming. Zhu Hui blurted out these words out of the blue. The secretary Hirong was stunned for a moment. But she didn't dare to ask more questions before she understood the boss's temper. Zhu Hui himself was indeed speaking from his own feelings. To put it in one sentence, it's like someone brings you a pillow just when you feel sleepy. Boss, you won't be needed at the meeting later. Only when the projects that have passed the audition are interviewed and have one-on-one interviews, you will be the main interviewer and ask some questions. The questions will be delivered to you as soon as the investment promotion conference is over. Well, then you guys go ahead and do your work. I'll just walk around here and get familiar with the environment. He waved his hand and drove away the secretary Hirong and consultant whose IG. After all, Zhu Hui still hasn't adapted to the change in his identity. This is normal. Overnight, he went from being a 996 office worker to the chairman of a company in Zhongcheng, and he also had to participate in investment promotion at the first opportunity. It's good enough if he doesn't feel stage fright. Because I helped Shen Wenwen once, I suddenly became the boss of Shen's Pharmaceuticals. I'm afraid it sounds a bit dreamy if I tell others about it. Zhu Hui strolled up to a flat floor and muttered to himself. Just then, a cry of surprise was heard from behind. Zhu Hui, why are you here? Is this a place you can come to? Get lost now. Chapter 85. Are you here to make connections? Zhu Hui, why are you here? Is this a place you can come to? Get out of here right now. The moment the discordant sound was heard, Zhu Hui turned his head in surprise. He was also wondering who dared to scold him like this in Shenjia Pharmaceutical. After all, Zhu Hui is the top boss now. Irong Du, a junior secretary, was able to look up his information and recognize the chairman at first sight. I don't think the other senior executives of the company would do such a stupid thing. But when he turned around, he saw his aunt staring at him with an embarrassed look on her face. Turns out it's my aunt. That's all right. Zhu Hui was not surprised that his aunt appeared here. After all, my cousin Wang Yang will come to Shenjia Pharmaceutical to solicit investment today. It is worth mentioning that the well-maintained corners of the girl's eyes actually had wrinkles and bags under them, and it seemed that she did not get a good night's rest. I guess it has something to do with the fact that I left without saying goodbye last night? Zhu Hui murmured in his heart, but there was no special expression on his face. It's not my fault in the first place. What does your family's affairs have to do with me? Why can I come? The young aunt sneered at the words. Why can't you come? Where do you think this is? A vegetable market. Do you know what kind of meeting is being held here today? An investment promotion conference. The little aunt's eyes sparkled as she suddenly stared at Zhu Hui. Are you here to apologize? Do you know that our Wang Yang is going to get a huge investment today, and that our family is going to be very successful, so you came here to confess? I'm telling you, it's too late. Your behavior last night has angered your uncle, and of course me, too, especially that girl last night. What kind of tutor is that? She actually dared to hit my son. Zhu Hui shrugged. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. I still have to preside over the investment matters after the meeting. You, to take charge of investment matters? The young girl seemed to have heard a huge joke. Why don't you look in the mirror and see what you are capable of? You are still in charge of investment matters, Zuhue. You are my nephew. I don't want to belittle the younger generation, but you don't look at your own conditions. If you can establish a relationship with the top management of Shenjia Pharmaceutical, I will eat shit right here. Is this such a big deal? Zuhue smacked his lips. You'd better try not to cheat for food and drinks. The next moment, Zuhue turned around and left. There are 3 no's in his life dictionary. Don't talk nonsense with idiots. Don't bother with idiots. Don't argue with idiots. When I was in high school, there was a period of time when Zuhue kept saying yeah, yes, you are right. This made it impossible for Lin Hao, who wanted to brag, to start. Lin Hao, I recently discovered that XXX in our class is really pretty. Didn't you always think that XX is the class beauty? Look at XXX. She learned how to put on makeup in her 2nd year of high school. It's amazing. If it were an ordinary boy, he might have argued a sentence or two, but at this time Zuhue would say, yes, yes, you are right. Lin Hao, this sentence will make people feel deeply powerless. It was as if the person I was talking to was no longer interested in anything, like a punch on cotton. Another example. Lin Hao, I find that it's like a piece of cake for Yasuo to kill squishy targets with this set of equipment. Don't you talk about the Chinese server Yasuo all the time? The equipment you use is only for the old version. Look at mine. At this time, what Lin Hao was looking forward to was naturally Zuhue's argument about their different understandings of the same hero. And the most intuitive thing is to have a solo. But Zuhue would then say, yes, yes, you are right. Anyway, they are just some trivial things. No matter who is the class beauty, Yasuo can easily kill the squishy targets no matter how he equips. In the environment at that time, it had little to do with Zuhue. Therefore, not arguing also represents a level of indifference. What's wrong? This is the administrative building. And my son has some important business to deal with today. What if you make a fuss here and the senior executives of the Shen family pharmaceutical factory see you? Just when Zuhue was about to leave, another door not far in front of him suddenly opened. I saw my uncle Alon Wang Yang coming out with dissatisfied looks on their faces. However, behind the 2 men was a middle-aged man who was about 30 years old. The father and son, as well as the person behind them, were all wearing appropriate suits. It is true that clothes make the man and saddles make the horse. Even though Zuhue wasn't happy with Wang Yang, after this guy changed into a suit, he still had the style of a business elite. But as relatives, we don't have many opportunities to interact with each other in normal times. However, Zuhue still has a certain degree of understanding of Wang Yang. This kid's so-called investment might be realized, but it is definitely not because he has some patent that is attractive to Shen's pharmaceutical family. It's because of this guy's eloquent self-marketing and packaging. My dad told me that when Wang Yang was in college, he set up a shell company under the guise of entrepreneurship, but in the end, he was just pretending to be cool in front of his classmates. While enjoying the sense of superiority of being called Mr. Wang by his peers, he also boasted about getting support from the school for starting a business and taking advantage of his classmates. By the time those students realize what's going on, Wang Yang would have already graduated in his 8 lifetimes. I remember my father reminded me 3 years ago to keep my distance from Wang Yang. This guy is not a good guy even if he makes money from business. It is probably through fraud. Sooner or later, he will spit out what does not belong to him. Zuhue sneered disaffectedly. Wang Yang has some brains, but he focuses all his energy on devious ways. Having worked in the system for so many years, Zhu Mingyuan has developed a pair of discerning eyes that are good at observing people's words and expressions. Lao Tzu can figure out an ordinary person's true identity within 10 sentences without them even realizing it. It was like standing naked in front of this old cadre with a kind and peaceful temperament. Therefore, my father's evaluation of a person, to some extent, represents that person's style. After Wang Yang and his uncle-in-law showed up, Zuhue had no choice but to pretend he didn't know them and just walk away. I could only greet him indifferently. Uncle-in-law, cousin Wang Yang. Zuhue? Why are you here? Wang Yang originally wanted to condemn his mother. How could you do such a thing in the administrative building of a large company? It would be so embarrassing if someone saw you doing this. When Wang Yang saw Zuhue's face clearly, he was also surprised. Zuhue calmly pointed in the direction of the bathroom. I'm going to the bathroom and I'll leave right after I'm done. He was too lazy to tell the truth now, as that would make him seem like he was showing off. And my aunt's family may not believe it, and the final result may be that the whole family swears to eat shit together. Zuhue said that this kind of behavior of eating and drinking for free should not be supported. Coilet, your company is in downtown Chongqing, just opposite Songda International. The day is a working day. You don't work in the city, so why do you come to the science park to use the toilet? Zuhue didn't expect that even after answering like this, Wang Yang would continue to question him. But at this moment, Wang Yang's eyes were shining with pride and complacency. Can you lie a little better? Do you think I can't see it? You heard what my mom said yesterday, and my uncle called you last night. You thought about it all night and finally felt a little unwilling, so you planned to come here to make connections, right? Chapter Itexis. Do they know each other? Making connections? But I heard Wang Yang say this. At this moment, Zhu Hui suddenly felt a little funny. Zhu Mingyuan cannot be said to be very versatile during his years working in the system, but he also made friends with many bigwigs in the business and political circles. If Zhu Hui's family really had an elder who liked to cling to nepotism and hoped that one person's success would bring prosperity to the whole family, I'm afraid everyone now has 3 houses in Zhongcheng. Whatever you think. I have something else to do later, so I'll be out first. Wait, Manager Li. Detain him and see if he has stolen anything from your company. I have reason to suspect that this guy came in to steal something. Wang Yang took a step forward and stood in front of Zhu Hui, now in the Shen's pharmaceutical factory. Of leaders and security guards, he is no longer afraid of Zhu Hui, who has a carefree personality. If you're not here to make connections, then you must be jealous because you heard what my mom said last night. Are you planning to use your relationship with me to cause trouble and ruin my project? Stealing? It's so funny that the entire Shen's pharmaceutical factory has become mine. Am I stealing my own things here? Manager Li, this guy is a poor relative of ours. I guess he overheard the news that my mother accidentally leaked last night and is planning to come here to cause trouble. Detain him and search him to see if he has stolen anything from your company. Wang Yang went further and further, even instigating the senior executives of the Shen family pharmaceutical factory nearby to target Zhu Hui. Zhu Hui glanced in the direction of Manager Li. Manager Li may not know the new boss, but his attitude later will determine whether he can stay in the Shen's pharmaceutical factory in the future. However, Manager Li obviously didn't know what Zhu Hui was thinking. As Wang Yang's voice fell, Manager Li did not move his feet, but just said politely to Zhu Hui, "Little brother, I'm sorry. I don't believe that someone would steal things in the administrative building. I still need to hear your reason for appearing on the administrative floor. Because there are indeed confidential documents of our company here, and there is also the chairman's office. If we accidentally disturb the big boss's rest, we will be severely criticized." When Wang Yang heard this, his brows twisted together, obviously a little dissatisfied. Manager Li is clearly on our side. Shouldn't they do as they requested and first call the security guard to restrain Zhu Hui, search him from head to toe, and humiliate this guy? Then just apologize half-heartedly, say it was a misunderstanding, and kick him out? By then, Zhu Hui's face would surely turn red and he would feel aggrieved, but he would have no choice but to swallow his anger. This made Wang Yang feel good, as it also allowed him to avenge himself for last night's humiliation. Manager Li, I know him. He is a poor relative of mine from my hometown. He works in the city. He is not a big shot at all. You don't have to be so polite to him. And when he was in high school in the countryside, he smashed other people's stores. He was a street thug and a hooligan. It's definitely not normal for this to happen here. Hearing this, Manager Li said nothing, but continued to look at Zhu Hui with suspicion. Zhu Hui was somewhat satisfied with Manager Li's attitude. This is being responsible and having brains. This is the Shen family pharmaceutical factory, and Wang Yang also said that this is the administrative building. Is it possible that the administrative building of a large company valued at hundreds of millions is a place where anyone can enter and exit freely? When passing by the gate just now, Zhu Hui had to rely on his secretary Hiran to swipe his card to lead the way. Only a moron like Wang Yang would have preconceived ideas. When he got angry, he threw dirty water without any care and wanted to find fault. Supervisor Li stared into Zhu Hui's eyes. Little brother, can you explain us? Zhu Hui coughed and waved. Come here, I'll show you something. As soon as these words came out, Wang Yang laughed coldly. TSK, is this kid planning to bribe Manager Li in the hope that he won't be embarrassed? Zhu Hui, you still underestimate the executives of these big companies, don't you? If you really stole something, I would never help you get away with it just because we're relatives. I would call the police and have you jailed right away. The aunt was dissatisfied with Zhu Hui's attitude in the past 2 days, and she also mocked him mercilessly. He liked to fight in junior high school, and he even smashed a store in high school. This kind of gangster must have bad intentions to come here today. Either he wants to get close to our Wang Yang to rise to prominence, or he wants to ruin the project and affect the cooperation. Manager Li, please don't give us face if he makes a mistake. Let the law punish him immediately. I will never help him for the sake of my nephew. Upon hearing this, Manager Li hesitated for a moment and then obediently walked to Zhu Hui. The next moment, Zhu Hui took out a card and waved it in front of him. Although it was moving very fast, Manager Li still managed to see clearly what it was. At this moment, his body shook. Shenshen Jin's VP card. Wait, there was a rumor in the company last night that the new boss made great efforts to restore the appearance of Mr. Shen's daughter, so Mr. Shen gave her shares and a rare VIP card to express his gratitude. So, could it be that the person in front of me is the new boss? After all, he is a company executive, so he still has some reaction speed. In an instant, countless thoughts flashed through Manager Li's mind. This is most likely the new boss who has just taken office and is here to inspect the company incognito on his first day. Poor girl. You. The distance in their status instantly made Manager Li use honorific S. However, Zhu Hua smiled and put his index finger on his lips and whispered, "Sheesh, I just want to go to the bathroom quietly, can I go now?" Of course. Manager Li quickly pointed in the direction, as if he was afraid that Zhu Hui would get lost. Amid the stunned expressions of his cousin's family of three, he personally escorted Zhu Hui out of the administrative building. Wang Yang was the first to come to his senses and was stunned for a moment. What's going on? Why did Zhu Hui leave? Why did Manager Li let the man go without even calling the security guard? The family of three looked at each other, all of them were a little confused. Chapter 87, There's a surprise. The uncle who always prided himself on his high vision was also startled for a moment and said, "I don't know either, what's wrong with Manager Li?" After he whispered to Zhu Hua, I felt that his attitude became more sincere. This is really weird, did Zhu Hua give him a red envelope? Because just now Zhu Hua beckoned Manager Li to come closer to talk. Manager Li had his back to them, so the family of three didn't even see the VIP card in Zhu Hua's hand. Of course, even if they saw it, they probably wouldn't recognize it. I understand. The next moment, Wang Yang suddenly slapped the back of his head. It must be that Manager Li decided not to embarrass this kid and let him go for the sake of our family. What? My aunt didn't react. We have become so aggressive. Shouldn't Manager Li give Zhu Hua some face by making things difficult for him? I guess it's because Manager Li usually interacts with big shots, so he likes to guess what others mean when they speak, and I accidentally exposed the relationship between Zhu Hui and us. We say we don't care about Zhu Hua. But if he does something illegal, we will handle it impartially. In fact, in the eyes of Manager Li, it seems that our family is using the tactic of retreating to advance to help Zhu Hua plead for mercy. Manager Li must have misunderstood our idea. So I quietly asked about Zhu Hua's relationship with us. Although that kid is reckless, he still knows the importance of the matter. If he is really taken to the police station like this, he will probably lose face. It must be because he gave Manager Li an nonsense explanation and tried to establish a relationship with our family. That's why Manager Li let him go for my sake. Wang Yang put his hands on his hips and explained angrily. Of course, this was purely Wang Yang's overthinking. Who is so stupid as to hand over his immediate superior to the police station? However, this statement won unanimous approval from parents. TSK. This kid Zhu Hu is really lucky. He was lucky and quick-witted, so he got away with it by taking advantage of the time when someone was talking quietly. Otherwise, I would have made him apologize to our family today. Hearing this, the aunt sneered and added, "Apologize? Why not just apologize? Zhu Hui actually had the guts to not give us face last night. In the end, our family of three had to wait at Chongqing Airport until after 3 in the morning. That shabby place was so desolate at night. If I didn't have something important to do today, I would have gone to Zhu Mingyuan to settle the score." When my sister-in-law mentioned what happened last night, she was filled with pride. She was an elder's order, but Zhu Hui, as a junior, dared not to obey. Moreover, this kid found a fake girlfriend from nowhere, but she was so bold that she even dared to hit her own son. If it weren't for the fact that Zhu Hui is not easy to deal with and there wasn't a conflict last night, no matter what the aunt said, Zhu Hui's girlfriend would have to pay the price for her words and actions. Hearing this, Wang Yang curled his lips coldly. It's okay. Mom, there's no rush to deal with Zhu Hui. Today is more important. Once I get some investment, there will be plenty of people willing to work for me, just by making a move. If all else fails, we can find some thugs to stop Zhu Hui and beat him up. Let's focus on investment today. The sister-in-law nodded in agreement. My son will be successful sooner or later as a mother. I am really relieved today. How can our family be compared with someone like Zhu Mingyuan, who only knows how to stay in the system and has no ambition to make progress? When you get the investment, I will definitely show off in front of Zhu Mingyuan and the others. I really want to see my brother begging us for help. By the way, how was your conversation with Manager Li just now? The next moment, the sister-in-law came back to her senses and stared at her husband and son. Wang Yang waved his hands, his face full of pride. Don't worry, although I can't say this is a done deal, it's almost certain. My project proposal was reviewed by more than a dozen shell companies. Even the most professional investment consultants could not find any problems. I heard that the Shen family pharmaceutical factory has a new chairman today. As long as the chairman signs, the funds will be in place immediately. Then, my career will begin. The sister-in-law seemed to be trying to get back her face. In his mind, he compared the gap between his son and Zhu Hua. One is the son who started a business when he was in college and tried and failed many times, but kept trying again and again. Now it is about to receive a huge investment of 6 million yuan. He is just a graduate of an ordinary undergraduate college, and he doesn't seem to be very steady in his work style. I heard that he is just relying on nepotism to make a living in a private company. This kind of person is just like a gangster. My son and Zhu Hui are so different, there is no comparison at all. Thinking of this, the frown on my aunt's face slowly relaxed. Good son, you are really proud of yourself. Wang Yang's family probably never dreamed that the new chairman who had the final say. This is Zhu Hui, a man they consider to be a waste, who comes today to lick the ass of a family of 3. Mr. Zhu. This is the secretary's office, this is the RD department's meeting room, this is the multifunctional conference room, this is the small cafeteria for the senior management. This is. When Zhu Hui left the administrative building, Supervisor Li accompanied him almost all the way, and was cautious and deliberately half a step behind, as if he was doing it on purpose for Zhu Hui to see. After all, I don't know the chairman's character. This can highlight the status of both parties. In order to avoid awkward silence, he kept introducing Zhu Hui to the office areas along the way. After all, what happened just now could be a big deal or a small deal. Even if Manager Li did not make a clear statement at that time, if the big boss cared about it, he would still be suspected of offending the big boss. So Manager Li wanted to leave as good an impression on Zhu Hui as possible. Don't worry in that situation. I think it's a good thing that you didn't have the wit to listen to Wang Yang's suggestion and just arrested me without thinking. At this moment, Zhu Hui, who felt it was very interesting and funny, said something to comfort him. The funny thing is that one day will be praised and flattered by others. What's funny is how proud Wang Yang and his family were in front of him just now. There will be a big surprise when Zhu Hui passes Wang Yang's project later. Chapter 88, A Slap in the Face. Call, Mr. Zhu, you will be reviewing the review project in person later, right? Manager Li breathed a sigh of relief, and at the same time asked a tentative question. Okay. You don't have to send me off. I'm going to go look for Hiron. You can go back and get busy. Zhu Hui raised his chin slightly. But when he said the 4 words, go back and get busy, be busy, Zhu Hui deliberately emphasized. He really wanted to see how Manager Li would respond. Manager Li was obviously stunned and then immediately said, within half an hour, Secretary, he will deliver Wang Yang's project plan to you. Clever. Zhu Hui nodded, staring at Manager Li's hurriedly leaving back and couldn't help but sigh. There really isn't a single mediocre leader in a big company. This is the art of language. If my father hadn't been influenced by me since I was a child, and if I hadn't learned something from Mr. BA after graduation, I'm afraid I wouldn't have understood the olive branch signal that Manager Li just threw out. In fact, it was the moment when Manager Li asked the first question about the review project. He planned to sort out Wang Yang's information and send it to Zhu Hui. However, even if he understood the big boss's mind, or accidentally discovered the big boss's family affairs, he would not be able to show off his cleverness on his own initiative without Zhu Hui's tacit consent. Apart from making people dislike him, I'm afraid it will do him no good. Of course, Manager Li also received some signals just now. For example, Zhu Hui deliberately lowered his voice to make his identity clear in front of Wang Yang's family of 3. For example, although they are clearly relatives, Wang Yang's family does not know the new boss at all. This has already sent a signal to Manager Li. Zhu Hui may have a deeper meaning for not revealing his identity. The deeper meaning, of course, is about Wang Yang's family who were kept in the dark. However, even if I figured this out, the two people still need to communicate simply and implicitly. Because even if Manager Li knew about the big boss, he might be planning some sinister plots that are typical of the plots in cool novels. He couldn't just expose it. So at this time Zhu Hui needs to leave a hook. A signal in response to what Manager Li said. So Zhu Hui emphasized the words busy. Speaking of which, actually when Mr. BI often brought me along in the past, he would talk to some bosses or business partners in this way, which was both tacit and understandable. Zhu Hui vaguely remembers every time he was confused at the negotiation table. B. Izumo would secretly interpret for him the deeper meaning behind the conversations of both parties. Actually, many things are like this after someone points it out. It seems ordinary it's nothing more than a secretive communication. But if no one points it out, it may take a long time to understand the hidden meanings. And even some words that convey important information may be gradually forgotten or even ignored. By the time you can really understand something, many opportunities have already passed by in a flash. Mr. Zhu, how was your stroll? Is there anything that interests you? I'll take you for another stroll and tell you about it. Just then, a figure came running over from a distance. Looking closely, it turned out to be Secretary Hiron. The easiest way to bring two people closer together is to exchange polite conversation. On the way here, Hiron was chatting with Zhu Hui all the time. While chatting about family matters, the two discussed the weather in Zhangcheng, which was as complicated and changeable as the mood of a girl in Zhangcheng. Secretary Hirong quickly figured out the character of his new master. Zhu Hui is approachable, so there is no need for Hirong to be too restrained. After all, in many companies, the position of secretary, to put it bluntly, is a secretary who does the work when there is work to do and a secretary who does nothing else. A secretary may not necessarily need strong personal abilities, but what you must have are 70 looks, 10 conversation, and 20 social skills. However, Zhu Hui had no interest in the lively Hirong. He just simply thought they could have a good chat. It's okay, but the company is a little too big. If it weren't for Secretary He calling me, I would have almost lost my way. Hirong blinked his big eyes. But I didn't call you. Nonsense. Love has never learned geography. It won't get lost. You just kept saying in your heart, Mr. Zhu, please come out, Mr. Zhu. Where are you? Look, you called me out. Hirong chuckled twice. Bosses who are humble and can joke around are generally more liked by employees. And Zhu Hu is not stupid either. There is another meaning behind his words. He was hinting, what were you calling me for? It was obvious that Secretary Hirong came to see him specifically. Otherwise it would take a lot of time to walk around the huge administrative building. How did Hirong lock onto Zhu Hu's location in an instant? Sure enough, the next moment Hirong took out a document. Here, this is what Manager Li asked me to give you. I thought all the executives had gone to the meeting room. But I didn't expect Manager Li to stay behind and even plan to greet the big boss first and leave a good impression. He is so cunning. Secretary Hirong misunderstood the purpose of Manager Li submitting the documents. He thought that Manager Li wanted to win the favor of the new boss and secretly stayed to create an opportunity to say hello to the new boss. But Zhu Hu didn't care. The next moment, Hirong took a look at the project plan and became serious for once. Mr. Zhu, has this Yuanyang pharmaceutical company also attracted your attention? But they are just a small business that has just been established. But what's interesting is that not only do their business cards look beautiful, but their project plans also seem to be divided into two types of cooperation models and plans, A and B. This kind of preparation doesn't make them look like an inexperienced startup team, but rather they seem to be quite experienced. Many of the company's senior executives seem to be quite interested in the young boss named Wang Yang. To be honest, this business card is made with great care. Hearing this, Zhu Hu nodded slightly. He glanced at the business card Hirong handed over and sneered. Sure enough, he has ulterior motives. A gilded business card was deliberately thickened. And the two words Wang Yang were not prominent on the smooth-cut surface. Instead, the gilded company name was designed in a flamboyant style. Only if you look carefully can you see Wang Yang's contact information and name in the corner. On the back are various award certificates and miscellaneous honors. To sum it up, it really highlights the characteristics of this company. Instead, it seemed as if they were deliberately trying to hide the name of the company's boss Wang Yang. However, it is precisely because of this that many people will be surprised when they first receive a business card and wonder why they don't see the contact information of the person in charge. Maybe you will take a closer look at it, including the introduction section on the back. For small business owners and entrepreneurs who want to get noticed by big entrepreneurs, every extra second or two of staying is very precious. Maybe the honors on the back will arouse the other party's interest. Wang Yang's business card is indeed unique. You've put a lot of thought into it. Where's the project plan? Let me take a look. The next moment, Zhu Hu sneered and threw the business card into the trash can. As soon as this action was made, Secretary Hirong reacted with a start. The big boss obviously doesn't value this company. Judging from the situation, there should be a conflict with this small company. This is their project proposal. Have you seen it? Zhu Hu rolled his eyes casually, regarding the role of chairman. Zhu Hu felt a little stunned and nervous at the suddenness, but he was able to get into the situation very quickly. Now I can almost say that I have completely adapted to it. I have to say that this has to do with the character that Comrade Lao Zhu has deliberately cultivated since childhood. Although Zhu Hu can't be said to be calm in the face of emergencies, however, he has a strong ability to adapt to jobs that few ordinary people have. To put it in human terms, that is, I am a screwed wherever needed. I have seen it. In fact, if you are very interested in this project at the beginning, I might even pour cold water on you later. Oh? When these words came out, Zhu Hu raised his eyebrows in surprise. But it be that Secretary Hirong also noticed something was wrong? He knew Wang Yang's character well, so he was sure that this project was definitely not worth investing in. After all, every time this guy started a business since college, he did nothing but make money or cheat people. In addition, I know that this is how my aunt's family educates their children. So Zhu Hu could almost be sure. Wang Yang came here this time to solicit investment. I'm afraid it's still 90 packaging in 10 glidness. As for strength, there is none at all. And you were praising this company in front of me just now? One moment you were talking about the AV plan, the next moment you were talking about the business card. As a dedicated and observant secretary, I can't just throw cold water on my boss right away, can I? The explanation given by Hiram is quite reasonable. Come to think of it, if you don't know what the boss is thinking, and you just give orders casually, it would be like dancing on the edge of a knife. Isn't this courting death? Zhu Hui smiled and said, he is indeed a talented person. As expected, he is someone sent by Shen Jin. Then tell me what you think. Don't tell me it would be bad if I steal your limelight when you know what's going on. After saying this, Hiram looked down at the time and smiled slyly. Besides, it will be your one-on-one interview soon. If I waste your precious time, other senior executives in the company will blame me. I can't bear the responsibility. Has the investment promotion meeting started yet? The meeting has already started. Do you want to sit in? No, take me to the one-on-one interview office. I'll take a break there and then take a good look at the project plan. After saying that, Zhu Hui took the lead with his long legs. I feel a sense of anticipation in my heart. I wonder what kind of expression Wang Yang will have when he comes in and sees that he is the main interviewer after going through layers of selection. I think it should be exciting, right? Thinking of this, Zhu Hui's mood suddenly became cheerful. Life would be much less fun without these silly relatives, and we should really thank them. Zhu Hui, who has no literary talent but has a dream of being a literary youth, couldn't help but move his throat and want to compose a poem. Unfortunately, after opening his mouth, only 2 sentences came out. That year I was 18, and I got slapped in the face. Today I am as strong as 18, slap slap slap, slap in the face. Chapter 89. Why did this plague god come? When Zhu Hui went to the reception room for a private interview, he was recalling a past event in his mind. That year when I was 18, I was slapped in the face. It's not intentional rhyming just for the sake of rhyming, it's really true. When Zhu Hui was 18 years old, his aunt's family came to Daily in Gshan for dinner during the Chinese New Year. I don't know what's wrong with my cousin Wang Yang, who just went to college. He was so stupid as to make fun of Zhu Hui's academic performance. My goodness, Zhu Hui was furious because he was scolded by his mother Liu Zhen during the New Year's Day because he did not do well in the final exam. He picked up a clothes rack, pinned Wang Yang to the ground and beat him up. Later, Wang Yang escaped with the help of his aunt, but Zhu Hui had no intention of letting him go. In the evening, Wang Yang thought everything was calm when he returned to Zhu Hui's old house. The young man hiding in the bushes by the road chased Wang Yang for 3 blocks with a clothes rack in his hand. Finally, he gave them a set of 18 dragon subduing palms in the face and went home satisfied. I was so naive back then, I could have gotten away with just a set of 18 dragon subduing palms. Thinking of himself at that time, Zhu Hui's mind was filled with regret. Of course, with his personality, it is impossible for him to regret why he fought with his cousin who was about to be worth 6 million. Instead, he was regretting why he let Wang Yang go after just using a series of combos. In fact, the 18 dragon subduing palms can be followed by the 9 yin white bone claw, 6 meridians divine sword, and 7 wounds fist. Damn it, the punishment was too lenient back then. That's why this idiot is jumping around so happily now, taking advantage of others. In fact, the number of 6 million is really an astronomical figure for an ordinary family. In the past, Zhu Hui and Lin Hao were drinking and bragging at the food stalls. Occasionally, I hear a few adults sitting next to me talking about millions of dollars in business all the time after they get drunk, and they are talking about tens of millions of dollars in turnover while chatting and laughing. There is a high probability that they will not be able to help but look at the other person a few more times, and then because of awe that the other person is a big shot, they will unconsciously lower their voices when talking. Of course, as we gradually step into society, Zhu Hui also understood that there might be bosses in front of the food stalls who really controlled hundreds of millions of dollars, but after they drank too much, they would never talk about millions all the time. Of course, 6 million is still an astronomical figure for Zhu Hui. Even if he became the chairman of Shenjia Pharmaceutical, and including the check given by Shen Jin yesterday, Zhu Hui's total assets are at most 1 million and a few dozen yuan. This amount of money may seem like an astronomical sum at first glance, but it's actually not enough for a quasi-first-tier city like Zhangcheng. If you want to buy a house in full, you have to go to the suburbs. Any apartment near the science park would probably cost several million or more. Zhu Hui smacked his lips, still finding it hard to accept today's rapidly rising prices. In fact, his original thoughts were the same as those of most ordinary young people. Faced with high housing prices, they have chosen to lie low. Life is short, who knows how long we can live. In order to marry a wife, he has to take out a huge loan of 1 million, and then repay the monthly installments like a social animal for the next 30 or even 40 years of his life. It would be better to live a carefree life in the big city for a few years, and then go back to my hometown in the countryside, find a girl from the county town, get married, and have children. The secretary Hirong beside him had already noticed that the boss was in a bad mood. Mr. Zhu, what are you thinking about? Zhu Hui adjusted his expression and said with a smile. I wonder if I weren't your boss, what would I be doing right now? Pooh. Hirong spat lightly. This is the advantage of communicating with peers, it is basically barrier-free. There would not be that kind of age and experience gap between the two people. And Zhu Hui could make jokes without restraint. What Hirong was thinking was, isn't this pure Versailles? You are already my immediate boss. There are not so many is in life. But for Zhu Hui, all this happened in just one night. So the two people are in different situations and think about things from different angles. Hirong felt that Zhu Hui was pretending, but in fact, what he said were his true feelings. Should I use the 1 million yuan that brother Shen gave me to buy a down payment on a house in Zhangcheng? I had no chance, no hope, and no possibility before. But even though it's still not realistic to pay the full amount now, I should be able to afford a house with a mortgage, right? At this time, Zhu Hui's brain was basically in a short-circuit state. I was mostly reviewing the changes in the country over the past decade or so since I was born, and completely forgot that the big brother who gave me a huge pharmaceutical company, Shen Sinjin, started his business in real estate. Whenever he spoke, he could rely on the relationship with Shen Wenwen who treated her. It would be absolutely easy for Zhu Hui to get a 5-bedroom apartment. If I had a house and an SUV that could take my whole family on a trip, my life would be perfect. The pressure of buying a house and a car, paying the bride price, getting married and having children has gradually fallen on the people born in the millennia. In fact, the generation born in the 1970s, that is, Zhu Hui and his parents' generation, is the saddest. I was lucky enough to buy a house before the real estate economy exploded. Now we can basically rest easy. Several generations won't have to worry anymore. But for those who are unlucky, the dividing line is also very clear. That is because I missed the best time to buy a house that year. But the salary that has not improved in more than 10 years. It is basically hopeless to buy a house now. Li Yuzhen and Lao Zhu are of course among the representatives. But this is not because Comrade Lao Zhu has poor vision. Rather, Li Yuzhen was too rigid in her control over the family's financial power. So in the end, although Zhu Hui's family relied on the efforts of his father Zhu Mingyuan and his generation to get out of Dalianji Mountain, they wanted to take root in a city like Zhangcheng. When the torch of this relay baton fell on Zhu Hui, it was also Alexander. People like Lao Zhu and Li Yuzhen can only save enough money for a down payment in their lifetime. This is also why Comrade Lao Zhu is clearly qualified to retire early. But he still sticks to his job, so that he can save more money for his son. Mr. Zhu, there is someone in the one-on-one meeting room. As they were walking, Hirong next to them suddenly stopped. Zhu Hui didn't pay attention and almost bumped into the secretary accidentally. Under the other party's reprochula eyes, Zhu Hui also looked towards the reception room. I saw a fat figure in a white suit, sitting quietly in the room with a cup of hot tea. Who is he? Zhu Hui asked in confusion. Hirong shook his head. But Hu Zaiji, who had been silent the whole time, spoke for the first time. Second master of the Shen family. Second master of the Shen family? Zhu Hui repeated the title. He knew that Shen Sinjin's bodyguards would call him Master Shen. After all, at his age, his daughter is old enough to get married. Should we still use the term young and promising to describe him and call him Mr. Shen? The next moment, upon hearing the words second master of the Shen family, the secretary Hirong suddenly cried out in surprise. Why is this plague got here? Chapter 90? The human heart is unpredictable. Why is this plague got here? Hirong spoke subconsciously, and Hu Zaiji next to her didn't have time to cover her mouth. In the end, Zhu Hui waved his hand. It doesn't matter what you say, this is Shen's pharmaceutical company anyway. He noticed that both of them seemed to be somewhat in awe, or even afraid of the second master of the Shen family. So Zhu Hui paused and said, as long as I am still the boss of the Shen family pharmaceutical factory, you don't need to hide anything in front of me, just say whatever you want. After saying this, Hirongkai looked at the new boss in embarrassment. But I started to wonder how much time was left in Zhu Hui's term. Mr. Zhu, how much do you know about our company's financial situation? I know a little bit. I heard that it is a company with assets of tens of millions and a valuation of hundreds of millions. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many people gathering outside to attract investment, right? Zhu Hui nodded towards the other one-way glass. This is another multifunctional conference room, which is used for preliminary investment promotion meetings. In fact, the Shen family pharmaceutical factory was previously managed by our president Shen. Shen Shanjin. You should be able to tell from the title of Second Master Shen that Second Master Shen is President Shen's younger brother. Yeah, I heard it. Zhu Hui knew that what he wrong was going to say next was the real thing. So I didn't ask any questions and let the secretary continue talking. Chen Sinjin once controlled 100 of the shares of Shen's pharmaceutical factory at that time. Shen's pharmaceutical factory was actually not like it is now. You can see that the current Shen's pharmaceutical factory is more of an independent research and development department than a manufacturer. I see. What a joke. Zhu Hui is not blind. The Shen family pharmaceutical factory does have a lot of employees, but to say that it is a so-called enterprise with thousands or tens of thousands of employees is an exaggeration of dozens of times. This is totally inconsistent with the word pharmaceutical factory. This is something that was left behind by old lady Shen. That is, by Mr. Shen's mother, a generation ago. After saying this, Hirong took a deep breath and said directly, at that time, the Shen family pharmaceutical factory had its own R&D institute and a large production line with thousands of employees, although it did not have any famous drugs in Jiangnan. It still won a lot of agency rights thanks to President Shen's connections. The agency here refers to production, that is, the assembly line workers. Right? Hirong nodded. Yes, at that time. The Shen family pharmaceutical factory was a truly famous enterprise. However, as the business was getting better and better, Shen's mother, who was lying on the hospital bed and could die at any time, saw that her youngest son had no future, and she still felt sympathy for him. Hearing this, Zhu Hui narrowed his eyes. You also know that our Mr. Shen started